as a reward to yourself today and relax. She asked. Gu Yan, where are you going today? Gu Yan, who was driving, heard this and smiled mysteriously. It's a secret, but I promise Kinkyu, you will like it. Really? Then I'm looking forward to it. Ling Kinkyu curled the corners of his mouth. In fact, she asked this question because she had her own concerns. First, she looked just like a blind person. She worries. If he went to somewhere like a downtown area, would Gu Yan and Linger be looked at strangely by some people? She doesn't care. It's just Gu Yan and Linger, the two people I care about. If people were to whisper about me because of my faults, perhaps this playday will not be so happy. I don't want to spoil the fun. And hope that the scene I imagine won't happen. Linger was also sitting in the back seat at this time and yelled, Little Gu, don't you have any water in your car? No, just swallow your saliva. Gu Yan curled his lips. You call me little Jiuzi? Do you think I am worthy of you? Gu Yan. Linger was immediately furious. Ling Kinkyu covered her mouth. The corners of her mouth couldn't stop rising. She smiled. Gu Yan, stop joking, I'm a little thirsty too. Ah, Kinkyu, are you thirsty? Linger, open the small refrigerator in the back seat. There's water in it. Gu Yan's expression suddenly changed. Linger. After Ling Kinkyu took the water, he smiled helplessly at Gu Yan and said, Gu Yan, don't keep bullying Linger. That's right. Linger agreed from the back row. I was also deeply moved. Sister, you finally remembered me. However, Gu Yan did not answer, but suddenly said in a daze, was there an earthquake just now? No. Ling Kinkyu was a little confused as to why this suddenly came up. Next second, she suddenly found that her left hand was held by the other party. No, then why did my heart tremble when you spoke, Kinkyu? Linger was stunned. This. What kind of spiritual quote is this? Brother-in-law, can you learn from me? If you don't know how to do it, can you watch my video tutorial? What kind of corny love talk is this? Ling Kinkyu was so embarrassed that she wanted to shake off Gu Yan's hand. This is so embarrassing, Dr. Feli. Hey Kinkyu, didn't you say that you don't want me to bully Linger? So you're just going to bully me with these words? Yeah, not only do I want to bully you, I also want to knock you over now. Not me? Why? Because you look good. Ling Kinkyu's breathing stagnated. However, Gu Yan seemed to be getting excited. He became more and more excited. Kinkyu, my Kinkyu. You know what? Liking you is the most serious thing I've ever done. My heart is mine, but it's filled with you. Ling Kinkyu's cheeks suddenly turned red, and she quickly shook off Gu Yan's hand and covered her ears. He huddled in the passenger seat, head down, trembling all over. These words are so embarrassing. Just like what Gu Yan said before, your words are just as lethal, and he said it in front of Linger. But, the most embarrassing thing is, I actually like listening to it. Hateful. This must be because Gu Yan has been talking about it over and over again, and my brain has become accustomed to it. Damn it, ignore him. Ling Kinkyu simply took a deep breath and said, stop talking. I'll take a nap. Good sleep, I just happened to have something to tell you in my dream. Shut up. Ling Kinkyu almost fainted from shame. Stop talking, or I'll be ruined. Another me. Is this what you call reserved? What do you know? You shut up too. Ling Kinkyu was furious. Chapter 229 Sky Garden. When choosing a place to play, Gu Yan actually considered a lot. I have thought about where to take Kinkyu to play. I thought about going to amusement parks, cinemas, shopping malls and other places. But in the end, he denied them all. If I bring Linger along, she will definitely like this kind of crowded and lively place. But Kinkyu's words, Gu Yan knew that even if the other party didn't care where he took her. But essentially, Gu Yan understood that the other party was also a girl who liked quietness. So 1 hour later, the car stopped at the foot of the mountain. Arrive. Gu Yan spoke softly, then got out of the car and walked to the passenger seat to open the door for Ling Kinkyu. Are we there yet? When Gu Yan was holding her hand and leading her out of the car, she was actually still a little nervous. But when she really used her perception to feel the place, she was stunned. Because, there is almost no human life in this place. Why, where is this place? Ah, brother-in-law, why did you bring us to the mountains? After getting off the car, Linger found herself and others at the foot of a mountain. You know what I mean, I'll know it soon. Gu Yan said unhappily. Next second, Master, Miss Ling. A few men in suits and ties came over. At the same time, an open sightseeing car drove over. The person in the lead was the local garden manager, who was dressed in a neat uniform and had a friendly and professional attitude. He looked at Gu Yan flatteringly. Hello, Boss Gu, the cable car has been prepared for a long time. Everything in the park today is just for you. And he looked at Ling Kinkyu who had her eyes closed. Open up to your lover. When I heard others say that I was Gu Yan's lover, Leng Qingyu's heart was slightly moved. Gu Yan nodded. Okay, thank you for your help. As he said that, he pulled Leng Qingyu tight. After leaving Qingyu, just wait and see. Leng Qingyu suppressed the doubts in his heart and nodded. Yeah. While sitting in the sightseeing bus, Leng Linger also leaned over to look at the scenery outside. The air here is fresh and there are lush forests all around. From a distance, she could see the cable car lines leading up into the sky. She asked curiously, brother-in-law, where is this place? Brother-in-law? It's Mr. Gu's sister-in-law. The garden manager secretly took note of this handsome little yellow-haired boy. Guyan didn't keep the secret any longer. He looked at the garden manager and said, well, Manager Shang, please introduce this place to me. Yes, okay. Manager Shang replied nervously, then opened the little bee and began to explain. Before becoming a manager, he was a tour guide here, so it was no difficulty for him to explain. Hello. Three bosses. Our place is called Qili Garden, and it has a nickname called the Sky Garden. We are now at the foot of the mountain outside Qili Garden. It is surrounded by greenery, and its privacy and uniqueness are due to the dedicated cable car route. The cable car's starting point is located at the foot of the mountain. At this point, Manager Shang looked at Guyan flatteringly. Usually this place is a holiday resort for dignitaries. But today this place is reserved by Bosku, so it is only open to the three bosses today. There are call bells everywhere in Qili Garden if you need any service. Just call directly and someone will provide the service within 5 minutes. Leng Linger was stunned when she heard this. Qili Garden? So this is the Qili Garden? She often surfed the internet, so she naturally knew that this was a private entertainment venue in nature built by several wealthy people. At that time, she also complained to be a Quan Lan and insulted rich people, saying that they really knew how to have fun. Now let's take a look at the results. I am the rich person? Soon. Several people came to the cable car. The cable car itself is designed to be extremely comfortable. With luxurious interior decoration and large glass windows to ensure that passengers can enjoy the beautiful scenery of the mountains and forests. The cable car's comfortable seats and heating facilities ensure the comfort of passengers. And I wish all the bosses a happy time. The cable car is about to rise, so I won't bother you bosses. Manager Shang closed the cable car door and waved his hand to start the cable car. A sense of climbing came. The cable car reached the sky at a steady speed. Wow, so beautiful. Leng Linger lay by the window, constantly making strange noises of surprise. Linger, pay attention. Leng Qingyu reminded her, thinking that Linger was too rash for a girl like her. Guyan said next to Leng Qingyu, put his arm around her shoulders, and defended Linger for once, saying, don't mind. There are only 3 of us here anyway. Qingyu, what's wrong with you? Why do you seem a little unhappy? Is your chest tight? Do you want your good husband to rub it for you? As Guyan spoke, he stretched out his hand and rubbed Leng Qingyu's chest. It's just that I haven't realized my evil thoughts yet. Bang! Leng Qingyu angrily slapped him away. Be serious. Is Qingyu, you're using too much force. Guyan pretended to be in pain and said this. Then leaned his body against Leng Qingyu again. You! Leng Qingyu pushed Guyan away, but the other party fell down again like a sticky candy. This went on for several times and she was so angry that she laughed. In desperation, she sighed, you are too high profile. After today, all the big families in Zhangye will know. You are the heir of the Gu family, the eldest son of the Gu family. I booked the entire Qili Garden for a woman. Your annual meeting is coming soon. Have you ever thought about what will happen when the time comes? The words haven't finished yet. Leng Qingyu was interrupted physically. Leng Linger directly covered her eyes and showed the gaps between her fingers. These two were so bold. A few minutes later, lip parting. Bo Yu, what are you doing? You suddenly interrupted people when they were talking. Leng Qingyu quickly covered his mouth with his arm and cursed angrily. Hateful. Although she didn't want to, her body couldn't help but push Guyan away in time. And the perception ability has also improved a little. Damn it, doesn't this make it seem like I'm also looking forward to doing this kind of thing with Guyan? Hearing this, Guyan took a deep breath and said seriously. This is my answer Qingyu. I don't care what others think. Say I do, nor do I care what my future will be like. I just want to be with you and love you forever. Because this matter is the most important to me. Leng Qingyu was shocked when he heard this. My other self, Lu Ding, did say so. Shut up Xiaoleng, you don't understand anything. And didn't you say you wouldn't disturb us? Small cold dive. On the surface, Leng Qingyu snorted and turned his head away. I don't care about you anymore, you can do whatever you want. Guyan's high profile will definitely cause dissatisfaction among certain families. Looks like I need to ask my men to keep an eye on it. Guyan knew that Leng Qingqiu was no longer angry. So he stuck to her again. Qingqiu, my Qingqiu, can you kiss me again now that you are not angry anymore? Who told you I'm not angry anymore? Linger is still here. Don't. Leng Linger was shivering in the corner. The cable car passes through layers of clouds and mist, as if entering a mysterious ocean world. As the altitude increases, the cable car finally arrives at the dedicated platform of Qiluan. Chapter 230. I've already said it, the more you talk about it, the more excited I get. As the cable car stops, Guyan and others also arrived at their final destination. Qili Garden is built on a slight slope, which gives it a unique multi-large visual effect. The garden gate is carved from ancient mahogany, and is covered with vines and flowers, giving people a feeling of long time and vitality. We have arrived. Ladies, this is today's destination. Today, I will be your tour guide. Guyan took Leng Qingqiu's hand and led her down the cable car. Leng Qingqiu's face still had a slight blush from the cable car, and she nodded slightly. Brother-in-law, why is it so warm here? We are obviously in the mountains. Leng Linger raised the question at this time. She found that the temperature here was unusually mild. Guyan smiled lightly and said, because this is a constant temperature place. The entire Qili garden is kept at a constant temperature of 24-25. As for the price of building this constant temperature system, I won't tell you. Hearing this, Leng Linger looked at the ancient gate in front of her, and all the green plants and flowers around it in shock. Is this the happiness of rich people? I like it, hee hee. Guyan shrugged helplessly. We have only just arrived. Let's go in. As you enter the garden, the first thing that catches your eye is a green lawn dotted with artificially cultivated flowers. On one side of the lawn is a winding path paved with colorful pebbles, with a variety of colorful flowers and shrubs planted on both sides. Go further and you will reach the end. It is a small fountain with water splashing gently and making pleasant sounds. Walking through the fountain area, you can see exquisite flower beds arranged on the ground. Various seasonal flowers are planted in it, from tulips in early spring to chrysanthemums in late autumn. Each flower bed is trimmed neatly while retaining its natural wildness. Leng Linger took out her cell phone and kept taking pictures of herself and the surrounding scenery. A location is also located in Qili Garden. She ran in the front. Hey, Quanlan will be so jealous of me when she goes back. But Leng Linger glared at Guyan angrily. Could those two walk faster? I am angry, guess why? This is Guyan. Leng Qingqiu was strolling here leisurely, holding Guyan's hand as if they were taking a walk. The latter will also explain everything here to her. Why did you think of coming to this place? Leng Qingqiu couldn't help but ask out of curiosity at this time. Guyan, who was explaining the long history of the fountain here, was stunned when he heard this, and then smiled gently. Because I think Qingqiu you will like it here. Leng Qingqiu was silent for a while, then raised his chin slightly, with a smile on his face and snorted, don't waste money like this next time. Hey, that won't do. Besides owning the whole world, I also have endless money to spend. Own the whole world? Yes, having you, Qingqiu, is like having the whole world. My world is very small, and having you is enough. Slippery-tongued. Qingqiu, my Qingqiu, no. The more you say this to me, the more excited I seem to be. Abnormal. I've already said it. The more you talk about it, the more excited I get. Shut up. While Guyan and Leng Qingqiu were traveling happily inside the Warrior Department Hospital, Ba Jun lay on the hospital bed with a weak look on his face. Next to him sat two warriors in white uniforms. A man with dark circles under his eyes frowned as he checked the information he had obtained that night. Another woman was carefully recording the key information in the documents. Her handwriting was neat and quick, outlining clues one after another on the white paper. The White Army suffered no injuries that night, and even in the battle with the Black Robe Lao Gao, they only lost a little energy. The only thing was that when he was supplying true energy to the evil creature's heart, it was drained. Once a Grand Master's true key is drained, it will take some time to recover. Sorry, the mission has failed. The Sex warriors were almost all wiped out. The White Army sighed unwillingly. A man who was checking the information shook his head and said in a deep voice, no, our primary mission is to protect the people. It is a blessing in disguise that there were no casualties among ordinary people this time. The other woman was somewhat puzzled. Why would the Night King let these ordinary people go? Shouldn't he be the kind of person who does all kinds of evil? As soon as these words came out, this prompted another man leaning against the wall to reply. Enrong, what should I say to you? The only reason a beast would let go of its prey is because it is too full. It's obvious that the White Army and his group of warriors fed the Night King. That's why he let ordinary people go and returned with a full load. A woman named Qin Rong rolled her eyes when she heard that. She looked at the man leaning against the wall and browsing his phone. Li Chuan, can you come over and look at the information from that night together? This time something like this happened in our peace faction's territory. The teacher has already been busy explaining it to us in the department. The man named Li Chuan seemed to be a little afraid of Qin Rong. He shrank his neck and muttered, what else can I watch when Chuji is here? The more the teacher explains, the more useless it is. It's obvious that the Night King has been resurrected. Those old stubborn people are just trying to make a big deal out of a small matter. If you ask me, if we had just sent more personnel to garrison John Ha, this situation wouldn't have happened. That's good now. After devouring the souls of so many warriors, the Night King's strength must have reached an immeasurable level. In Rong was speechless. She looked at the man who had been looking at the information and asked, Chuji, what do you think? I heard my name was called. Chuji put down the information and sighed helplessly. Putting aside the troubles, at least we have good news. At least the searchlight has picked up the scent of the members of the night organization, right? But this, we won't be too passive. At this point, Chuji looked at Be Jun and said, by the way, the report shows that there are still a group of civilian warriors hiding in the city. They are all very strong, is that true? Hearing this, Be Jun seemed to think of the several warriors who appeared that night. Murong Ci, Meizuan, the one called Yu Xingzu, nodded. Well, I formed a small group with them. I want to see if I can recruit them into our warrior department. How strong? Stronger than you? Li Chuan looked at Be Jun with some surprise. You know, Be Jun is not only their peace faction, but also the youngest grandmaster in the entire warrior department. Be Jun nodded. Well, one of them maybe he is stronger than me. The abilities of the other two are also very unique. They are perfect for covering the retreat of our teammates. As soon as these words were spoken, they instantly attracted the interest of several people. Is this really awesome? Are they here? Let's make an appointment to meet. People like this can't be kept in other factions. Yes, that's what I meant. Time passes. As the night bells rang, Guyan and Leng Qingqiu's day of fun ended. In front of the Leng family's door, the car slowly stopped in front of the gate. Qingqiu, see you tomorrow. I'm going to study hard tomorrow. Don't disturb me. So heartless. How about a final kiss goodbye? Roll. Hey, don't do it, Qingqiu. Boom. The car starts. Guyan left quickly. Sister, aren't you going in yet? Leng Linger said in confusion while holding a bunch of purchased snacks. Leng Qingqiu looked at Guyan's life essence, which was getting farther and farther away in the distance. Nodding slightly, yeah. Happy times are always short-lived. And she must do something serious next. Another me. I am having a lot of fun hanging out with looting. My perception has improved a lot. But it's a pity that we didn't go to the lively places. It's really disappointing. I thought you would do more exciting projects. Leng Qingqiu listened to Xiaoling's voice in his mind. She smiled gently and helped Leng Linger carry some bags as she walked into the door. Xiaoling, you really don't understand. No matter whether the place is busy or not, Guyan will always love me like this. You still have to learn my art of controlling Guyan well, but even if I go to a busy area, what does it matter? You can only experience my inner emotional changes. What does it have to do with whether you will be disappointed or not? Yes, you are right. Xiaoling surprisingly did not refute. This made Leng Qingqiu feel a little proud. Xiaoling finally stopped arguing with her. He must have approved of her current approach after returning to a warm home. Leng Qingqiu decided to relax completely today. Don't study all night. Go to bed early because you will have a lot of things to do tomorrow morning. The Yi organization needed to assign tasks, and she also had to make some new preparations for the Gu family's annual meeting. What she didn't know was, it seemed that her thoughts were overheard by Xiaoling. In Leng Qingqiu's mind, Xiaoling's mouth corners curled up slightly and he let out a silent smile. Chapter 231, Memory Fragments, Mountains of Corpses and Seas of Blood. Family-oriented. After Guyan finished washing up, he lay down on the bed. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise. Who among my family members understands? The favorability towards Qingqiu is increasing again. No, the favorability level has already been maximized. This is just cultivating deeper emotions. But improvement is improvement. A trace of fatigue appeared on Guyan's face. He yawned and pounded his shoulders. Calculating the time, he only slept for 2 or 3 hours in the past 2 days. He felt a headache when he thought of Leng Qingqiu's other personality. This personality is also a problem. But before that, Guyan turned on the system. There is a memory fragment X1 lying quietly in the backpack. This is the memory fragment obtained after Xiaoling's favorability increased by 1. Of course, Guyan would not think that the favorability was because Xiaoling also fell in love with him. It must be because he thought it was fun to tease him like this. Which is why his favorability towards him increased a little bit. Click on memory fragment. Buzz. A transparent water blue ball appeared out of thin air in front of Guyan. Is this the memory fragment? Guyan muttered to himself. Although he didn't know what this was. But let's see first. Maybe we can get to know something deeper. Thinking of this, Guyan reached out and touched it. A moment. Wow, Guyan lost consciousness. A deep darkness was like a bottomless abyss. Enveloping Guyan, his consciousness was like a wreckage that sank to the bottom of the sea. Swallowed up by endless silence and depression. He felt his heartbeat getting heavier in this depressing atmosphere. And every beat seemed like a desperate struggle in the sinking sea. What is this feeling? Is it sadness? Is it despair? Or is it the cold fear like dead water? Guyan felt that his soul was shrouded in an unspeakable haze. He tried hard to open his eyes, and a hint of scarlet color seeped into his blurred vision. It was the color of blood, and also the color of doomsday. Click. What's this? His heart seemed to be gripped by something. And as his vision gradually became clearer, a purgatory-like hellish scene unfolded before him. There were bloody debris everywhere, and broken arms and limbs were thrown on the ground like abandoned toys. In addition, out of someone's ill taste, bones piled up on both sides of the ground formed a creepy barrier. The air was filled with the smell of blood and decay. Guyan was a little dazed. He tried hard to recall this scene in his mind. But it was as if there was a barrier blocking him, and he just couldn't remember it. But why? But it feels familiar? Why is it familiar? It's impossible for my original world to have experienced all this. Even in the world of this novel, there is no scene like this. But why does it seem so familiar? Whose memory is this? Roar. In the air, wailing and roaring were intertwined. The dark clouds in the sky were like burning coals. Pressing low lightning flashed continuously, illuminating the devastated land. Guyan raised his head. I discovered that there seemed to be giant creatures swimming among the clouds. Looming in the distance. What on earth is this place? Guyan called the system in his heart, but got no response. He took a step forward. Then thump. My legs became weak and I lost control of them. As the line of sight lowers, Guyan discovered his current appearance. Well, he lay on the ground, trying hard to look below himself. But I discovered a horrifying fact. Is that my lower body? Guyan's pupils shrank, and he saw that only his upper body was left and he fell to the ground. Why? What he couldn't understand even more was, there was no fear or despair in his heart. At this moment there is one and only one emotion. That is, sad at this time. Click, click. As the footsteps slowly came, a familiar voice filled with sadness came into Guyan's ears. Forgive me, Guyan. The moment when the bare feet of the owner of the voice came into Guyan's eyes, Guyan's pupils shrank. Phew. As the chill came from his neck, Guyan lost consciousness. Consciousness returns. Just like a person who was pulled ashore and breathed in deep breaths of fresh air. Guyan woke up in shock, holding his chest with bloodshot eyes. He looked around and found that he was still in his room. Guyan was breathing heavily, with only deep confusion in his eyes. He would recognize that pair of jade feet even if they turned into ashes. That is, the jade feet of our Kinkiwayu that I most want to lick. But, what was that scene like? System, come out quickly. Whose memory fragment is this? What on earth was that scene just now? Guyan kept asking the system in his mind. However, no matter what Guyan asked, sorry, the host does not have enough permissions. If you need to allot more memory permissions, please increase the favorability of the Pure Love object or improve the Pure Love skills. The system just keeps responding mechanically. Guyan had no choice but to give up. He gradually calmed down and a hint of solemnity appeared in his eyes. Something is wrong, something is very wrong. Things were too weird and beyond the plot he was familiar with. You know, in this novel world, there is no such doomsday-like plot. No. Guyan suddenly paused and covered his face. The original novel doesn't even mention that Len Kinkiwayu has a second personality. It seems that some strange changes have begun to happen in this world. Damn. If you want to know the rest of the information, you must increase your favorability. That is not. Want to improve your relationship with Xiaolang? Guyan's expression became very strange. No. He shook his head. These memories may all be insignificant things. For now, I should continue to follow the original plan. There is no need to go find Xiaolang just to know the rest of the memories. Guyan took a deep breath. What happened tonight made his mind a little confused. Reach out and touch it. Tsk. Guyan found himself sweating profusely. Well, I took a shower in vain. Guyan sighed and just got up to take another shower. Cell phones kept ringing. Ding ling ling, your wife is calling you. Ding ling ling, your wife is calling you. Guyan was stunned. He looked at the mobile phone on the bedside table with an ecstatic expression. What's the matter? Think you called me suddenly? Will she use it? I remember that before he left that night. He gave Linger a mobile phone purchased by the system, which could be controlled by voice. Now it seems that Linger has been handed over to Yu. Because it was bought for Yu, the phone numbers filled in were only his and Linger's. So, Yu called him because she wanted to test some electronic products? Yeah. Guyan instantly put the bad memory fragment behind him. Nothing was more important than making love with my good wife over the mic. Thinking of this, Guyan immediately picked up his phone. 133. Still studying so late? Guyan answered the call without thinking much. Next second, Yu's familiar voice reached Guyan's ears. Honey, I'm so lonely, can you come and keep me company? Chapter 232. Do I need to stay awake for 24 hours? As soon as these words came out, Guyan's originally excited expression froze on his face in an instant. Instead, I became extremely helpless. He sighed and said, Xiaoling, could you please not say such weird things in Yu's voice? Ling family. Xiaoling fiddled with her nails, expressed her admiration for Guyan on the other end of the phone, and said, TSK, I just want to test how many seconds it will take you to figure out whether the person on the other end of the phone is me or another me. Well, you are very good, you have passed the test. Guyan was a little speechless. He asked, Okay, what do you want? It's the middle of the night and you can't let me sleep. Don't be impatient, remember? If you want me to cooperate with you, you have to be there whenever I call. Xiaoling blew on his nails, his eyes full of interest. After hearing this, Guyan was silent for a while. Why did I agree to such a condition? TSK, I'm a little tired today. Cannot. Xiaoling suddenly interrupted and emphasized. Didn't you have a lot of fun playing with the other me during the day? Why, you're not happy when I, as another personality, call you? That's not what I meant. I have to accompany Yu during the day. And you'll leave me without energy. These are all excuses. If that's the case, let's not cooperate. I want to show your true face to my other self. Guyan became distressed when he heard this. The matter of the memory fragments has not been sorted out yet. If Xiaoling causes trouble again, it will probably cause more trouble. No, am I a nigger? No need to sleep for 24 hours? Of course. For Yu I can stay awake for 24 hours, but you Xiaoling are not Yu. Cricket's second personality. I'll take a shower and come over. Guyan took a deep breath and then made a final resistance into the phone. Oh, are you sweating? Yeah, I had a nightmare and was sweating. When Xiaoling heard this, he narrowed his eyes slightly, licked his lips and continued to ask, What nightmare? I dreamed that you called me in the middle of the night. And when I woke up I found that this nightmare was real. Guyan replied unhappily. Xiaoling, who was still waiting for Guyan to explain something, was stunned after thinking about it carefully. He realized what Guyan said. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly and she let out a pleasant laugh. Ahaha, I seem to understand why the other me likes you so much. As expected of a furnace, it knows how to please the mistress even when dedicating itself to her. The master's furnace. Cricket, you are quite good at playing with your second personality. Guyan curled his lips. That's it, I'm going to take a shower. Hey wait, time is running out. Don't wash it? Don't wash? Are you serious? Yeah, of course, I don't have much time to go out anyway. And I don't want to waste time on something like this. Guyan was a little hesitant when he heard this, but still nodded. Okay, it's up to you. I was thinking in my heart. What a joke, even if it was a second personality, the body was still Yu's. How could I let my sweat stains get on Yu? Then, 1 hour later. Ling family. Snap. Xiaoling opened the passenger door and walked in with her long legs. At night, she was wearing a black coat and a simple yet stylish white silk shirt with a slightly open collar, revealing an intellectual beauty. Her feet were wearing a pair of black high-heeled shoes, exposing her white insteps. Gulp. Guyan swallowed helplessly. As if she noticed Guyan's gaze, Xiaoling jokingly lifted her hair and let it brush lightly across Guyan's face. What's wrong? Are you fascinated by it? Aha, it's still far behind Yu. But this is Yu's body. As Xiaoling said this, she leaned sideways and moved closer to Guyan, as if she was looking for something. Result. When she discovered that Guyan was emitting a fragrance and was clean. Xiaoling's pretty eyebrows slightly frowned and a cold voice came out from her red lips. Did you take a shower? Guyan was stunned and moved a little further away from Xiaoling. Yes, then I will definitely wash it. Am I so angry that I made you wait for a while? TSK. Xiaoling felt somewhat dissatisfied, and she looked at Guyan expressionlessly. The latter felt a little uncomfortable being stared at by this gaze. After all, the other person looked exactly like Yu. No, This body belongs to Leng Qingqiu. Idiot! Xiaoling snorted coldly and sat back down. Then said to Guyan, "Dra." However, Guyan did not follow the instructions. How does it feel to be scolded for no reason? You said that it was okay to be scolded by Qingqiu. After all, he was getting more and more excited for some reason. But what the hell is this cricket's second personality? So he turned off the engine, looked at Xiaoling, shook his head and refused. No, I'm talking to you nicely and you're giving me a cold shoulder. Right? You have to know that the person I like is Qingqiu, not your alter ego. Even though we have a deal, it doesn't mean I have to make a deal with you. You can tell Qingqiu my true identity, but I can also expose you. After all, Qingqiu wouldn't want her sister to know your second personality. You should be very clear about this since you are inside her. Right? If you can't learn human emotions, just surf the internet instead of showing off after learning only a little. I came to pick you up in the middle of the night, and you can't even say thank you or please? I have a message for you, just practice more. Did you understand? Guyan would not indulge his second personality, so he would naturally confront him. Listening to Guyan's output. A little cold. She was silent. I didn't expect that this furnace tripod would actually refute the owner's words. Interesting. Her mood improved again, so she raised the corners of her mouth and looked at Guyan. Okay, you are right, I'm sorry. Please drive. Looking at Xiaoling, who was smiling despite being scolded by me, Guyan was like punching cotton. Okay, where to? Whatever. Also, Yi didn't come? No, why did I come out and bring it here? Please bring it along next time. You've learned everything. Right? Chapter 233. I must play. How long do we need this? Guyan held the steering wheel, driving the car through the city center board lie. The passenger window was opened, and gusts of night wind blew in. Xiaoling leaned against the window, looking at the night view outside curiously. Don't worry, I can experience different feelings every time I come out. Xiaoling smiled gently, her hair flying in the night wind. The city center was full of lights and people were walking around even late at night. These small fry don't need sleep, why are you so sleepy? Xiaoling didn't look back, but just looked out the window and asked Guyan, who was sleepy while driving. Hear this? Guyan was also very curious, and he replied helplessly. I also want to ask this question. You said that I am at least an innate warrior. Your physique must be stronger than that of an ordinary person, right? As a result, these past 2 days, when you called me out at night, I felt particularly tired. You keep calling me Lu Ding. Could it be that some evil magic is sucking my energy? Guyan felt so weak these past 2 days that he almost doubted his life. When Xiaoling heard this, the corners of his mouth slightly curled up, and he laughed happily. Maybe it's just as you said. My other self and I are both sucking your essence. Interesting. Was it discovered by the furnace? Xiaoling actually felt it when he took control of this body. She could absorb Guyan's energy every minute and every second to feed herself. It's just that the effect is lower than fluid intake. But no matter how small a mosquito is, it's still meat. It is also good to absorb a little bit every day. Of course, she would not do something like killing the goose that lays the golden eggs. So she would have to give the furnace a few days off after today. TSK. This also gave her a good signal. That is, simply absorbing essence will only make the furnace more and more tired and the efficiency will be low. But if it is to absorb body fluids, not only is the efficiency high, but the furnace seems to become stronger and stronger. This can be verified in another me. Still need to find an opportunity. Unfortunately, Lu Ding seems to be only interested in the other me. If I rashly seek out the other party to absorb his body fluids, something unexpected might happen. Anyway, huh? Xiaoling seemed to see some billboard. There was a hint of curiosity in her eyes. So he turned around, pointed at a road and said to Guyan, Lu Ding, please drive along this road for 10 kilometers. Guyan looked up at the road sign and said speechless lie. Please, big sister, Zhangye amusement park has been closed for a long time at this time. Okay? Seemingly dissatisfied with Guyan's unfamiliar title, Xiaoling said, I don't care, just drive, I'm going here today. Also, please call me Xiaoling, I feel uncomfortable with the name Big Sister. Guyan curled his lips when he heard this. You have quite a lot of requirements. Don't blame me if you don't have much fun when you go. 10 minutes later. 2 o'clock at night. The gate of Zhangye Paradise. Because it's too late. This place looks particularly deserted and lonely under the cover of night. With only the night wind wandering in the empty park. Guyan looked up at the big iron gate, with a gloating look on his face. See, I told you that this place won't open. You've had enough of shopping. Right? Let's go back. However, Xiaoling shook her head and walked towards the big iron gate. Then reach out your hand. Guyan suddenly had a bad feeling. Hey, what are you going to do? As soon as the words fell, gurgle, The gate of the paradise seemed to be corroded by something and instantly turned into a pool of black water. Then Xiaoling turned his head and looked at Gu Yan. "It's open, come here quickly." After saying that, he turned around and walked in with interest. "You." Gu Yan had no choice but to follow, and he stepped through the gate that had melted into black liquid. Enter into it. The venue was empty, and the coolness and tranquility of the night emerged. The Ferris wheel slowly stopped in the sky, losing its brilliance during the day. The carousel was still and silent. The painted horses and gorgeous decorations were swallowed up by the night. Like the end of a gorgeous dream. All the stalls and game machines in the amusement park have been closed. The colorful lights are no longer flashing, and only the occasional safety lights are still diligently emitting a dim light. The roller coaster tracks stretched out in the darkness, and the outlines of the slide and bungee jumping machine existed like silhouettes in the night sky. Overall, that is, there's nothing to play. Is this place an amusement park? It's a bit boring. Xiaoling pondered for a while. With a hint of disappointment in his tone, she pointed at the roller coaster track in the sky, and then asked Gu Yan, "What about the one that whizzes by? Where can we find any at this hour?" Gu Yan replied helplessly, "Yeah." Xiaoling frowned and pointed to the other facilities, but Gu Yan's expression had already given her the answer. Xiaoling felt a little angry. "This means we can't have any fun. You know that too, so let's go back?" "Don't want." Xiaoling shook his head, then stared at Gu Yan closely. "I must play it." Gu Yan's eyes twitched when he was stared at by this look. "I must play it and you are looking at me like this. You don't want me to help you find a solution, do you?" Xiaoling didn't say anything, just looked at Gu Yan quietly. "No, I don't have that ability, I'm not a staff member." Gu Yan refused, but Xiaoling still didn't say anything. "Go back, I'll take you somewhere else." "No words. TSK. If you keep doing this I won't care about you anymore. Just stay here by yourself." Gu Yan walked away, but came back soon after. "After all, this body still belongs to our King Qiu. How can we let Xiaoling stay here alone?" Walking up to Xiaoling who had been staring at him, Gu Yan scratched his hair. Subconsciously, he said in distress, "DSK, can you come again tomorrow? Who would come so late at night?" "Well." Gu Yan paused at this point. He looked at Xiaoling. It seems like he thought of something. Finally, he could only nod helplessly and said, "I know, I'll go back after playing, and you have to promise me not to call me again these days. I really need to rest." As soon as these words came out, Xiaoling smiled slightly. "Okay, thank you Lu Ding. First of all, can we change the name?" 10 minutes later. Boom boom boom. Electricity was restored to the amusement park. Gu Yan didn't want to be too ostentatious, so the lights were not turned on and only some of the facilities were turned on. That night, paranormal events occurred in the amusement park. The roller coaster, Ferris wheel and other facilities that were apparently closed suddenly started moving on their own. Chapter 230. Gu Yan thinks Xiaoling's flirting skills are poor, and Mei Zhu learns the truth. The time came to 4 o'clock. Ling family. At the door. "Oh, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to pass out." Gu Yan yelled exhausted lie. Xiaoling sat aside and looked at Gu Yan with interest. "How can you protect me like this?" "It's to protect King Qiu. You are just a byproduct." Gu Yan immediately refuted. "Oh, I've said it many times, King Qiu is me, I am King Qiu. Forget it, come here for a moment." Xiaoling shook his head, then stretched out his hand towards Gu Yan and moved his body slightly towards that direction. "Come here, what do you mean?" Gu Yan was a little confused, and turned his head to look. I was stunned for a moment. Because the moment he turned his head, Xiaoling stretched out her hand and gently held his cheek. For a while, their eyes intertwined, each reflecting the other's reflection in their eyes. Xiaoling's eyes were like the brightest stars in the dark night, flickering with a faint light, deep and alluring. Is this King Qiu's original eyes? All sounds seemed to disappear. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, time seemed to freeze. The space inside the car was filled only with the sound of their breathing, and every breath created a tiny echo in this enclosed space. It stayed like this for a minute. Thus when Gu Yan came to his senses and wanted to say something, Xiaoling let go of Gu Yan. "Okay. Today, I am just like the other me. I am having a lot of fun, Lu Ding." After saying that, Xiaoling opened the car door and walked out. Gu Yan didn't quite understand Xiaoling's actions. "TSK, please don't call me Lu Ding, and please look for me less often." Xiaoling sneered but said nothing. She did not leave immediately. He just stood there, with his hands behind his back and a smile on his face, looking at Gu Yan. "Do you know what we just did? What did you do?" Gu Yan was a little confused. "Kiss." Gu Yan choked when he heard this and said, "Kiss? Who kissed you?" "Xiaoling, can you please stop talking nonsense? What is going on? How did they kiss? Isn't it?" Xiaoling narrowed her eyes slightly. Looking at Gu Yan's reaction at the moment, She slowly pointed to her own eyes and smiled. Looking into each other's eyes is a spiritual kiss without lust. As soon as these words came out, Gu Yan was shocked. What the hell is this? He said to Xiaolang unhappily. Excuse me, you can see the pie chart when we look at each other. You see that I am 30 speechless, 30 sarcastic, 30 indifferent. And 10 of you, what else can I do? I'm going to bed. Bye. Gu Yan rolled up the car window, stepped on the gas and left. My family members are completely speechless. Where did Xiaolang learn these quotes? Can you please learn from him before flirting with him? Gu Yan felt that if Xiaolang said in Kinkyu's tone, your cold is coming, he might have some mood swings. Okay? And you learn some seductive quotes from him and show off later? Looking at Gu Yan leaving. For the first time, Xiaolang felt a little doubtful about his learning results. It shouldn't be. There is no reaction at all? Xiaolang felt a little unwilling. She thought about herself during the day. She clearly didn't do anything. But just standing there made Lu Ding willingly do this and that for her. Could it be that? I really don't know how to enslave the furnace? Another image of myself appearing in my mind, showing off my power. Xiaolang thought about this and shook his head. I don't believe it. And I don't admit that I am worse than another me. Xiaolang took a deep breath. Of course, there is one weird thing. She tapped her temple and looked at Gu Yan, who had disappeared in the distance. His eyes became very strange. What is this memory that suddenly appears in my mind? The final scene. I killed Lu Ding. But why is it so sad? Is it another emotion of mine? That's when Xiaolang was thinking about something. Sudden. She frowned. TSK, I'm about to wake up. If you leave the furnace there any longer, the secret will be revealed. Think of this. Xiaolang suppressed his emotions and walked into the room expressionlessly. I look forward to seeing you next time, Lu Ding. The next day. Family-oriented. Meizu couldn't wait any longer. She couldn't bear it any longer. She kept thinking that Gu Yan was injured and might not have time to tell her about her brother. But she really couldn't help it. 5 things. She had already done 5 things for Gu Yan. Some of these things are hidden from their masters. This was simply a betrayal of her master, and Meizu actually felt a strong sense of guilt during this period. But this will all end today. Her deal with Gu Yan will also end today. Then she will tell her master everything Gu Yan did secretly. Brush. Accompanied by a wave of shadows, Meizu's figure slowly appeared in Gu Yan's room. She had already sensed it. The experts around Gu Yan are not in this room. Gu Yan's parents were all out as well. Of course, what surprised her was that not only that, there was not even a warrior in the house to protect the injured Gu Yan. It seems like Gu Yan is not injured. Could it be that he has fallen out of favor? Meizu knew that there were many bloody plots in wealthy families. No, never mind. She checked the room and locked onto the bed. Where are the people? Meizu was a little confused. Why did Gu Yan disappear? She clearly remembered that Gu Yan was tied up like a mummy here before. In order to explore the place in advance, she even sent Gu Yan back personally. She left with peace of mind only after seeing the doctor's diagnosis. Where are the people now? Just at this moment. Click. The door slowly opened. Meizu was startled and was about to leave. Don't get excited, Miss May. It's me. A familiar voice caught her attention. Next second, Gu Yan, wearing a bathrobe, walked in yawning. He held a cup of coffee, closed the bedroom door, and looked at Meizu while drinking. Why do you have time to come to my place? Meizu frowned and looked at Gu Yan. Are you not hurt? Yeah, of course. How can you accompany Kinkyu if you're injured? Gu Yan sat on the single sofa beside him and glanced at Meizu with interest. And he pointed to the sofa beside him and said, Meizu, please sit down. Oh, let's not talk about politeness. Meizu was too lazy to delve into whether Gu Yan was injured or not, and asked directly, where is the thing you promised me? Thing. When Gu Yan heard this, his expression showed a kind of confusion, as if it was too long ago and he couldn't remember it. Meizu saw this and a hint of anger appeared in her eyes. She lowered her voice and asked, news about my brother? Didn't you promise to tell me news about your brother after you completed 5 tasks for you? As soon as these words came out, Gu Yan suddenly realized. Oh, your brother, why didn't you tell me earlier? Miss May? You have done your best for me, so I will definitely complete what I promised you. Meizu felt a little relieved when she saw that Gu Yan kept his promise. Just the next second, Gu Yan's words made Meizu's heart tense again. Gu Yan took a sip of coffee and looked at Meizu with a hint of confusion. But didn't you see your brother? Isn't he in the hospital? What do you mean? Explain yourself. Meizu asked quickly. Didn't I ask you to rescue everyone that night? Yeah. I saved them all. Are you saying that my brother is among the injured? Meizu's eyes lit up with joy. My brother is in the hospital. But that's not right. Meizu's excitement slowly subsided. Apart from Mu Rongxi and other members of the night organization, there were only Liu Ji and Xingyan Bai Jun left, but the age difference between these two and his younger brother was too big. How would I know? Have you saved them all? They must have all been rescued. Tell me who it was. Meizu asked anxiously. See this scene. Gu Yan wasn't going to keep it a secret anymore. He smiled softly. The atmosphere in the room gradually became weird due to the change in Gu Yan's temperament. Oh really? The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. He suddenly looked at Meizu with a playful look, and finally revealed his true face, including did you save the heir of Xuanwu sect as well? As soon as these words came out. Boom! Like a thunderbolt passing through Meizu's brain. Gee, I reacted all at once. Meizu was stunned. Chapter 235 Implanting claw cells into Meizu. I couldn't hear any sound and my body started to tremble. Meizu's pupils suddenly contracted, as if she was hit by an invisible force, and she stood there in a daze. Gu Yan's half-smile was like a sharp knife, easily cutting through her last line of defense. Her state of mind was as if she had experienced a huge storm. All her excitement, enthusiasm and hope collapsed in an instant, and helplessness and despair surged into her heart like a tide. The man in front of her was like a high-ranking drama director, playing with all the plots and characters, and she was just an insignificant part of it. You actually already knew it. You clearly know that Deng Feng is my brother. But you still. Meizu's voice was trembling. She tried to regain some sanity, but found that her thoughts were in a mess. However, this tone only made the curve of Gu Yan's mouth deeper. He slowly stood up and approached Meizu, his eyes fixed straight into hers. What's wrong? Did I do something wrong? Neither you nor I could have predicted that Deng Feng would become the successor of Xuanwu sect. None of the 5 things I asked you to do later would be unfair to your brother. Even the 5th thing I asked for was to save everyone who was still breathing. So how did you do, Meizu? Gu Yan's voice was low and full of teasing, and every word was like a hammer hitting Meizu's heart. Meizu's heart was beating like a drum, and her soul seemed to have suffered countless tortures in these few seconds. Is it because I didn't save my brother? Meizu was completely stunned at this moment. Her heart was filled with despair, and this despair was like a black hole that swallowed up everything she had. Gu Yan stopped in front of her. He looked down at her with amusement in his eyes. Yes, it's you. Your cleverness has led to this situation. You abandon your brother. In the final analysis, the murderer of your brother is actually you. And speaking of this, Gu Yan gave the opponent one final soul-critical strike. You have to be loyal to the Night King, but in your heart you want to protect your brother. Meizu, how can I explain to King Qiyu if you do this? As soon as these words came out, Meizu's heart trembled, and endless fear surged in her eyes. She looked at Gu Yan, her face as pale as snow. You know? How come? Why? Gu Yan actually knew that his master's true identity was Ling King Qiyu, the Night King. Why? How did you know? When did you find out? Next trick. Gu Yan gave this answer. He looked at Meizu jokingly and said, Why, do you want to ask me how I know King Qiyu is the Night King? Aha, idiot. Guess why your master wants to gather all the geniuses in the world. And why did Xingzu ask you to lead them? Guess again. Does your mistress know that you and the heir of Xuanwu sect are siblings? Boom, boom. A moment. Meizu's legs went limp. He fell to the ground with a thud. Fear weighed on her heart, and the pressure made her breathing quicken. She understood. She understood everything. There are no 5 things. And there is no husband in the secular world. How could a being like the master become a superficial couple with someone from the secular world? Even if it was for a plan? All of this is just a task assigned by the master to the man in front of him. This man is used to test their loyalty. Why was Gu Yan able to call out her name when they met for the first time? Make her think that the other person is not ordinary? All this is because Gu Yan was originally a tool used by her master to test her loyalty. Someone like the master must have known long ago that her brother was Deng Feng, and must have also known long ago that her brother had the black tortoise key in his body. The purpose is to let Gu Yan test whether she will choose her brother or the organization. Result: she chose to do 5 things for her younger brother. But after she finished her work, her younger brother died. The master also knows that she is a rebellious person. It's over, everything is over. Meizu's eyes gradually lost their luster. How could she survive when she was sentenced to death by the adults? Gu Yan looked down at the other person. There was no fluctuation in his eyes. Okay, that went to plan. The other party probably also knows his current situation. It's time to close the net. How pathetic, Miss May. What's the difference between you and a lost dog now? It seems quite different from when I first met you. Gu Yan's sarcastic words pierced Meizu's heart, but she was powerless to refute. My brother is dead. And I am going to die too. Nothing is left. But the next second, Gu Yan's words stunned her. Of course I don't hate you like this. After all, I'm not a loyal person. Guyan raised his hand. Platter. Black liquid gushed out and floated in the air. Wow, a wailing sound came from the center of the liquid. Hear this sound. Meizu was stunned, then suddenly looked up. Suddenly, I was stunned. I saw the sticky black liquid gradually forming a face of extreme pain in the air. A familiar feeling surged into Meizu's heart, and she couldn't help but shout excitedly. Dang Fang. Just finished shouting. Brush. Guyan took it back. Meizu quickly reached out and grabbed Guyan's trouser leg. She knelt on the ground and raised her head, and asked with tearful eyes and a trembling voice. Guyang Yuyan, my brother is not dead? Looking at Meizu, who was desperate but still hopeful, Guyan gave an affirmative answer. Yes, Miss Mei? Of course your brother is not dead. Because when I found out that you had no intention of saving him, I sealed his soul here with me. As for me, I'm actually a very nice person. When Guyan said this, his expression became somewhat compassionate. I think Miss Mei, if you knew that your brother died because of you, you would probably feel very uncomfortable. As for me, I just can't stand seeing girls cry, so I thought of rescuing your brother, and then returning him to you when the time is right. The more Meizu listened, the more joyful her face became. Then, but as we were talking, Meizu felt something was wrong. Wrong. No. Guyan was sent by her master to test her loyalty. Could it be that he is still testing her loyalty now? But what if it wasn't the case? What if Guyan also had the intention of rebelling? But what if it's not what I thought? Meizu now understands that her brother is not dead. So she naturally wants to live and reunite with her brother. But Guyan's words forced her to consider more things. What to do? After struggling in pain for a few minutes, Meizu took a deep breath, then looked up at Guyan. What do you want me to do in order to return my brother to me? Meizu decided that she wanted to take a gamble. If she didn't choose her brother, she might also die. After all, the master would not want such a traitor. If she chooses her brother, there is still a glimmer of hope. She is betting that Guyan is not really loyal to the Night King. Listen to Meizu being so sensible. Guyan didn't keep the secret any longer. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. It's very simple. He extended his fingertips toward Meizu. Ergo, a tiny tentacle emerged from his fingertips. Relax your mind and let me implant the tentacle. The function of this tentacle is to destroy your spirit and life when you have other intentions. Meizu looked at the wriggling tentacle extending from Guyan's fingertips, and couldn't help feeling a little frightened. But for my brother. Good. Meizu nodded. Brother, wait for me. I will definitely save you. Chapter 236 Sister, are you using any skincare products recently? Half an hour later, Meizu left the Gu family. She touched her neck and her expression became a little heavy. Although there are no abnormal changes in the body at present, but having a tentacle buried in your body is always a little uncomfortable. But even so, Meizu did not regret it. Because for her brother, she can do everything. Even if it's betraying the master. Meizu's figure flickered in the dark. She sighed in her heart. I didn't expect that the fake Night King was Guyan. Master, I'm sorry. Guyan's request was simple. That is, let her maintain her current status while going to a base called Light of Hope to teach the children there to practice. According to Guyan, that was his our base camp. There are only a few children at the moment, but there will be more and more people in the future. The bases will also be more standardized. Meizu had no idea what Guyan wanted to do. She only knew that once she got on the boat, it seemed she couldn't get off. As long as you complete this task, I will return your brother's soul to you. Meizu recalled Guyan's expression in her mind. She had heard this sentence from Guyan too many times. But it has come to this point. She had to believe it. Meizu left. And then another person appeared in Guyan's room. Sir, I will take my leave. Demon Claw stood in the shadows and spoke to Guyan respectfully. In order to prevent any accidents, Guyan had already let the Claw stay in the house to protect his safety. Guyan nodded. As the figure of the Devil's Claw disappeared, his expression relaxed. He rubbed his cheeks and thought it must be tiring to keep twisting his mouth and pretend to be a bad guy. TSK. Finally a problem is solved. Guyan yawned and lay down on the bed. With my eyes closed, I began to plan my next step in my mind. First, the current situation. All the forces that poured into the rivers and seas were destroyed. Only Liu Jianxing was left alive. Because this person has a special identity and will be useful in the future. Guyan kept him. Next are the members of the Night Organization. According to Meizu, Mu Rongxi, Shangguan Mayayin and Bi Alian who was rescued. They will definitely enter the warrior department later. Then Yu Xingzu and she will also be invited to join and form a new team. But so many people infiltrating at once, the Kinkyu Banyi organization's whitewash plan is proceeding very smoothly. Finally, the White Army. With so many things happening, the other party must be sweating profusely. But don't worry too much. After all, the other party is not only a master, but also the youngest genius master in the warrior department. So at most I'll just get scolded a few times and that's it. What we need to pay attention to is what comes next. So many people died. It will definitely attract the attention of all departments. If the Night King is truly resurrected, the news will spread to all the sects that are still waiting and watching. For a long time afterwards, countless warriors would flock to the rivers and seas again. To put it simply, Gu Yan cannot take any action for a period of time in the future. Need to calm down for a while. Let's talk about his own side. Strength is secondary, influence is the most important. The first is his secret base, which is the Light of Hope. This place was handed over to Long Ziai at Ian of Yama Palace to renovate and rebuild. Once the construction is completed, you can completely implement your plan to build your own power. Resources are not a problem either. A Gu family's strength can solve everything. With the help of Meizu, his power will only grow stronger. Thinking of this, Gu Yan suddenly remembered the family annual meeting at the end of the year. This is actually a plot that was glossed over in the original novel. After all, it has nothing to do with the protagonist group. But through his experience in reality, he had some understanding of the situation at that time. The venue for the annual meeting has always been at Gu Family Manor. All my brothers, sisters, aunts and uncles will come. Another part will be representatives of companies under the Gu family's name. Time is running out and Gu Yan has a lot to do. But before that, he changed into a comfortable position. No, I'm too sleepy. Let's do tomorrow's work tomorrow. Let me take a few days off recently. Ling family. Sister. Are you using any skincare products recently? Ling Linger, carrying a small school bag, looked at her radiant elder sister with some shock. No, what's wrong? Ling Qiyu was stunned, then replied hesitantly. I feel a little nervous. What's wrong? Would it be that my skin has deteriorated? Has it become uglier? So when I went out to play with Gu Yan yesterday, did he notice it? No? Then why is it so pink? Dampened like the skin of a newborn baby. Ling Linger compared it with her own. Although she is also very pretty, she is far inferior to my elder sister. It's incredible. How does my sister maintain her looks? Stop talking so much and go to class. Ling Qiyu was silent for a while. Could this child please stop breathing heavily when speaking? Ouch. Ling Linger responded, then went out and got on the special car sent by Gu Yan. Click. As the door closed, Ling Qiyu was the only one left in the Ling family. Your skin has improved. Is it because you have come into contact with the furnace more often? Xiaoling jumped out at this time and asked the question even though he knew the answer. Ling Qiyu snorted when he heard this. I want you to say more? But I do have a strange feeling lately. Ling Qiyu stretched his body, raised his eyebrows slightly, and smiled. My body seems to be very relaxed and energetic. That's the benefit of going to bed early and getting up early. Really? But as the Night King, you are not affected by such factors. If you want to become more beautiful, you can only do it in other ways. Another way? Well, for example, absorbing body fluids with the furnace. Ling Qiyu was speechless. Xiaoling's mind was full of thoughts. She replied somewhat dissatisfied. Xiaoling, shut up. You don't understand anything. I became more beautiful because I have a regular sleep schedule and no longer stay up all day like before. So it has nothing to do with your so-called intake of Gu Yan's bodily fluids. And what you said sounded like I was some kind of succubus who had to rely on Gu Yan's bodily fluids to survive. Isn't it? Ling Qiyu was so angry that she didn't bother to talk to Xiaoling anymore. She snorted and said, I won't talk to you anymore, I have to get busy. After saying that, he ran upstairs. Thus when Xiaoling thought the other party really wanted to learn, the other party took out wool from a cabinet and started knitting. It's almost done. Gu Yan will definitely be very surprised when the time comes. Studying. Didn't you say yesterday that you were going to the Night Organization's base to arrange the next plan? After these words were spoken, Ling Qiyu's expression stiffened slightly. And he coughed lightly and replied, Xiaoling, can you please stop talking? I have my own plans. I'll go after I finish knitting the scarf. You'd better. Xiaoling said that he had seen through another self of his. Ever since the other self had been with Gu Yan, he had become extremely lazy. What do you know? Xiaoling, I can bear it. Chapter 237. 1 month later. Time passes slowly. A month passed. Zhang Yechai has undergone considerable changes in this month. Because of Night King's attack a month ago, more warriors have flocked to Zhang Yechai. Gu Yan has been very calm these days and has not done anything to attract attention. Only, I wonder if the news of the Night King's resurrection attracted some fanatics. This month a series of terrorist attacks occurred around the world, claiming to have attracted the attention of the Night King. In short, fans make mistakes and idols pay the price. This action made everyone hate the Night King even more. Ling family. The vast gray blue sky quietly spreads out in the cold winter air. Ling Qingqiu stood by the window, feeling the cold wind coming in from outside. She stretched out her fingertips, and in this quiet atmosphere, the first snowflake melted on her fingertips as light as a feather. Ling Qingqiu withdrew his hand, leaving behind a slightly red mark, which was the warmth from the melting snowflakes. It's snowing. A smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. She didn't expect that so much time had passed in a flash. A lot of things happened in this month. First of all, the relationship with Guyan warmed up a lot again, but it never went beyond the second stage. You can tell from the fact that your perception is improving at a slower and slower rate. Ling Qingqiu believes that it is for the sake of better revenge and to better improve perception. It is necessary for me to develop a new way of loving affection with Guyan. Of course, this is all for revenge, not for anything else. Secondly, because a month ago, a whole sect in Zhangye was wiped out, so it attracted everyone's attention, and the fake Night King attracted countless limelight. But that's exactly what I want. Thanks also to the fake Night King. Only then can Meizu and others infiltrate the warrior department. And they also set up something called a special investigation team for night operations. The members are Meizu, Yu Xingzu, Mu Rongxi, Shangwan Maiyin, Biao Yan, Bi Jun, Liu Ji and Xing. In short, more than half of them are acquaintances. This will be very helpful for her future plans to eliminate warriors. Finally, and more importantly, one thing. That is, I finally finished knitting before the end of the year. That's all a cricket scarf is. Ling Qingqiu picked up a black scarf she had knitted herself on the table, and the corners of her mouth couldn't help but rise. But now there is another very distressing thing. That is, how should I hand it over to Guyan? Another me, the furnace is here. You can give it to him now. At this time, Xiaoling suddenly reminded. After hearing this, Ling Qingqiu didn't know what he was thinking and quickly put away the scarf. A few seconds later, click. Qingqiu my Qingqiu my Qingqiu. Here I come. Guyan pushed the door open and walked in. A lot has happened this month. First of all, my relationship with Qingqiu has deepened. Secondly, Xiaoling's frequency of calling him out decreased. And as a result, his mental state became better and better. And the transformation of his own base camp was successful and all the equipment was complete. All that's left is to find children to become members of his organization. Many things happened in Zhangye, and more forces poured in. Warriors and ordinary people were all mixed together. It can be said that when you walk on the street, 1 out of 10 people you meet may be a warrior. In short, Guyan was very well behaved during this month and spent most of his time with Qingqiu, and today was no exception. As soon as they met, Guyan locked onto Ling Qingqiu's hand, naturally held it, and began to greet her warmly. Qingqiu, you are still so beautiful today. Your hands are cold. Let me rub them for you. Ling Qingqiu didn't struggle when she heard that. She pretended to be calm and replied, you are being nice to me for no reason. What do you want to do today? Seeing that his purpose was exposed, Guyan gently put his shoulder on Ling Qingqiu and said with a smile, today I saw a good restaurant on Shaozong Review. How about going there for lunch? Ling Qingqiu was tempted after hearing this. During this month, she chose to break through herself and tried to go to crowded places with Guyan. And I realized that the feeling was just like that. I could go anywhere as long as I was with Guyan. After a month of eating, drinking and having fun, most of Zhangye's families and sects knew about her relationship with Guyan. Although I really want to go. But today is a special day. Because she had made a plan. After knitting the scarf she was ready to study hard and do real work. So Ling Qingqiu opened her mouth slightly, wanting to refuse. Hug. As also a limited edition milk mango pudding over there. I asked and it might still be available if I go there before noon. As soon as these words came out, Ling Qingqiu looked up at Guyan. Her cheeks slightly flushed. Then let's go now. Limited edition pudding, I really want to try it. When Guyan saw this scene, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and his sweet food plan was successful. Zhangye High School. Ling Linger and Ba Quanlan, who had just finished their midterm exams, were flipping through the test papers that were handed out. Sister Linger, you have made progress. Ba Quanlan looked at the Chinese, math and English test papers in Ling Linger's hand in surprise. That's a must. Ling Linger smiled triumphantly and tapped her brain. Quanlan, I finally discovered my talent. That means I have a good memory as long as I can handle Chinese, math and English, then the liberal arts part shouldn't be easy to handle. Right? Bei Quanlan nodded, and she suddenly felt a sense of crisis. Yes. Sister Linger has worked so hard. If I don't work harder, I'm afraid I won't be able to go to the same school with Sister Linger. No, I must study hard too. But, speaking of learning well, Biaoan Lan glanced at the seat where Deng Feng used to sit. I don't know what's going on, but Deng Feng hasn't come to school for a month. Because the other party is an orphan, there is no way to contact his parents. The school called the police but received no further response. I don't know what happened. Of course, this had nothing to do with her. But she felt a little uncomfortable because the missing boy was her classmate. Never mind, the most important thing right now is, think of this. Bi Quan Lan looked at Ling Linger expectantly. Sister Linger, and I come to your house and study with you during the winter vacation. Upon hearing this, the latter nodded happily and agreed. Sure, Quan Lan, winter vacation is coming soon anyway. How about you just live in my house then? Let's review together. This happiness came so suddenly that I didn't know what to do. Bi Quan Lan swallowed her saliva, then quickly nodded in agreement. Okay, he had. Chapter 238 Lenking Qiu. It seems that girl is very beautiful. Inside a cafe, 3 women and 2 men were sitting around the window. They were dressed in distinctive costumes, and each of them exuded an extraordinary temperament. The other guests stared at them intently. A man scares away the person who is spying on them with his intimidating eyes. He then looked at the 2 plainly dressed women in front of him and said, I am Lan Ting from the Frostblade sect. Nice to meet you 2 from the Phoenix Scrying sect. This cooperation is of great importance. The content of the following conversation must not be disclosed to other sects. The 2 women from Fengming sect looked at each other when they heard this. Then he nodded solemnly and responded, I understand. But they looked at the other people in the store with a little confusion and asked, why did you choose this place? There are so many people here. And our conversation content. As soon as these words came out, another man with long black shiny hair and a youthful look in his eyes chuckled and said, you 2 sisters don't understand this, do you? This is a place called a cafe in the secular world. Most of the people who come here to eat are ordinary people. I also asked Luo Yin to investigate. There are no warriors here except us. When he said this, the gentle woman in a light blue robe beside him smiled slightly. With the water mirror here, even if we say anything, these ordinary people won't understand what we are talking about. As for those warriors, they are all arrogant people with lofty ambitions. They would not bother to come to such a small place. Oh, by the way, my name is Mo Kenji, and Luo Yin and I are both disciples of the Baibo sect. Hear this. The 2 plain-looking women nodded. They cupped their hands and said, Chen Li. See, after getting to know each other, Lan Ting frowned and spoke first. Since we have decided to work together, I will disclose my information first. According to our spies from the Frostblade sect, the night organization disappeared after causing a commotion in Zhangye a month ago. It's like leaving the river and the sea. Hearing this, Ziyan shook her head and said, in the Zhangye area, the night organization has indeed not taken any action again. But in other areas, our sect disciples encountered members who were suspected to be members of the night organization. They will attack warriors and ordinary people. The purpose is simple and clear, which is to sacrifice the souls of living beings to the Night King. Oh Yin gently swirled the water cup and added, my Bibo sect's water mirror has captured several actions of the suspected night organization, but they always disappear without a trace at the critical moment. It's as if just showed up to see the situation. You can tell that they didn't seem to know the thing was about to come out. Hear this. Everyone was silent. Water mirror was the unique secret technique of the Baibo sect. It is a special means of remotely operating to spy on the enemy and conceal one's own breath. The long-haired man, Mo Kenji, seemed to have grasped some key information. He expressed his guess. Could it be that the Night King also realized that he had caused too much trouble at the time? And that he was too weak after his resurrection? So that's why he slowly extends his claws to test our reaction. As for that thing, I think the Night King must know about it. But he didn't dare to show up because we were outnumbered. After these words were spoken, several people looked at each other. Everyone agreed with this view. After a moment of silence, Lan Ting sighed helplessly. What should we do now? Yi is too cunning. I wonder if he will suddenly appear when we let our guard down, just like he did a month ago. Ziyan thought about it, shook her head and said seriously, no, this time is different from a month ago. This time it is truly confirmed that the Night King has been resurrected. Not only us, countless warrior forces have poured into the secular world, especially those from Zhangye. The warrior department will also increase its efforts. I believe that even the Night King will not act rashly against this scale of organization. At least, I don't think we'll be crushed like we were a month ago. Hear this. Everyone's face looks a little weird. A month ago. It is said that the Night King reappeared a month ago and wiped out all the forces that entered the rivers and seas with one move. He had even bewitched some of the sects to become his helpers. Fortunately, with the searchlights issued by the warrior department, they can at least confirm who is the enemy and who is the friend. Mokenji also nodded and said with a smile, well, maybe the Night King would not dare to come out after seeing our scene. I believe the Night King is definitely not a fool. Okay. Let's see what to eat, just order whatever you want. After we're full, we can discuss our plans for the future. Hear this. Several people looked at each other. The main reason why they are so cautious and want to confirm his whereabouts is actually because that thing is about to be born. The weather has changed strangely in recent days, and the concentration of true energy has gradually increased. In addition, the prophecy of the old leader of the Taichu Holy Land indicates that this is the rhythm of the ancient energy being born. What does this mean? It means that another ancient energy is ready to look for a successor. The purpose of their joining together is very simple. First, cooperate to find the specific location of the ancient energy together, and then decide the winner to whom the ancient energy belongs. Just thought of this. Din Galing. The door was pushed open with the sound of a clear bell. The cold wind at the door mixed with snowflakes gently swept through the warm space inside. At the same time, two figures walked in, quickly attracting the attention of everyone present. The man was seen wearing a dark gray wool coat with a slightly turned up collar, and a hint of elegant white wool could be seen through his shirt collar. The woman, who has the temperament of a winter goddess, wore a pair of sunglasses and chose a brown coat with wool lining, which is both warm and light. She paired it with a simple pair of dark straight pants and a pair of non-slip Martin boots. She had her hands in her coat pockets and was leaning slightly towards the man next to her. As soon as you enter the house, Ling Qingqiu locked onto several auras. Are there any warriors? She followed Guyan calmly. Hello, sir, are you two? A waiter came over, holding the menu and looking at Guyan and Ling Qingqiu with a slightly red face. What a handsome guy, and the girl next to him is so beautiful. Well, take us to a window seat. Guyan nodded, then took Ling Qingqiu's hand out of his pocket and held it in his hand. He lowered his head and whispered, hold me tight, Qingqiu. There seems to be other warriors here. Ling Qingqiu felt the heat beside his ears and his heart skipped a beat. She raised her chin slightly and let Guyan pull her towards the seat. Her perception is much stronger than before. In fact, she doesn't even need eyes now and can move freely relying only on her perception. It was also a window seat, 2 or 3 tables away from Lanting and the others. Guyan pointed at the limited edition pudding and asked the waiter with a smile, do you have any more pudding? Yes. The waitress was a young woman who was completely unable to resist Guyan's lethal charm. And she was extremely nervous when she spoke. Let's have to first. Can I have more if it's not enough? Well, it's okay. Just call me when the time comes. A waitress originally wanted to say that each person was limited to 1 portion, but Guyan's smiling gaze made her unable to refuse. Okay, thank you, 2 servings of this and these. Guyan pointed at the staple foods, snacks and drinks and said, Okay. The waiter left. Guyan, on his part, sensed a slightly dissatisfied mood. He looked at Ling Qingqiu who was sitting opposite him. The other person had his arms folded across his chest and was silently tapping his arms with his fingertips. Guyan was stunned, so he asked, what's wrong, Qingqiu? Oh, it's nothing. I just suddenly found that you can get along well with every girl. It seems that the girl is very beautiful. Ling Qingqiu sneered and turned his head to look out the window, but she regretted it as soon as she said it. In fact, Ling Qingqiu felt that she was not a possessive person, but it was not until she met Guyan that she realized that her possessiveness was indeed very strong. Whenever Guyan talked to young and beautiful girls, she felt uncomfortable. He becomes unhappy when he feels uncomfortable, and likes to make sarcastic remarks to Guyan when he is unhappy. She knew it was wrong, but she just couldn't help it. Forget it, I'll find a chance to apologize later. Seeing this, Guyan suddenly became inexplicably excited. A smile gradually appeared on his face. What should I do if I have a jealous fiancee who likes to show I'm jealous on her face? Guyan said that in short, it is very cute. Qingqiu, I love you so much, you really are so cute. Guyan immediately shouted it out in public. This attracted a lot of people to look over with surprised eyes. If you like something, you should shout it out loud. This is the creed of me, the pure love Emperor Guyan. Shut up. Ling Qingqiu broke down immediately and didn't bother to quarrel with Guyan anymore. She quickly reached out and covered the man's mouth. I feel very ashamed inside. Damn, can this guy please understand the situation? The other side. Lanting and the others lowered their voices quietly. He turned his gaze to Guyan and Ling Qingqiu. Hey, if I'm not mistaken, Guyan and Ling Qingqiu, the eldest son of the Gu family and the daughter of the Ling family. Why are they here? Not sure. Speaking of this, Lanting thought about what Guyan had just said and said uncertainly. Could it be that the two of them are on a date today? As soon as these words came out, several people looked at each other. Then they smiled at each other. How is that possible? Although I have heard that the eldest son of the Gu family and the daughter of the Ling family are in love and have even reached the stage of discussing marriage. But now that the Night King has resurrected, the ancient spirit is about to emerge. Everyone was busy and nervous about these two things. How is it possible that these two people still have the mood to talk about love? They must be discussing something else. In short, it's polite. I'll go say hello later. Furthermore, if they could establish a good relationship with Guyan, perhaps they would be able to obtain more intelligence and information. They knew that Guyan was very familiar with Bai Jun, a person in charge of John Ha. Add to that the Gu family and so many other relationships. And getting along well with each other is definitely the best strategy. Chapter 239. Nothing. My hand slipped. A pudding is delicate and smooth. With a silky taste, the sweetness of milk and the soreness of mango are perfectly blended. Wow, it is worthy of being a limited edition pudding. It turned out to be the right place. Ling Qiyu ate the fifth pudding in small but very fast bites. My heart is almost filled with sweets. Guyan supported himself with his hands and looked at the other person very gently. Sure enough, King Qiyu looked very cute when eating dessert. She's pretty cute at other times though. King Qiyu, eat some staple food instead of eating sweets all the time. Guyan spoke. Ling Qiyu replied while eating. Staple food? No, I just want pudding. Eating too much sweets is bad for your health. Guyan persuaded again. That's you as the Night King. You have the ability to resist all negative energy. The Night King's physique is not suitable for this kind of thing. At this time Xiaoling jumped out and said again. She was a little curious about what sweets tasted like that could make another self like them so much. Xiaoling, you don't understand, combining work and dress is the mainstream tone of today's society. Ling Qiyu replied to Xiaoling in his heart. She was eating dessert and was too lazy to argue with Xiaoling. However, Guyan said so. After eating the fifth pudding, Ling Qiyu touched her belly and found that her stomach was not full of sweets yet. Then she reluctantly picked up the chopsticks and reached for the staple food. Then eat something. Guyan smiled slightly. Hey, King Qiyu is so cute. I never get tired of watching it. If it weren't for the plan, I really wanted to just give in and spend my days eating, drinking and having fun with King Qiyu. Well, but would this affect King Qiyu's own plans too much? After all, the other party also has to arrange the night organization, or the Night King. If she just keeps eating, drinking and having fun, then things on her side won't be able to go on. Well, although according to King Qiyu's personality, he shouldn't just give up and do nothing. It must have been arranged in advance, so she agreed to go out with him. At this time, hello, are you Mr. Guyan? A figure in a light blue robe walked over. She greeted Guyan gently. Ling Qiyu, who was eating Shenjian, suddenly became alert. He raised her head, opened her eyes and looked at the other person. After seeing that it was just the life essence of an acquired warrior, he sneered in his heart with disdain. It's boring that cricket, a post-tatal warrior, also comes to talk to me. After thinking about this, he looked away and continued eating the Shenjian. Guyan looked at the other person and saw that the other person's clothes and appearance seemed like he was not from this century. People in the ancient martial arts world are all very personal, so he pretended to be confused and asked, well, who are you? Wo Yin felt relief when she heard this. She was afraid that Guyan would be difficult to talk to and simply not want to pay attention to them. So she introduced herself gently. Hello, I am a disciple of the Bibo sect. My name is Wo Yin. At this point, she looked towards another window seat and introduced. Those are my friends over there. We all want to make friends with you, Mr. Gu. Upon hearing this, Guyan glanced at the several acquired warriors sitting there. They were also looking at him. Guyan thought about it. Bibo sect. Although he has been particularly well behaved this month, but it's not like nothing was done. For example, he arranged people to record all the forces that entered Zhang Ha. Among them is the Bibo sect. This is a sect that ranks in the middle of the ancient martial arts world. Their strength cannot be said to be strong, but their disciples are very popular. The reason why he is so popular is because he has a unique secret technique called water mirror. The function of the water mirror is to be able to remotely monitor and spy on the enemy. But the prerequisite is that you need to sense the other party's breath. In addition, you can also conceal everything about yourself so that outsiders cannot detect that you are here. Even what you say may become unclear to outsiders. It's a pity that this is a secret technique that is not passed on. So only the disciples of the Bibo sect can learn it. As for why the other party suddenly came to him, he guessed that there were only a few reasons. Or really want to get to know him. Or maybe you just want to get some inside information about the night. Or it could be information about the ancient spirit. When I think of that ancient spirit, there was an inexplicable look in Guyan's eyes. In general, he really needs the secret technique of water mirror. But it's not impossible. Just when he thought of this, Gu Yan's heart suddenly tightened. He glanced at Ling Qingqiu, who was sitting opposite him and eating silently. After coughing lightly, he still shook his head at Luo Yin and said, "Sorry. Today is a rare day off. I just want to have a nice day with my love." Hear this. Luo Yin felt a little disappointed. She looked at Ling Qingqiu, who was wearing sunglasses, feeling a little confused. I really can't sense any fluctuations in cultivation. It turns out that the lover of the eldest son of the Gu family is just an ordinary person. However, a lean camel is bigger than a horse. Even though Ling Qingqiu is an ordinary person, he must know something about warriors. Forget it. It seems I can only wait for another opportunity later. Think of this. Luo Yin said with a regretful tone. Okay, sorry to bother you. At this point, she took out a small card from somewhere and placed it on the table. Then said to Gu Yan, "This is the contact information of our Bibo sect. If young Master Gu is interested in that thing, you can contact me. Several sects here have some known clues." Gu Yan glanced at the small card, nodded and replied, "Okay. Because Gu Yan and Ling Qingqiu are here, so Luo Yin and other sect disciples chose to leave and continue the conversation somewhere else." After seeing the person leave, just when Gu Yan was about to pick up the small card and throw it away, clang! A chopstick stuck in the card and stabbed into the tabletop. Chopsticks? Gu Yan suddenly broke out in a sweat. He looked at Ling Qingqiu, who was sitting opposite him and wiping her mouth elegantly with a tissue. And after a dry cough, he asked, "Qingqiu, what's wrong with you?" "Nothing." Ling Qingqiu threw away the tissue, without even looking at the card that he had stabbed into the table with his chopsticks, and said lightly, "My hand slipped. My hand slipped." Puff. Gu Yan laughed immediately. "Why are you laughing?" Ling Qingqiu immediately lost her composure and looked at Gu Yan in embarrassment and anger. Damn it, not only was this bastard completely bewitched by that kind of woman, he even accepted the card. It was obvious that that kind of person came to Gu Yan with a purpose. And this idiot understand that he can't move his legs when he sees a woman. Chapter 240. I want to say you are mine. No. Gu Yan shook his head and explained. "I laughed at you because you were so cute. I never wanted to get to know them in the first place." "Cute? What stupid things are you saying?" There was no answer to Ling Qingqiu's question. Gu Yan picked up the chopsticks and threw the card into the trash can. He took Ling Qingqiu's hand, and under her somewhat shy expression, he expressed his love for her. "Qingqiu, my Qingqiu? My world is very small, and having you is enough for me. Please believe me, I will never leave you and I will only love you forever and ever." As soon as these words came out, plop, plop, Ling Qingqiu's heart beat faster and faster. She lowered her head shyly, a blush blooming on her face. Ling Qingqiu bit her lips lightly, feeling a little shy and at a loss. Even though she had heard Gu Yan say this many times, it still made her blush and her heart beat fast every time. Damn it. However, she also discovered that Gu Yan seemed to be very popular with girls. Although she believed that Gu Yan would not be deceived by other women, but she still couldn't help but think in that direction. Maybe it was because she didn't want to lose the feeling of being with Gu Yan now. Maybe it was purely because she didn't want to lose anything anymore. Ling family. After strolling around with Ling Qingqiu again for a while, Gu Yan sent Ling Qingqiu back home. It's just that the other parties seemed to be thinking about something along the way and seemed a little absent-minded. "Let's go, Qingqiu." Gu Yan stood at the door and waved to Ling Qingqiu. Ling Qingqiu raised his head and looked at the light source flashing in front of him, feeling a little dazed. She thought a lot along the way. Gu Yan liked her, so he would express it directly. Although she liked Gu Yan, she was always too embarrassed to express it because of her reservedness. But if she keeps being reserved, she doesn't know if she and Gu Yan can continue to love each other like this for the rest of their lives. Sometimes she would have nightmares, in which she actually dreamed of someone who looked very similar to herself walking together with Gu Yan. The two of them would go out and play at night. It made her feel heartbroken just thinking about it. So how can I express my love for Gu Yan? At this time, Gu Yan turned around and prepared to leave. He had to arrange his next plan. "Oli, wait a moment." Ling Qingqiu suddenly called out to Gu Yan, who was about to leave. Gu Yan was slightly stunned, then turned his head. "Just see." Ling Qingqiu walked towards him slowly and took off his sunglasses, revealing a pair of lifeless black grays that seemed so charming and emotional in Gu Yan's eyes. "You said you would love me forever, right?" Ling Qingqiu's cold voice reached Gu Yan's ears. She walked up to Gu Yan, stretched out her hand, and grabbed Gu Yan's collar, and pushed the other person down, and their eyes intertwined and collided. The difference is that Gu Yan can see Ling Qingqiu's slightly flushed face. Ling Qingqiu, on the other hand, could only see Gu Yan's glowing life essence. The distance between them was so close that Gu Yan could hear Ling Qingqiu's heartbeat. This continued for a few seconds. Ling Qiyu spoke softly, with a hint of girlish shyness in her tone. Gu Yan. Forever is too far away. I just want you to be there every tomorrow. Just stay by my side, accompany me, that's all. At this point, Ling Qiyu's tone became extremely strong. She slowly pulled Gu Yan's collar and said, "Of course, the most important thing is, I want to say, you are mine, no one can take you away. No one." As the words fell, Gu Yan's head tilted down slightly, and Ling Qiyu kissed his lips forcefully. When their lips met, the sweet taste surged in both of their hearts. It seems that he is not satisfied with the status quo. A strange feeling appeared in Gu Yan's heart and he widened his eyes. He looked at Ling Qiyu in disbelief. This is Tun. So bold. Gu Yan gradually cooperated with Ling Qiyu and reached out to embrace her in his arms. Kiss your pure love partner X. Points 100,000. Continue with the pure love object. Except for Gu Yan. Xiaoling in Ling Qiyu's mind was also very surprised and kept reminding him. Improved, the speed is so fast. Another me, is this all your strength? Although Xiaoling was very unwilling, he had to admit that the other me was indeed very good at controlling Gu Yan. Every time there is a little surprise for her. I don't know how much time has passed. Brush. Gu Yan drove away. In the car, his expression became dazed. He licked his lips, constantly recalling the scene just now. King Qiyu. My King Qiyu, I love you so much. He was trembling all over. If he hadn't been driving, he would probably have crawled on the ground twisted with happiness. Bold King Qiyu, I love it too. Well, with this excitement, it's time for him to get into the next plan. Ancient spirit. Gu Yan recalled the appearance of the people from the Bible sect in his mind. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up slightly. There is no such thing as ancient spirit, it is just fake news released by him. The purpose is also simple. That is, disintegrate this huge sect of warriors from within. You know, let alone different sects, even the disciples within a sect can't really be together in spirit. Therefore Gu Yan wanted to take advantage of this point to disintegrate the warrior sects that had finally united to fight against the Night King from within. The method is also very simple. The Peach Blossom Society's base was blocked by a secret formation, making it the perfect opening point for a mysterious ancient ruins. He'll be there, opening up the night once again. And that was also a relatively crucial performance. First, let the claws devour the warrior's soul to become stronger. If his claws become stronger, then he will become stronger. And his subordinates will also become stronger. This will allow him to do things without being restricted. Secondly, the large-scale death of warriors, especially the deaths of acquired innate warriors and even masters, will inevitably cause the warrior society to lose balance. In order to fill the gap in numbers, the warrior department will definitely make some trade-offs. Appropriately relax the difficulty of recruiting warriors in January next year and increase the number of recruits. It will be very convenient to place our own people there at that time. Thinking of this, Gu Yan couldn't help but burst into laughter. We'll have to wait for the right time to find out. At this time, in Galing, Gu Yan's cell phone rang. After the connection, from the other end came the voice of Lao Gao, who had recovered from his illness. Master, the list of people who attended the Gu family's annual meeting in previous years has been sorted out. Hear this. The corners of Gu Yan's mouth curled up slightly. Good. It's time to follow up on the Gu family's annual meeting. Chapter 241 Ling Qiyu is ready to do serious work. Ling family. I really said it. Ling Qiyu lay on the desk with his head in his hands and his face flushed. She was so ashamed that she could hardly find words to describe how she felt at the moment. Ling Qiyu felt a little dazed when she kissed him, and she found that she was suddenly overwhelmed. And those words were said and those things were done. Especially sticking out tongue. Gu Yan wouldn't think she's a pervert. What he? Another me, you did a good job. The speed of your perception has increased a lot again. Of course, you don't have to think that there is anything wrong with your behavior. Because I think he must like the furnished tripod very much. I like your tongue kiss. After all, he is also a pervert. Xiaoling jumped out at this time. Please take back this word. I'm not a pervert. Ling Qiyu suddenly got angry. Forget it, why be angry with Xiaoling? She doesn't understand. Calm down, calm down. Ling Qiyu took a deep breath, forced to calm down the shameful heart. Then, she began to feel her own heightened perception. When he discovered that the price had risen again, Ling Qiyu felt a hint of joy in his heart. It feels so good to improve my strength just by eating, drinking and playing with Gu Yan. Well, no. Ling Qiyu shook his head. Ling Qiyu, Ling Qiyu, you are so lazy, how could you think like this? You have to remember that you don't improve your skills by playing. It's because I have to play in order to improve my strength. It's all about revenge, revenge. Well, now my strength has improved and I've had enough fun. And it is time to get down to business. Ling Qinkyu calmed down and thought of the group of small warriors in the coffee shop before. He suddenly approached Guyan just to get close to him. Combined with what the other party said before leaving. That thing. It must be the ancient spirit that has been circulating among warriors recently. The appearance of the ancient spirit means that another heir will appear. Rather than letting others get it, it would be better for her to intercept and absorb it. If I absorb the ancient energy, maybe it can also improve my perception to a certain extent. And what if I give it to Guyan and let him be the heir? Ling Qinkyu thought about this and shook his head again. No, the heir of the ancient spirit is my enemy. She clenched her fists. This is my destiny. Watching someone caught up in some fantasy. Xiaoling jumped out again and gave a kind reminder. Another me. Actually, you don't need to pay attention to this ancient aura. Really. Let this thing develop. Let's not forget our main plan. Which is to let the Knight organization blend into the righteous side. If you interfere, all your previous efforts may go to waste. Hearing this, Ling Qinkyu came back to his senses and asked suspiciously. Xiaoling, something is wrong with you. Didn't you say before that you refused to join the righteous side? If I want to be the king of Night, the only one in the world. The past was the past, the present is the present. In short, don't get too involved in the affairs of the ancient spirit. Xiaoling said in a dark tone. If it weren't for the deal with Lu Ding, I wouldn't be giving you so many reminders here. Yeah, you seem to know a lot about this ancient energy. How did you know it? Ling Qinkyu was somewhat alert. Could it be that? But Xiaoling come out without her knowing? Idiot, you can find some information about the ancient spirit by just searching on the internet. Because of the night attack a month ago, warriors have mixed in with the general population. While you and Lu Ding were in love and only thought about playing, I was always paying attention to your every move. I heard everything the warriors were talking about clearly. Look at you again, my other self. Have you thought about the organization carefully in this month? Xiaoling explained everything in a calm voice. Oh, is that so? Ling Qinkyu was stunned by what he heard. But it seemed that he really hadn't managed the organization much in the past month. She was a little embarrassed for a moment. Anyway, from today on, I will definitely do my job properly. You'd better. You believe me. Ling Qinkyu said this angrily. Something suddenly flashed through my mind. That is, Gu family annual meeting. Well, after all, I still have to help Guyan solve some troubles first. Evening. After finishing a day's work, Li Mingwei came to his warm little home. He is the CEO of Hua Xiangyuan Technology Group, a company owned by the Gu family. In previous years, he would be invited to attend the Gu family's annual meeting. The first purpose is to report on the company's situation over the past year. The second purpose is the Gu family's annual heir voting system. The purpose is to vote for the next heir of the Gu family. Of course, he couldn't understand this voting system and just thought it was a bad taste of the big family. However, he didn't want to get involved in the matter. After all, he has a virtuous wife, a well-behaved child, and a happy family. All he needs to do is cast a veto vote for Gu Yan, the eldest son of the Gu family, this year, and his mission will be accomplished. Only, it's different from the usual situation when I go home. Li Mingwei looked at the half-open door and was slightly stunned. How come the door is open? Lin, why is the door open? Li Mingwei walked in and found something wrong. It was already evening, and it was still dark from the entrance to the living room. In the past, when I came back, my daughter and wife would run over happily. At this time, bursts of laughter came from a room. Li Mingwei looked and saw a ray of light coming from a half-open door. Click! Li Mingwei suddenly had a bad feeling. He hurried over and pushed open the half-open door. In an instant, a scene that made his heart chill appeared in front of him. Dad is back. Dad, this brother gave me a new toy. A cute little girl happily shook the new toy in her hand when she saw Li Mingwei. Opposite the little girl was a smiling figure playing with her, which made Li Mingwei's heart tremble. Nice to meet you, Li Mingwei. Guyan put his hands on the little girl's shoulders. The corners of his mouth slightly raised, and looked at her inexplicably. Forgive me for not bringing any gifts when I first came here. I hope you won't blame me. Chapter 240 to Guyan's coercion and inducement. Li Mingwei was a little nervous and at a loss when he saw this scene. He obviously didn't expect. I would never have thought of Guyan, the eldest son of the Gu family. He actually brought people to him. If it were under normal circumstances, he would definitely agree to the other party coming to his house because of the other party's status. But now, he looked around the room. Except Guyan. There was an old man standing behind him. Bodyguards dressed in black also stood in every corner of the house. Look at Guyan coming over at this critical moment. Obviously he has no good intentions. I don't remember. Mr. Gu, you said you wanted to come to my place. Li Mingwini squeezed out a voice from his throat with an ugly expression. As he said this, he suddenly noticed that there was someone missing in the room. Lin Lin, where is my wife? Li Mingwei suddenly shouted in panic. Dad, my brother said he asked someone to take Mom to buy groceries because a lot of people are going to eat tonight. At this time, the little girl holding the doll spoke crisply. She obviously didn't notice the atmosphere at the moment. Li Mingwei immediately clenched his fists. Relax. Immorelli. I have no ill intentions, you should know why I came to you. Guyan smiled slightly and waved to his subordinates beside him. The latter came over, picked up the little girl and left the room. Seeing this, Li Mingwei lowered his head, clenched his fists, and tried to make a final struggle. I am young Master Gu Zihua's man. If I betray, I will die too. What can you use to fight Master Zihua? Some people are not like me, who have the weakness of family. Guyan shook his head and replied meaningfully, you don't need to think about this. I just want to know your answer. Hear this. Li Mingwei fell into a struggle. Guyan, although he always acted like a good-for-nothing young man in the past. However, the reputation of the brand has changed dramatically in recent months. This transformation seemed to be saying that everything he had done before was just a disguise. And the Leng family, it is said that the other party is also in love with Leng Qingqiu, the daughter of the Leng family. What is the meaning behind this? A lot of things flashed through my mind, but Li Mingwei understands his current situation. His family is his weak spot. He sighed, raised his head and looked at Guyan. But the trace of fatigue in his eyes. I will support you, Master Gu, at the Gu family annual meeting. But I hope you can ensure that my family will not be coerced by others. Guyan smiled gently. I always take good care of my own people. Li Mingwei, you made a very correct decision. Li Mingwei sighed. I hope so. The other party was very sensible, but Guyan was not someone who would easily trust others. Then, oh, by the way, in case of any accidents, I need to get you insurance. Reach out your hand and let this little guy enter your body. If you betray me, this little guy will turn your whole body into thick blood. Guyan smiled and condensed a wriggling tentacle from his palm. And said something that made Li Mingwei's scalp tingle. Li Mingwei's eyes widened, goosebumps appeared on his skin. He looked at Guyan and pointed at himself. Do you want this thing to get into my body? Guyan nodded, yes. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. If you don't want to, forget it, then let your daughter in. Wait, I agree. Li Mingwei interrupted immediately. At this point he knew he had no choice. So he would never let this kind of thing get into the bodies of his wife and daughter. See this scene? Guyan nodded, it's really touching. The process is very relaxing, don't worry, you won't feel anything. You devil. Back in the car. Guyan looked at the information on his phone. I put it on Li Mingwei's side. He shook his head helplessly. Are you kidding me? After all this time, not a single voter is on my side? Do we have to use coercion and bribery to become one of our own? Master, don't be so self-deprecating. Ahead. Lao Cao reminded. The director of Zhang Hai Hospital might support you this year. After all, you did a lot of work in the early stages. Guyan's mouth twitched. 1 or 2 votes make my side look even weaker. From this we can see that Guyan in the original novel is indeed quite unpopular. But as long as you use the right method, there is nothing you can't pry open. He put away the information and asked Lao Gao, how are other places doing? In addition to Li Mingwei, Guyan also arranged personnel to pay intimate and friendly visits to other members of the list of participants in previous years. Of course, he did not break into other people's homes and use threats and inducements like Li Mingwei did. After all, doing so would be too obvious. So Guyan just asked his men to pay a simple visit in his name. Lao Gao pondered for a moment and then replied, some of the responsible persons are very polite. Whether it is because of the young master's status or other factors, they are all very enthusiastic on the surface. But some are. Lao Gao said at this point, lowering his voice, they didn't even let me in through the main door. Guyan nodded and immediately understood. Send me a list of the unfriendly ones. And I'll let them know how to talk to their immediate superiors. Besides, Guyan looked at Lao Gao with interest. How is my brother Gu Zihua? Did the people sent over infiltrate his company? Guyan has not forgotten this nominal cousin, and the little maid that he likes. You know, a long time ago, when he went to visit his grandparents, he made an appointment with the little maid Snowflower. That is, as long as Zhu Wei insisted on not meeting Gu Zihu until before the Gu family annual meeting. Not only would she not expose their relationship, she would even help them live together. Forgot to read chapter 108. But think about it, Guyan wouldn't let these two people be together so easily, right? Since you both say you love each other. So just look at how strong your determination is. Hearing this, Lao Gao nodded and said with a smile. Well, Alice has made it into Gu Zihua's company very well. And because of her outstanding business ability, she was promoted by Gu Zihua to be his personal secretary to give him advice. According to the information sent by Alice, the plan is progressing well. Gu Yan smiled lightly when he heard this. Very good. Then let's look forward to the Gu family annual meeting. The other side. Ling family. Master, these people will never be included in the list of members of Gu Yan's faction. They have inextricable interests tied to the other heirs. Changguan Maiyin, who is doing very well in the warrior department, was now respectfully reporting the situation to Ling Qingqiu. Changguan Maiyin was very excited because her master had not come to the organization for a month because he was too busy. She had been thinking about it for a long time and had lost her appetite. She was just waiting to come and report today so that she could engrave her master's appearance into her bones. Ling Qingqiu held the special report produced by the Night Organization. Wave your right hand. Wow, the report turned into black smoke and disappeared. Then, she said coldly, turn all the people on the list into Yi's puppets. Guyan must become the heir of the Gu family. We can't let this scumbag disrupt our plans. Changguan Maiyin looked at the domineering Ling Qingqiu and nodded repeatedly. Yes, master. Rush. Changguan Maiyin disappeared. Ling Qingqiu's expression was slightly relaxed. A small fry like cricket actually wants to compete with Gu Yan for the position of heir? If it weren't for the fact that you are Gu Yan's brothers and sisters, she would have cleaned them all up long ago. If Gu Yan knew that I helped him so much, would he be so moved that he would cry? You can say it. Xiaoling, you don't understand. This sense of mystery is what we are playing with. Chapter 243. Gu Zihua feels confused. 3 days later. Inside the top floor office of Zihua Technology Company. Bang 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 bang. Damn it, damn it, damn it. What are you talking about supporting Gu Yan? Born. Do born. Gu Yan, you and I cannot coexist. Gu Zihua roared angrily and pounded the table hard. This news was a heavy blow to people like him. His subordinates who had once sworn loyalty suddenly changed their faces and all turned to his younger brother Gu Yan. What should I do? What should I do? Gu Zihua's mind is in a mess now. And he must work out a response strategy as soon as possible. But what to do? All the leaders of the companies under the Gu family actually went to support Gu Yan. So what to do this year? Gu Yan wouldn't really take over the Gu family at the annual meeting. Right? Don't do that kind of thing. Why do I work so hard? For Snowflake? Suddenly, Gu Zihua seemed to have figured it out. The reason why he tried so hard to inherit the Gu family was actually to change the family rules after becoming the head of the Gu family. So that everyone can understand and agree that he is with a maid. That's right, Zihua must be expecting me to save her now. And must be working hard for it. I must be firm in my determination. But that's what I think. But any normal person would know that. If Zihua fell into the hands of someone like Gu Yan, she would definitely be tortured beyond recognition. The secret between him and Zihua is held in each other's hands. Zihua is a very gentle person, and she will definitely devote herself to Gu Yan in order to prevent the secret from being discovered. When I think about this, Gu Zihua's face became extremely sad and distorted. His mind seemed to be filled with the inhuman abuse that Zihua suffered after becoming Gu Yan's personal maid. Damn it, Gu Yan, you were born, you are such a born. Gu Zihua covered his face and his shoulders began to tremble. Zihua, wait for me, I will definitely find a way to rescue you from Gu Yan's clutches. At this time, Master Zihua, calm down. Although we have lost a lot of people, we still have the technology and the market. Even if I can't be the heir. So what, we still have this company S&T. This also your hard work. A hot blonde with big wavy hair and wearing an OL uniform walked over. She painted her lips in fiery red and twisted her body to come to Gu Zihua. It seemed like she did it on purpose, as her deliberate bending made Gu Zihua's gaze fall on a certain place. Alice? How many times have I told you to pay attention to yourself? Gu Zihua's face turned red, and he looked away before reminding her. Master Zihua? Alice pretended to be stunned, then her face turned red and she covered her chest. Master Zihua, where are you looking at? I didn't see it. Gu Zihua explained in a panic. He turned his head away and waved his hand a little embarrassed. Alice, you should pay attention to your image in the future. A lot of people in the company are always watching you. This Alice joined his company more than a month ago. Because the other party is a little rash, but can provide solutions to difficult problems at critical moments. So Gu Zihua promoted the other party to be his personal secretary as an exception. Only, I wonder if this secretary doesn't realize that her figure and appearance are particularly outstanding. So she has no sense of boundaries in doing things. In short, Gu Zihua didn't feel that he disliked the other person. And saw this scene. Alice pursed her lips slightly. Her eyes somewhat evasive. Master Zihua, do you not want Alice to stay in the company anymore? Alice's coquettish voice as if she was about to cry made Gu Zihua tremble all over. He quickly turned his head and explained, "No, Alice. I am because." Gu Zihua looked at Alice in front of him, took a deep breath, and said embarrassed lie, "I don't want you to be looked at like that by other people in the company all the time. I feel a little uncomfortable." As soon as these words came out, Alice was stunned for a moment, then she covered her mouth and said with emotion, "Master Zihua, could it be, are you jealous?" "Jealous? What are you talking about?" When Gu Zihua heard this, he became inexplicably nervous and flustered. But when he realized it, he felt very upset. "Jealous? Are you jealous? How is that possible? The person he likes is Zuhua. Zuhua is still devoted to Gu Yan for him, so he must remain true to himself, no matter what Zuhua becomes. He also needs to be determined to be with the other person. I don't care, I think Master Zihua is just jealous of me. But don't worry, Alice, I'm here because of Master Zihua." Alice looked a little shy and said something that shocked Gu Zihua's heart. He stammered, because of me? Well, I remember there was a product launch event at that time. And I was sitting down there, Alice. Looking at your figure. Master Zihua, I knew I was in love with you. Alice nodded and said shyly. So, even if Master Zihua is abandoned by everyone, I will not leave Master Zihua. Speaking of this, Alice took out a document and placed it on Gu Zihua's desk. Master Zihua, this is a list of all the betrayers I compiled. I think since they have betrayed me, I need to clean up the mess once and for all. Immediately cut off all ties and business dealings with them. At the same time, call an emergency meeting. We need to develop a new strategic plan. Every word Alice spoke revealed her determination and resolve. She looked at Gu Zihua seriously. Master Zihua, even if you can't become the heir, you also have this company, and I am here too. And, about your reply to me. Alice pursed her lips, her eyes a little shy. She covered her face with her notebook and said shyly, "Let's wait until Master Zihua is ready before answering. I'll wait for you." After saying that, without waiting for Gu Zihua to respond, Alice trotted out. Gu Zihua came to his senses, quickly stood up and wanted to call Alice. But the other party has already closed the door and left. Why? Gu Zihua sighed and sat back down. His expression became a little confused. He looked at the meeting materials that Alice had carefully prepared on the table. For the first time, I felt confused. He is not a person who gives up easily. He learned it a few years ago that a loser like Gu Yan could enjoy priority and inheritance rights. He started his plan. He founded a company to demonstrate his abilities and tried to win over the heads of the Gu family's companies to support him. The purpose is to vote out Gu Yan and then take over and inherit the Gu family. Then, and now Zuhua doesn't know what she went through with Gu Yan. I sent a message to Zuhua, but she didn't reply. It was as if she was deliberately ignoring him. And Alice appeared by his side again. She loved him so much and did everything for him. And there was no barrier between the two of them, as between master and servant. What should I do? Gu Zihua closed his eyes, his heart full of struggle. And the other side. Women's restroom. Alice, who originally looked shy, changed her expression. She carefully looked around, confirmed that there was no one around, entered the cubicle, and made a phone call. His voice was full of respect. "Hello, is this you, sir?" The plan went smoothly, and Gu Zihua is now completely fascinated by me. This is what a subordinate should do. Thank you for your concern. Click. The phone call was hung up. Alice breathed a sigh of relief. Everything went smoothly with the adults' plan, and they sounded in a very good mood. So next, Alice lit an 80s cigarette and pulled out her mirror and her makeup bag. It's time to continue working hard for the adults' tasks. Chapter 240. For our brother Gu Yan. What are you talking about? This is Gu Yan. Warrior department. Bathroom sink. Gu Yan hung up the phone. Alice was a mixed race of Western and Eastern countries. He just happened to be one of his assassins, good at disguising himself as a spy and lurking around. So it would be perfect for him to be placed around a small fry like Gu Zihua. Don't you want to have a loving relationship with the little maid? Then let me see how deep the bond between you and Zuhua is. Looking at himself in the mirror, Gu Yan raised the corners of his mouth slightly. TSK, a pure love warrior really has to be as handsome as me. The words fell. Followed by mocking laughter. A petite figure walked up to Gu Yan. She shook her white hair and washed her hands. Looking at Gu Yan with disdain. I didn't see any handsome guy. I only saw a narcissist. Gu Yan slowly put a question mark. Then he turned his head and looked at someone beside him because, after being rescued from the brink of death, she accidentally awakened her warrior's true energy, and was therefore hired as an exception by the warrior department. A talented girl. TSK, don't think that I won't do anything to you just because you came here with King Qiu's mission. So, Gu Yan smiled kindly. Miss BA, I still like the way you cried when you clung to the little boy before. By the way, didn't your boyfriend just die not long ago? How come you don't look sad at all? Also, your profile shows that you are only 15 years old. And why did I see you last time in a tea restaurant called Yi? Are child laborers allowed there? You weren't as petite back then as you are now. Child labor. Damn, this bastard. Biao Yan's mouth twitched. Was the purpose of pretending like that in front of that scum just to seduce him? Now that my goal has been achieved, I certainly don't need to perform anymore. If this is indeed a loophole, how can I get around it? Biao Yan suddenly sensed someone approaching, so she immediately pretended to be pitiful and blinked her eyes. A brother Gu Yan, what are you talking about, Liang? Of course I am very sad. It's because I'm so sad that I don't want to think about brother Dingfeng. You are really too much. Biao Yan is indeed a woman who has experienced many battles, and she can cry at will. Gu Yan was stunned by what he saw. Just at this time, Di Jun's somewhat helpless voice came over. Gu Yan, why did you make a girl cry again? Because today is the daily meeting time of the Special Investigation Team for night action. So the White Army notified all members of the investigation team to hold a combat meeting today. I happened to pass by here and saw Gu Yan making the new teammate Biao Yan cry. The other party is the youngest, and her parents both died in an incident a month ago. Her boyfriend, who is the heir of Xuanwu Gate, also died a month ago. Biao Yan has to seek psychological counseling from a psychologist every day, and has almost become the darling of the department. As a result, she was made to cry by Gu Yan. Gu Yan looked at Ba Jun, who was holding a pile of information in his hands, obviously preparing for the meeting. He shrugged. I said. She burst into tears all of a sudden. Do you believe it? When Ba Jun heard this, he looked at Gu Yan, who looked like a bad guy, and then looked at Ba Yan, who was crying with tears in her eyes. Then he shook his head. I don't believe it. After hearing this, Ba Yan cried even harder. She moved to Ba Jun's side, hugged his arm, then raised her head and choked with sobs. It's okay, brother Ba Jun. It's Liang's fault. Because Yan thought about her parents again. Upon hearing this, Ba Jun lamented the unpredictability of life. He sighed and said comfortingly, Liang, you believe in Ba. My last name is Ba too. If you are willing, let me be your brother. As soon as these words came out, Biao Yan raised her head and said with surprise, really? Yeah, Liang has a brother now. This is Gu Yan. Look at Biao Yan, who made Ba Jun accept her as his god-sister just by her crying and laughing. He suddenly wondered what was wrong with this world. Do these only take a few steps for a villain to infiltrate a decent department? Is it too simple? As expected, everyone in the Yi organization is talented. He looked at the Ba Jun who didn't know what the White Lotus was with pity, and shook his head helplessly. Okay, stop acting like a brother and sister. Let's go to the meeting room. Junzi. Dunzi? What is this name? The White Army was slightly stunned. Because, Gu Yan walked over, patted Ba Jun on the shoulder, then glanced at Ba Yan, who had a smug look on her face. You can't control this god sister. Ba Yan. Ba Jun. Come to the meeting room. Most people have been waiting for a long time. After a quick glance, Gu Yan found that they were all acquaintances. Changguan Maoyin and Ning Qian, a disciple from Longwang Mountain, sat together. Yuxing Zhu and Meizu sat together. Morong Si sat alone at one side of the conference table. There are also a few small members from the warrior department. Gu Yan, this way. Liu Ji and Xing waved at Gu Yan, motioning him to sit next to him. You're here so early, brother Liu, you're really proactive. Gu Yan smiled and walked over. This action caused Morong Si, who was sitting on the side, to look up at Liu Ji and Xing. Liu Ji and Xing didn't sense the danger, and laughed when he heard what Gu Yan said. Because I heard that what we are going to talk about today is the ancient energy that has been making a lot of noise in Zhanghai recently. Ancient key, do you believe in such a thing? Gu Yan sneered and sat down, pretending to be uninterested. It's true, it is said that someone has discovered a place that looks like an ancient ruins. Liu Ji and Xing said mysteriously. Anyway, Captain Ba will definitely explain the situation later. Maybe they're calling us over to investigate the ruins. Gu Yan nodded. I hope so. At this time, Ai Jun also walked in with the information, and Ba Yan followed closely behind him and sat next to Ning Qian, with a slight blush in the corners of her eyes from crying. Changguan Maoyin glanced at him and then looked away. This is it, the show has started again. Ning Qian frowned and asked in a low voice. Are you crying? No, brother Gu Yan didn't do it on purpose. Don't blame brother Gu Yan. The alien whispered the reason. Gu Yan. Ning Qian glanced at Gu Yan, sister Linger's brother-in-law. Then it's okay. Seeing Ning Qian suddenly stop paying attention to her, the alien slowly put a question mark. What's going on? Shouldn't you be very sympathetic to me? Oh, forget it. Little girls are just little girls, there is no way to take advantage of them. The other side. Seeing that everyone was present, the White Army coughed and said, "Everyone is here. Then let us start with the topic of today's meeting." Click, click. Lights off. Buzz buzz buzz. An ultra-high-definition holographic projection also appeared on the desktop. It is a large square formation. Bei Jun said seriously. This is the location of the ancient ruins. It looked like the secret base of Peach Blossom Society was indeed mistaken by everyone for an ancient relic. Guyan smiled slightly in his heart. Brother Ba, I feel relieved that Zhang He has you. Chapter 245. You look a lot like someone I know. As Bei Jun's voice fell, the atmosphere in the room suddenly became solemn. Everyone's eyes were focused on the holographic projection floating above the table. Is this the ancient ruins? Why does it look so much like a magic array used by a sect to hide its position? Changwon Maiyan looked at the so-called ruins with interest. In her opinion, this place was obviously a sect's formation. Meizu on the other side suddenly retorted, it is rumored that ancient ruins have various shapes, and there are also ruins in the shape of sect magic arrays. It's mainly to confirm whether it's an ancient site from the energy fluctuations detected. Changwon Maiyan was stunned for a moment, then smiled slightly. That's true. I felt strange in my heart, huh? But it's okay this way, at least the acting is good. On Meizu's side, after refuting, she glanced at the smiling Guyan covertly. TSK, this man. What conspiracy is she planning again? She actually sent a message to say such a thing. Don't you know if this will affect her personality? Guyan's eyes swept across the projection, and then he looked at Bei Jun inexplicably. Did the warrior department find out anything? Hearing this, Bei Jun nodded. Yes, that's right. According to our investigation, the energy fluctuations in this site have been increasing over the past month. This shows that the organisms and even the ancient relics in the site are constantly reviving and awakening. Combined with the strange phenomenon that occurred in the sky here half a month ago, it can confirm that this is the sign of the birth of the ancient energy. Of course, in addition to this, there is another most crucial factor, which is the law that has never changed from the past to the present. That is, when Bei Jun said this, he looked at everyone present. And his voice was particularly clear here. Every time an ancient energy dies, a new one will be born to replace it. As soon as these words came out, the Aoyun's eyes turned red and she began to sob softly. Oh. Kinrong, who belonged to the peace faction in the warrior department, sighed when she saw the sad Ba Yaoyun. She turned sideways and stretched out her hand to comfort him. Don't be sad, Biaoyan, we will definitely eliminate the Night King from this world. After hearing this, Biaoyan nodded with red eyes and said, Yes, thank you, Sister Kinrong. Ba Jun knew that Biaoyan felt very uncomfortable, but they were discussing combat at a meeting, so he had to speak out. According to relevant information, many years ago, every time the Night King appeared, his targets were the various geniuses in the ancient martial arts world. The place I go to most is the ancient ruins. And a month ago, the Night King appeared again and absorbed the black tortoise key in the river and sea. From this, it can be seen that the Night King will definitely be involved in the newly appeared ancient ruins. At this point, Bi Jun said in a deep voice, we were not prepared a month ago. But this time it's different. In addition to Zhang He's warrior department, members of departments in other regions will also join this operation and support us. If the Night King doesn't come, it would be best if nothing happened. If you come, we have laid a tight net in advance this time. Even if we cannot completely kill the Night King, we will definitely be able to cause him heavy losses. In order to ensure that the plan is foolproof, we need to confirm the conditions of the site in advance. The plan is as follows. The other members in the room began to whisper, their eyes filled with excitement and anticipation. After all, the ancient tour and the ancient ruins, either of these can tug on their nerves. Buyan watched quietly, leaning back at a comfortable angle with the corners of your mouth slightly raised. Very good, everything went very smoothly. Next, I should go and arrange the venue over there with my subordinates. The other side. You Xingzu this. She looked at Guyan intentionally or unintentionally, feeling very nervous. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but she always felt that Guyan was very familiar to her. It's like the breath of an adult. Ah no, how could an adult be such a small fry? Definitely not. Sorry sir, this is all just my imagination. I'm sorry for having such random thoughts. And what ancient ruins and ancient spirit? It all sounds so dangerous and troublesome. Do I really have to do so many things? Is it too late to quit the warrior department now? She hung her head, and her whole body exuded a decadent aura. The Bai Jun who was explaining the plan twitched his eyes. There are many new members joining, but there are also many people with problems. Take Xingzu for example, he is undoubtedly a genius. But his personality is very strange. But it doesn't matter. There are more or less weird-tempered warriors as long as it can be helpful to the department. It's fine. The meeting is over. Everyone left. DSK. I didn't expect there would actually be such a thing as an ancient ruins. This is the first time I've seen it. Yu Xingzu. What do you think? Li Chuan, a member of the warrior department, clasped his hands behind his head and chatted intentionally or unintentionally with Yu Xingzu beside him. In fact, when Yu Xingzu entered the department, he found that he had fallen in love with this weak girl. But yeah, Yu Xingzu's personality has always made her a talkative person. And especially since Li Chuan was too enthusiastic. She felt a little overwhelmed. So he had to turn his gaze to Meizu beside him. But the latter pretended not to see it. What a joke. Yu Xingzu was the person who replaced her position in the Yi organization before. If it wasn't for acting, I didn't even bother to pay attention to Yu Xingzu. Seeing that Meizu didn't help her, Yu Xingzu felt like crying but had no tears. At this time, Gu Yan, where are you going later? Didn't the combat meeting say that we should explore the ancient ruins once they are fully revealed the day after tomorrow? We must find the location of the ancient tear before the Night King does. Liu Ji and Xing and Gu Yan passed by Yu Xingzu and others. Is that even a question? Of course I'm going back to be with my wife. As for exploring ancient ruins I'll talk about tomorrow's matters tomorrow. Gu Yan said inferently. It was all his fault anyway. And he said he was not panicked at all. Well, Gu Yan, you are more open-minded. Brother Liu, once you find a partner, you will realize that nothing is more important than your own wife. No, the world is in danger, so I must save the world first. Yu Xingzu looked at Gu Yan and Liu Ji and Xing who passed by her and walked side by side in front of her. Wondering what was going on, she subconsciously said, Gu Yan. Ru Yan, who was about to leave, was suddenly called. His expression remained unchanged and he turned his head, smiling kindly. What's wrong, miss you? That? Yu Xingzu felt a little nervous, and she called out to Gu Yan without thinking much. Now that I think about it, I haven't figured out what questions to ask. At this moment, she entangled her hands together and said timidly, Then that are you? No. Gu Yan rejected it outright. Real, you really don't. No. After 3 consecutive vetoes with one click, Yu Xingzu lowered her head in shame. Excuse me, you look a lot like someone I know and respect very much. Chapter 246, Trash should behave like trash. Gu Yan slowly put a question mark after hearing this. I was thinking about my Night King from even if Yu stood in front of me. He might not be able to recognize me, right? No, Xiaoling recognized me. Otherwise he wouldn't have known that the fake Night King was me. But Xiaoling was an accident after all, so it doesn't count. So Gu Yan smiled and shook his head. It's okay, but I should have nothing to do with the people you know. After all, there shouldn't be many people as handsome as me. Yu Xingzu was slightly stunned, then nodded. Confirmed, this is definitely not an adult. After all, how could an adult, such a high-class person, be so narcissistic? Meizu glanced at Gu Yan and her heart sank. This man was still so good at acting. How many faces does the other party have? But it doesn't matter. After all, I am now his person. Li Chuan was very unhappy with Gu Yan's frivolous attitude. Hey, new guy, don't forget that it was Yu Xingzu and Meizu who saved you. Can you be a little nicer? Hearing this, Gu Yan then turned his gaze to a small fry who was not even cannon fodder. He smiled softly. I have a good attitude, on the contrary. Who are you? My name is Li Chuan. Didn't I introduce myself to you before? Li Chuan was immediately furious. This new guy was so annoying. Oh, you. Just as Li Chuan was about to say something, a voice of restraint came from behind him. Li Chuan. What are you doing? Why are you fighting with a newcomer? Gu Yan and others looked over. Qinrong, Shangwan Maya Yin. Ning Qian and Ba Yan came over. Ba Yan's eyes were red. As if she had just cried, she hugged Qinrong's arm. It looked scared when she looked at Gu Yan. Li Chuan was very afraid of Qinrong, because this old comrade always made his scalp numb when he got angry. So he shrank his neck and muttered, I'm not fighting. It's just that the new guy is too disrespectful. And Rong looked at Gu Yan when she heard that. The other party noticed her gaze and waved with a smile. She sighed helplessly. Based on the conversation with Ba Yan just now, she also found out that Gu Yan had been bullying Ba Yan and had been making trouble about her boyfriend. So she also came to a conclusion. That is, Gu Yan, the character of this eldest son of the Gu family, is indeed very bad. But there's nothing we can do, because he's Bai Jun's good friend and the eldest son of the Gu family. With this relationship, there are many things that the martial arts department cannot intervene in. So you can trouble Gu Yan for help. So Q and Rong looked at Gu Yan and patiently persuaded him. Gu Yan, we are all teammates from now on. and we are all members of the special investigation team for night operations. We are also part of saving the world, so we should live in harmony. Liaoyan looked at Guyan with fear as if she was watching a play, and said crisply, Liaoyan also thinks that brother Guyan should get along well with everyone. Shangguan Miaoyan's expression was very subtle, and she looked at Guyan with interest. Now this bastard's popularity has reached its lowest point. Although this had no effect on Guyan, Shangguan Miaoyan just liked to see Guyan being excluded. Li Chuan looked at Guyan with great pride. He deserved it. He was showing off by relying on his status. If Bai Jun hadn't insisted on recruiting you, he wouldn't be so unhappy with Guyan. He went through 18 rounds of interviews before he joined the warrior department. But Guyan was chosen because he had the support of the Gu family. I was admitted as an exception. It's so infuriating. Especially the other party's innate cultivation. I heard before that the eldest son of the Gu family was a loser. The fact that it suddenly became able to practice cultivation must have been caused by the Gu family spending a huge amount of money to feed it. Damn rich people. Li Chuan said that he was not targeting anyone else. Only Guyan. Because the other party's attitude is so nonchalant and annoying. Liu Jianxing didn't know what to say, so he just explained. Guyan must get along harmoniously with everyone. So don't misunderstand. As he spoke, he looked at Guyan and whispered, Guyan, let's go. Ning Qian looked at the atmosphere and finally decided to protect Guyan. After all, he was Sister Linger's brother-in-law. So, she said softly, Guyan is a very nice person. After saying this, Shangguan Miaoyan can no longer be dealt with. Tell me why you are getting involved. The alien also cursed Ning Qian in her heart, you little bitch. Why are you butting in? At this time, Guyan spoke. He shrugged and said with a smile, don't be so serious. Okay, I was just joking with you, Xingzu. On the contrary, someone had a stress reaction. If you feel uncomfortable with me staying here, then, when Guyan said this, he put away the smile on his face, and then looked at Li Chuan calmly. Just get out of here. There are so many acquired trash like you in this world. If you don't do it, there are plenty of warriors who will. I am not only an innate warrior, but also the next head of the Gu family. I believe that anyone with a discerning eye can see who is more suitable to stay here. Dealing with ye is not something you can do with just words and passion. To be realistic, if you were a post-tatal warrior like you in Zhanghe a month ago, you would have been slaughtered by members of the Night Organization without even seeing the Night King. As for the exploration of the ancient ruins the day after tomorrow, didn't you realize that there's no room for you in the plan? Didn't you realize that you were just a logistics person that day? A post-tatal warrior should behave like a post-tatal warrior. Why do you come to provoke me if you have nothing to do? Guyan showed his true face mercilessly. He gave himself many personalities. Humble and polite, gentle, irritable, and insidious, but there was only one thing that remained unchanged. That is, never put yourself in a difficult position. He looked at Li Chuan, who had an ugly expression on his face, and finally taunted him. It's an unpleasant villain remark. Li Chuan, do you believe that I can get you out of this place with just one word? Certainly. Guyan changed the subject and looked at everyone with a smile on his face. I still hope to get along well with everyone. The sword star is gone. After saying that, Guyan turned around. Oh, Liu Jianxing was stunned. He made an apologetic gesture to Qin Rong and others, then followed Guyan. Qin Rong looked at Guyan's back and felt like her brain was about to explode. She had heard of Guyan before. It was said that at a banquet, a group of Zhang He's prominent people were beaten up, causing a huge uproar. She didn't believe it at the time, but now that she sees it, the other party is really so arrogant. He is usually very friendly and speaks with a smile. But once you provoke someone, will they immediately reveal their true nature? Are all acquired warriors trash? Qin Rong looked at Li Chuan, who was clenching his fists with a grim expression, and sighed. White Army, you really brought a double-edged sword to everyone. Chapter 247, Introduction to the Warrior Department. Shen Weiner and Shaolin's relationship warms up. Left the warrior department. Du Yan returned to the car. What's wrong, young master? Did something happy happen to you? Lao Zhao looked at Gu Yan through the rearview mirror, with a slightly raised smile on his face, and asked with some surprise. Whenever my young master shows this expression, it shows what he is feeling at the moment. It must say, I am very happy. These 4 words. TSK. I just feel that these peace-loving people are too naive, which makes me feel a little embarrassed. Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's go back, Lao Gao. Guyan shook his head. Everything was just a disguise, and a little bit of truth mixed in with the disguise gave him a general understanding of this group of pacifists. Except for Mei Zhu and others whom he knew, there are 5 more members of the Night Action Special Investigation Team. They are Li Chuan, an acquired warrior, Qin Rong, an innate warrior. Zhu Ji, an innate warrior. Xiao Zilin, an innate warrior. Xiao Zilin, an innate warrior. And Wang Yi, an acquired warrior. In general, during this month, I have also gotten to know everyone's habits and personalities. Besides, because there are many different plots from the original book, so Gu Yan specifically learned about the information about the warrior department in this world again. And the content learned is no different from the original. There are 4 factions in the warrior division. They are divided into peace faction, conservative faction, radical faction, and coexistence faction. Each department has a department head, whose cultivation level is usually above that of a grand master. Each department has different philosophies. These factions advocate resolving conflicts through diplomacy, negotiation and compromise. They believe that violence and war only bring more suffering, so they strive to find peaceful ways. Conservatives value tradition, order, and stability. They insist on protecting existing values and systems and are unwilling to easily change the current status quo. Radical Shang used a series of means to achieve their goals, including the use of force, overthrowing the existing system or taking extreme actions. According to what we have learned, radical department leaders have repeatedly advocated the civilianization of warriors. This means that information related to warriors will no longer be blocked, allowing the public to accept warriors and become warriors themselves. The coexistence faction is a rather special one. They believe that everything has value in existence. Therefore, even if they are monsters, humans should live in harmony with them. Because of this philosophy, every warrior of the coexistence faction will have one or more monster partners to fight with them. Bi Jun, Li Chuan, Qin Rong and others are the peace faction members. The White Army was being trained as the next successors to the peace faction. In addition to this basic information, the most important point that distinguishes the warrior department from the ancient martial arts world, it is silver true ki. Silver true ki is not born naturally in this world, but is artificially cultivated by humans using true ki factors extracted from monsters. Every year, the warrior department conducts a silver ki bearing experiment on members of each department. As long as that person can bear it, he can use the silver true ki. This kind of true energy is incomparably powerful in its killing power against monsters. When combined with the exclusive skills of silver ki, the effect will be super doubled. Therefore, a warrior who possesses silver true ki, also known as anti-demon warrior, and Ba Jun is one of the anti-demon warriors, and his future is bright. Thinking of this, Gu Yan exited the thinking mode. It's tiring just thinking about it. In fact, this world does not exist except for the Night King, the final boss. In fact, there are a series of monsters hidden in the world waiting to be dealt with. It can be said that everyone is dealing with monsters and the Night King at the same time. As for how the monsters appeared and where they came from, Gu Yan said, I don't know, it's not written in the book. After the Night King and the main characters died together, the author gave up. Gu Yan expressed his helplessness. The novel is just a eunuch, but the world in the book is real. This will create many unstable factors on his side. But it doesn't matter, he will not be involved with monsters anyway. Why think about this? Chirp. Well, no, pause don't count. These are family. Guy. Ling family. We're here. Young master. While Gu Yan was teasing his claws, the Ling family arrived. Well, go tell Tao Ying from the Peach Blossom Club about your plans for the day after tomorrow. Let them not make any mistakes. Lao Gao nodded. Okay, young master, there has been some progress regarding Shenwaner and Shaolin, who you told me about last time. Hear this. Gu Yan became interested. He looked at Lao Gao and said, be more specific. I didn't care about the simple internet's Lang young master at home. After thinking for a while, Lao Gao said, because Shenwaner's company has Shaolin's help, it has become bigger and stronger again. And with it came a lot of trouble, including pressure from Shenwaner's family. They asked Shenwaner to arrange jobs for their relatives. The positions must be good and the salaries must be high. Shenwaner disagreed, saying that if she wanted to be assigned a position, she would have to start from the bottom, and the salary would depend entirely on her ability. This action made Shenwaner's parents lose face in front of their relatives. So the relatives were very unhappy. Besides that, something happened recently that completely ruined their relationship. That is Shenwaner's parents want Shenwaner to go on blind dates and marry some family members, and leave the company to her younger brother Shenqian to manage. Shenwaner disagreed and had a big fight with them. She brought Shaolin to the Shen family as a shield. She said the other person was her boyfriend. Shenqian knew Shaolin and knew that he was a security guard and an orphan. When this news came out, Shenwaner's parents were immediately furious. Shenwaner also moved all her belongings out of the Shen family that day and lived in Chunshan community with Shaolin. During this period, Shenqian returned to his old ways, threatening his sister to give him money at every turn. saying that if she didn't, he would commit suicide by jumping off a building. Xiaolin felt comforted by this, and combined with the assist you arranged a month ago, the relationship between the two has also warmed up a lot. But the two still didn't break through that layer of paper. I'm done. Lao Gao shut up. When Gu Yan heard this, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise. Hey, what kind of standard plot is this? Isn't this exactly what he wants? Security guard, shield, cohabitation, life and death friendship. Isn't it just a matter of waiting for the right opportunity? Hey, it looks like this line will be reclaimed soon too. Gu Yanxiao's mouth corners were almost stretched. Very good. We had already thought of the right time. Something that can make the two of them open up completely. Chapter 248 Lang Qingqiu has no ambition to work. Lang family. Study. Lang Qingqiu stood by the window and looked out. Gu Yan's life essence can be clearly seen in the car outside the house. Only, why did Gu Yan stay in the car with the bodyguard who was protecting him for so long? What are they doing in the car? It's been a minute. Why hasn't Gu Yan come up yet? 5 minutes. Gu Yan hasn't come out yet. 10 minutes. It's over. Gu Yan wouldn't do anything in the car with his bodyguards. Right? Enough of the other me, maybe it's someone telling me something. Don't let your imagination run wild. Can you be more like the Night King? Xiaoling couldn't help but remind him. After hearing this, Lang Qingqiu's expression froze slightly, and he took a deep breath and said calmly, What are you talking about? Xiaoling, I'm not imagining anything. It's just that Gu Yan used to rush over as soon as he arrived at the Lang family. But now he hasn't come out for 10 minutes. It's 12 minutes and 13 seconds. Lang Qingqiu's expression became flustered again. And his heart felt empty. She covered her face and said in a trembling voice, What should I do? Xiaoling, was it because I was busy with Gu Yan's family annual meeting the other day, that I neglected Gu Yan and made him feel sad and lonely? Another me, you are really enough. If Lu Ding knew you were doing this behind his back, he would definitely destroy his worldview. Besides, if you really love Lu Ding so much, why do you have to be so serious when facing him? You're talking nonsense. When did I ever act serious in front of Gu Yan? Lang Qingqiu immediately retorted. But after thinking about it, I found that there was something wrong with this statement. So I changed the words. Anyway, you don't understand. That's the fun of being in love. Another me. This seems to be a line from the book, The Blind Fiancee, that you read recently, right? I have said it many times, the content on the internet is used to improve yourself, not to refute my pointed words. If I had known that the first thing you would do after learning about online products would be to watch some romance dramas, I would definitely not have taught you how to use them. Xiaoling actually felt a little regretful, because he wanted to conceal the fact that he already knew how to use internet products. So she made up a lie. Explain. The reason why Lang Qingqiu became an electronic idiot was actually because all her talents were absorbed and used by her inner personality. Then Lang Qingqiu believed it and asked her to teach her how to use it. Then, Lang Qingqiu learned it, and could even search for content by blind typing. In addition, Gu Yan gave her a mobile phone that only required voice control and was not available on the market. So Lang Qingqiu now studies on her mobile phone or computer. Of course it was fine at the beginning. Lang Qingqiu will learn some useful knowledge. But, I don't know if she searched or visited some website. As a result, Lang Qingqiu was trapped in it. Started the journey of chasing drama. Sometimes I even knit a scarf while watching TV series. In Lang Qingqiu's words, this is called sharpening the knife before chopping wood. Is this how all words are used? Until now. Xiaoling finally waited until Lang Qingqiu finished knitting the scarf. When she heard Lang Qingqiu say that it was time to get down to business, she was very pleased, thinking that the other me finally understood what her main responsibilities were. Lang Qingqiu then turned her attention to Gu Yan again. Cricket furnace, why can it make another me crazy again and again? Xiaoling said that he really couldn't figure it out. Lang Qingqiu listened to Xiaoling's lecture and was a little unconvinced. Xiaoling, I am the master personality, why do you keep lecturing me? Another me, I think you really forgot what you really want to do. Revenge. Revenge for the dead relatives. Have you forgotten all these things? You who are immersed in love, are you still qualified to control this body? Xiaoling's usually calm tone became slightly heavier. These words also made Lang Qingqiu's heart tremble. She reacted immediately. Yes, revenge is obviously what I should do most. But what are you doing now? Thoughts of revenge were left behind. My mind is full of Gu Yan. When I first wanted to learn about electronic products, my purpose was actually to learn better and learn new knowledge more conveniently. But, I have been searching for all kinds of love books and audio and video films, and using my smart brain to build character models and various pictures in my mind. Lang Qingqiu regretted it so much. Lang Qingqiu, Lang Qingqiu. You are so lazy. She just opened her mouth to say something to strengthen her conviction. Next second. Yu, I'm here. Bang. The door was pushed open. Guyan strolled in happily. After arranging the next steps of the plan for Lao Gao, Guyan rushed over impatiently. It's 13 minutes and 23 seconds slower than usual. I wonder if Yu will blame me. Of course, given Yu's personality, he probably wouldn't care about such a small problem. Yu is here. A ambition that had just emerged in my heart was instantly shattered with the arrival of Guyan. She thought to herself. It was 13 minutes and 23 seconds slower than usual. But it doesn't matter, as long as Guyan comes. Xiaoling. So she pretended to be calm and replied, what are you doing here? I've been very busy recently. Guyan smiled lightly when he heard this. Of course he knew that Yu, as the Night King, must have a lot of things to do. But, Yu has ignored him for 2 days. Plus, he's leaving the day after tomorrow, so we must spend more time showing affection and love to each other while we're free. So Guyan moved closer to the other person, stretched out his hands to hold the other person's waist from behind, and rested his chin on Yuyu's shoulder. Yu, look at what you said. I missed you and came naturally. You don't know, there have been too many things happening in Zhangchai recently. The day after tomorrow, your good husband, I will go to a very dangerous place. Now I can stay with you for a little while longer. Yu was held in Guyan's arms, her heart was beating fast. After hearing Guyan's words, her heart tightened. Where are you going? There's an ancient ruins that came out recently. And they say it has an ancient aura. The warrior department asked us to investigate. But it's not a big problem, I have Lao Gao here anyway. He can protect my safety. Guyan smelled Yuyu's body fragrance and a happy expression appeared on his face. Hiss my Yu. Yu didn't have the time to argue with Guyan after hearing this. So she pushed him away and said, stop arguing, tell me what's going on. Then, Guyan explained the plan of the warrior department. 10 minutes later, Yu understood everything. And I felt a little resentful inside. Why doesn't this dog man worry about his own safety at all? Can't you just not go to such a place if you can? Anyway, you will inherit the Gu family at the annual meeting. So why do such a dangerous thing? Just as Guyan said. The other party is protected by Lao Gao. Besides, there are Meizu and others. So even if we encounter danger, we can still escape. When the time comes, I must ask Meizu and the others to protect Guyan. Okay, be safe. After Yu figured everything out, he temporarily put aside his worries. I knew Yu that you are the best. Oh, by the way, I brought you a small gift. Linger told me that Yu, he seemed to have learned how to use a mobile phone recently. Right? Here, this phone case is for you. As Guyan spoke, he took out a mobile phone case with a small black cat hanger. Yu was stunned for a moment before she took it. She touched the small pendant and felt that the outline was somewhat familiar. So he asked with a somewhat surprised expression, is this silhouette? Yi is a black cat raised in Guyan's family. During this month, Yu also fell in love with the cute and clingy little black cat. Yes, I know you like Yi, so I made you a phone case in its shape. This little pendant also looks like Yi. Guyan chuckled. And Yu, since you have learned how to use a mobile phone, will it be possible to connect to the microphone, start a video call, etc. in the future? Yu had already put a phone case on her phone. When she heard Guyan's words, she rolled her eyes in her heart. Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. So, Yu raised his chin slightly on the surface. I'll talk about it when you come back. Guyan understood what this meant and nodded repeatedly. Okay Yu, since you said so, I will definitely come back alive. What a weird flag, don't ever say that again. Yu has read a lot of tragic love stories recently, in which it is said that the protagonist makes a strange oath and can never come back. Okay, I'll do as you say. As Guyan was talking, he started to make moves towards Yu again. An ambiguous atmosphere lingered in the house. Xiaoling remained silent. Chapter 249 Meeting Xiaoling again. Late at night. In a tavern. In a corner. Guyan was looking at the woman in front of him with a smile on her face. He put his hands together and said, Xiaoling, don't keep such a stern face. This time I really need your help, my ally. There is a key point in the plan that has not been resolved. I can only rely on you to help me. Seeing that Guyan was looking for her for something, Xiaoling's expression became even more unfriendly. She twirled her fork and picked up a small piece of cake in front of her, and said coldly, let's not talk about your business for now. I have something to ask of you. The furnace. I want you to keep some distance from the other me. Guyan was stunned when he heard this, and then asked in confusion. Why do you say that? What did King Qiyu and I do to you? What happened to me? What happened to me? Xiaoling picked up the cake and put it in his mouth. He seemed to think it tasted good, so he picked up another piece. Then he looked at Gu Yan and said, "The other me has become more and more lazy recently. She rarely manages organizational matters, and her mind is full of you." After hearing this, Gu Yan was somewhat surprised and confused. "Ah, King Qiyu has become like this?" And Gu Yan coughed a little embarrassed lie. "King Qiyu is also very cute when her mind is full of me." Boom! Xiaoling slammed his fist on the table and looked at Gu Yan expressionlessly. "Be serious." As she spoke, she looked at the frightened waiter who was passing by and said, "Give me another cake and replace the wine with orange juice." Okay. Looking at the waiter who fled in panic, Gu Yan swallowed his saliva. "Xiaoling, what are you doing? I'm very serious, okay? Just tell me what you want to say." Xiaoling looked at the cauldron in front of her expressionlessly. For a moment, she didn't know whether the other party really understood or was just pretending to understand. Or maybe looting in my other self's brains are not normal. They have all been too deeply poisoned by love. Helplessly, Xiaoling sighed softly. "Let me put it this way, let me emphasize it to you again. Another me, she barely managed the sleepover organization in the past month. My mind is full of thoughts about where to go with you. Do you know what's going to happen if this continues?" Xiaoling looked at Gu Yan coldly. "I can't believe that the Night King would get mixed up with this cauldron. He even became too lazy to care about the organization and only wanted to go out with the other party to eat, drink and have fun. How can this be possible? How can you take revenge like this? No, do you really want revenge?" Gu Yan was stunned when he heard this. "What will happen if this continues?" Gu Yan muttered to himself and repeated Xiaoling's words. "King Qiyu rarely cares about the organization's affairs? This seems to be different from the King Qiyu he imagined. Based on his understanding of Leng King Qiyu, shouldn't she be a strong woman with a strong career ambition? Even if I go out to play, I will definitely arrange everything properly. But what's happening now? How did it become like this? King Qiyu, my King Qiyu, if this continues. That's exactly what I want." Gu Yan raised his head and looked at Xiaoling with joy. When Xiaoling heard this, she fell silent. "Hello. Here is your cake and orange juice." A waiter placed the cake and drinks in front of Xiaoling, then ran away in fear. She felt that there was something indescribably strange about the two guests staying in the corner. Xiaoling looked at the cake and started eating again. Without even raising his head, he replied, "Go on, I'm listening." Hearing this, Gu Yan cleared his throat and explained. "Xiaoling, think about it. If King Qiyu is too lazy to manage the night organization, then the real night organization will not take any action. And my fake night organization will remain active. Doesn't this prove that my night organization is the night organization? But King Qiyu's night organization is no longer night. And this way, my plan to whitewash King Qiyu can be successfully completed. Isn't this a good thing?" While Xiaoling was eating, he felt a little powerless inside. She felt it was too tiring to communicate with these two lab brains. During this month, she also discovered that there was only another me in Gu Yan's mind. Although I am very unwilling. But she also temporarily gave up her furnace extraction plan. But it's only temporary, it doesn't mean she has really given up. As long as she finds the right opportunity, she believes she can do better than the other me. Thinking about. Xiaoling was eating the cake quietly with a grunt. They were both troublesome guys. If Gu Yan had followed his approach, a real Night King would have become a fake in the end. By then, something terrible will happen. Gu Yan looked at Xiaoling, who suddenly became quiet, and felt that the silent person was exactly the same as King Qiyu. However, this feeling did not last long. Xiaoling raised his head and said expressionlessly, "If you keep going like this, you will never be able to get away. Don't blame me for not reminding you, if you continue like this." Xiaoling's eyes became a little weird, and his tone was very cold. "Your fake night will also completely become a real night. Everything that the Night King has to endure will also be transferred from me and my other self to you." However, even so, what Xiaoling was unable to react to was. Gu Yan nodded. "I know, but it doesn't matter." He smiled at Xiaoling and said, "As long as King Qiyu can escape this fate, that's good enough." As he spoke, Gu Yan seemed to have thought of something. He reached out his hand and searched for something in his pocket. Xiaoling looked at Gu Yan, who looked like he would be willing to do anything as long as it was for King Qiyu. She still didn't quite believe it. How could someone do this because of one person? The other party must have other purposes. Although there are many destinies imposed on one after becoming the Night King, there are also many benefits that come with it. Powerful strength and endless life are extremely tempting things. In Xiaoling's opinion, so many ignorant people are surrounding the Night King. I don't really want to destroy the Night King. I just hate that I'm not the Night King. Warriors are inherently insidious and cunning, and there are even more cases of murder and robbery in the ancient martial arts world. It can be said that as long as one is a warrior, he will have a life on his hands. That group of arrogant warriors who treat people as grass. If they were not afraid that the Night King would come looking for them one day, how could they work together to encircle and suppress the Night King under the banner of protecting world peace? In Xiaoling's opinion, they are all hypocritical. And this cauldron in front of me, even now, loves another me so deeply. But when the other party really obtains Night and becomes the Night King, the beauty of that power will surely make him lose his original heart. Oh, they are all hypocritical guys. Xiaoling was just thinking about this. Ring ring ring. Guyan took out a small pendant, which made a slight sound as it was shaken. Here, this is your share. Guyan handed the things in his hand to Xiaoling, then smiled and said, after all, Yi was adopted by you. Inqiu is so happy. It is all thanks to you who thought of adopting Yi. I am a person who clearly distinguishes between public and private matters. Although the person I like is Qingqiu, you do make Qingqiu very happy. So I think you should also have a copy of this Yi pendant. Xiaoling looked at the lifelike Yi pendant in his hand and was silent for a moment. After looking at the pendant for a few seconds, she snorted. A boring idea. TSK, I knew you would think so anyway. I've already given it to you. It's up to you whether you want to throw it away or not. The corner of Guyan's mouth twitched. He had more or less guessed that the other party would say this. After all, as Qingqiu's second personality, the other party must be Emotional's. He turned his head and waved to the waiter, preparing to eat something himself. Instead of thinking about such boring things, you might as well worry about yourself. The more perfect your plan is, the closer you are to your destiny. While Xiaoling was making sarcastic remarks, he also put away Yi's pendant. Guyan didn't notice this covert little action. Yes, you don't need to worry about this. I'd like a fruit plate. Thank you. Guyan nodded repeatedly without caring. Xiaoling, Chapter 250, The Talking Ancient Evil Scripture. Ling family. In front of the door. That's the plan. Xiaoling, what do you think? Guess which problem I want you to solve. In the car, Guyan turned his head to look at Xiaoling, who seemed to be thinking about something. After listening to this, the latter pondered for a while and said, You mean if the day after tomorrow? It's tomorrow. Today we played until the early hours of the next morning. The sun is about to rise again. Guyan interrupted Xiaoling's speech. This action made Xiaoling raise his head and look at Guyan expressionlessly. Well, go on. Guyan, who had to be a bit mean, immediately gave in. Xiaoling was a little speechless after his train of thought was interrupted. But he quickly said again, If you are going to explore the so-called ancient ruins tomorrow, according to what you said, Lu Ding, you are planning to let the people from the Peach Blossom Society use secret techniques to create some trouble. But have you ever thought that the location of the Peach Blossom Society must be known by some sect? If it is discovered that this place is a sect formation, your so-called plan will fail. Why are you looking at me like that? Xiaoling frowned and looked at Guyan, who was smiling at the side. So, I'm here to ask for a favor from you. Is there any way to solve this problem? He believes it. As the Night King, Xiaoling must have a way to make that place more like an ancient ruin. Although he has a system, he has more important uses for his pure love value. Therefore, he will not move until he has no other choice. When we go to the ancient ruins tomorrow, there will definitely be people from other sects there. He was also worried about the possibility that someone might know this place and expose himself. So he was a little conflicted about it. Xiaoling looked at Guyan for a few seconds, and finally said calmly, Yes, there is, but why should I help you? In fact, I would rather be the Night King who reigns supreme. Guyan coughed dryly. Don't say that, didn't we agree to work together? Xiaoling didn't buy it. You are doing this for another me. But what good will this do for me? And what do you want me to do in exchange for helping you this time? Guyan had no choice but to throw the problem to Xiaoling. Hearing this, Xiaoling looked at Guyan and pretended to think for a while. Although I would like to make a lot of requests. But, she looked at Guyan expressionlessly, forget it this time. I'm in a good mood tonight. So I'll help you once for free. Guyan was a little surprised. Do you still have the concept of mood? Do you still want me to help you? Xiaoling said in a cold voice. Think. Guyan nodded immediately. Why? Xiaoling felt a little tired. She raised her palm. Buzz. The black book appeared in her palm. Hey. Finally you're calling me again. Hey. What are you going to do this time? As Guyan looked somewhat surprised, an eye suddenly grew out of the side of the black book, and a mouth full of fangs opened up. The overlapping multisense sounds of men and women come from there. It seemed that he realized that Xiaoling was not the only one here. The black book looked at Guyan in surprise. Beautiful. A delicious existence. I didn't expect you to get together with Xiaoling. Brush, 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 brush. The black book flew to Guyan and circled around him. Then he looked at Xiaoling. Can I eat them all? Hey, what is this? Gu Yan quickly reached out and slapped away the disgusting book in front of him. The black book was slapped to Xiaoling's side. It seemed that it felt very embarrassed to be slapped away. So it emitted a black light all over its body. Boy, you are so rude. I am a great being that existed before the world was formed. Listen carefully, my name is the Cult of the Night. Are you scared? Gu Yan looked at the evil book. And looked at the expressionless Xiaoling. Could this be the evil book that King Qiyu has been practicing? I remember that the original book did say that Ling King Qiyu's method of cultivation was learned from a cult book. Xiaoling nodded when he heard this, then reached out and grabbed Zidian, who was screaming and feeling embarrassed because he was being ignored. She looked at Gu Yan. You can call this book Xiaozi. Xiaozi won't show this look in front of the other me. As soon as the words fell, Xiaozi yelled, that's because that personality is becoming less and less suitable for being the Night King. His mind is too complicated as the Night King. He should be ruthless and desire less. I think you are very suitable. How about you take control of this body? Xiaoling ignored the other party and looked at Gu Yan. If you have any request, just tell Xiaozi. But I have to remind you that there is a price to pay for asking Xiaozi to do something. Gu Yan looked at Xiaozi. The other party didn't look like a good person. Something that existed before the world came into being. And what is the price? Is this really a low-level martial arts world? You bastard author, can you please release a sequel to complete the setting? He took a deep breath and looked at Xiaozi. The latter was also looking at him. Oh, so you are the one who wants to make a wish? But I tell you in advance. The bigger the wish you make, the greater the price you will pay. Good. Gu Yan nodded, then asked seriously, first tell me who gave you the name Xiaozi. With the emergence of this desire, a black light emanated from Xiaozi's whole body. Buzz. A strand of Gu Yan's hair was moved by a mysterious force and absorbed by Xiaozi. Then Xiaozi spoke, it was given to me by my first owner. Hey, why are you asking such a question? He was a little exasperated. Is now the time to care about his own name? And why was the price for this bastard just a hair? Oh, I see. Gu Yan understood a little bit. This cult book is like a wishing machine, right? Of course, you will be paid first and then your wish will be fulfilled. So Gu Yan looked at Zidian and said again, based on the original base of the Tao Hua society. Make it more like in ancient ruins as long as no one can recognize that it is actually a sect. It will be fine. What is the price of such a wish? Xiaoling looked at Gu Yan and said secretly in his heart. Next second. Buzz. The cult radiates light. And it broke away from Xiaoling's hand and flew in front of Gu Yan. Gu Yan also found that his hands were automatically raised up. Then he pulled out a handful of hair and fed it to Zidian. Gu Yan. Xiaozi. Xiaoling. Chapter 251. Xiaoling improves his favorability again and acquires new memories. The atmosphere in the car was a little awkward. Gu Yan rubbed his hair and looked at Xiaozi, who was chewing his hair in front of him hesitantly. You like to eat hair? No way. Crunch. Chew. Chew. I just crunch. Chew. Chew. My body just moved involuntarily. Crunch. Chew. Chew. Xiaozi felt a little ashamed and wanted to stop. But because of the equal exchange, he could only finish chewing the hair first. It was hard to believe that this man only had to pay such a small price to get him to do something that was obviously not worth the price. While Xiaozi was chewing, Gu Yan looked at Xiaoling with distrust. Is this thing reliable? Why did he feel that this cult was a bit stupid the more he read it? Xiaoling was silent for a few seconds, then looked at Gu Yan expressionlessly. I don't know. To be honest, she had never seen such a little evil. Gu Yan's mouth twitched. If you don't know, who will know? Aren't you the owner of this cult book? Oh, a talking book. Could this thing be some ancient monster? Is it really okay to trade with this thing? Will he have to pay with his soul in the end? This is terrible. After this, I'd better avoid contact with this thing. In less than a moment. God. Xiaozi exhaled and finished chewing Gu Yan's hair. You're not even to mention. A hit tastes pretty good. Boy, your physique seems to be very special, very suitable for use as a furnace. TSK. It's a pity that the other personality refused to feed me your body fluids. Otherwise, Xiaozi seemed to feel that he had said too much and it did not fit in with his high-end writing style. So he shut up. Started my own operation. Anyway, the deal is done. Next, let me fulfill your wish. The words fell. A dazzling black light emanated from his entire body. Gu Yan looked at Xiaoling and said, what is this guy talking to himself about? Xiaoling shook his head. I don't know, but Xiaozi is an ancient evil classic after all. You should respect him. Oh, I heard it. Xiaozi was very angry. Damn it, these kids nowadays are so uneducated. Forget it. As an ancient heretic, why should I bother with these mortals? But, I don't know if it's Xiaozi's own illusion. Whenever he looked at Gu Yan, he always felt something strange. It's like we've known each other for a long time. But this is definitely impossible. How could the cricket cauldron be worthy of being recognized by a noble being like him? A few seconds later, the Peach Blossom Society's base began to undergo miraculous changes. With the injection of Xiaozi's power, layers of black fog began to spread around the Peach Blossom Club in the night, as if it was an ancient curse escaping from deep underground. The formation began to be corroded by the black fog, revealing the outline of the interior of the Peach Blossom Society. These black mists glowed faintly under the moonlight, and from time to time formed strange totems, announcing to the outside world that this land was occupied by ancient evil forces. The stones on the surface of the buildings in the stronghold began to become rough, with countless cracks appearing on them, and they were constantly being worn and eroded. The mosses spread rapidly, but they were an unnatural color, a deep dark green that flickered with an ominous light, as if it could devour all the light of life. In addition, the originally lush green earth with peach blossoms began to wither. The flowers turned pitch black, and began to twitch and shake. Each one of them seemed to have life and grew sharp fangs. What is even more terrifying is that mysterious runes began to attach to the walls inside the stronghold, flashing with faint light and releasing heart-pounding energy fluctuations from time to time. These fluctuations formed vague illusions in the air. Ancient battlefields, collapsed temples, sunken cities. Each illusion contained the case and terror of ancient times. Beneath the ground, one can faintly hear the sound of chains rubbing and groans of pain, as if countless cursed souls are imprisoned under this land, unable to be freed forever. These sounds drifted in the night wind, making people feel a chill down their spines and an indescribable fear in their hearts. And all this, Guyan didn't know. Well, your wish has come true, Xiaozi said in a somewhat weak voice. What a joke. I just ate a few strands of hair, but it took so much energy to fulfill this wish. This is too much for me. Did it happen? Guyan was stunned and looked at Xiaozi in front of him with some strangeness. Isn't this too fast? Has the Peach Blossom Society's base really become more like an ancient ruin? Why are you looking at me like that? I never lie, kid. It has been achieved, and it has been exceeded. The little evil one was shivering with fear. Who among his family members understood? Does this damn mortal understand the value of this cult classic? After scolding, he seemed to feel tired. Brush. Xiaozi weakly turned into a black light and sank into Xiaoling's brows. Let me rest for a while, please. Give me enough energy next time so that I can do anything. Xiaoling felt Xiaozi's condition and found that he was a little weak. This made her look at Guyan. Lu Ding, you are really interesting. Guyan slowly put a question mark, and asked in confusion. So why do you and this evil book keep calling me furnace tripod? Xiaoling did not answer, but said calmly, you have too many questions. The other me is about to wake up. Do you still want to stay here? Guyan curled his lips when he heard this. You have to be a Riddler to ask a question. Are you and I still allies? Seeing Guyan like this, Xiaoling wanted to say something even though her other self was about to wake up. Yes, but I have the right to remain silent. That's it, bye? I'll come find you if I need anything. Although there are still many questions to ask. However, since Xiaoling said that Kinkyu was about to wake up, he couldn't stay here any longer. Only, after hearing the second half of Guyan's words, Xiaoling couldn't help but say, you can come to me if you have nothing to do. Upon hearing this, Guyan looked at Xiaoling in silence. The latter also looked at him expressionlessly. After staring at each other, Guyan finally gave in, looking at Xiaoling, who looked exactly like Ling Kinkyu. Guyan looked away. I'll find you if I have anything else. Oh, man. Xiaoling sneered. Okay, that's it. I won't talk to you anymore. Guyan waved his hand, asked Xiaoling to get out of the car, then stepped on the accelerator and left. Inside the car, communicating with Kinkyu's second personality really makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Guyan breathed a sigh of relief and called Lao Gao. Hey Lao Gao, send someone to the Peach Blossom Society's base to check the situation. Tell me if you have any news. Okay, master. After hanging up the phone, Guyan sighed inwardly. Lao Gao, it's so late and you still answer my call immediately. What would I do without you? Exclamation finished. Guyan thought of Xiaoling again this time. Compared to the previous times, Xiaoling seemed much easier to talk to this time. Of course, Guyan had no idea what the other party's mood and purpose were for agreeing to help him. But it really be simply because of their alliance? At this time, a prompt popped up in Guyan's mind. The trust of the pure object has increased to 91. Unlock new memory fragments, please check. Guyan was silent. What's the matter? How did the favorability suddenly increase? What happened? The other side. Xiaoling has returned to the house. She is looking at the Yi pendant in her hand. I don't know what he's thinking in his eyes. It seems like there is something extra in my mind. Xiaoling's expression changed slightly. Her confused mumblings echoed in the darkness. New memories, what on earth is going on? Lu Ding and I. At this memory, or should I say it was another me. Chapter 252, Entering the Second Memory. Everything is a real experience. Family-oriented. Guyan was lying on the bed. Is this the new memory? He looked at the aqua blue memory bubble floating on his face, thinking something in his heart. According to the system, every time the favorability increases by 1, a new memory will be gained. In other words, up to now, I can still obtain 9 more memory bubbles. To be honest, the previous experience was still fresh in his memory. At the end, it seemed that Kinkyu had chopped off his head. This seems a bit outrageous. Why would Kinkyu cut his own neck? When is this memory from? Could this be a precognitive memory? Does it mean the future will be like this? Or has this ever happened? Combined with the system's ambiguous responses, I wouldn't have experienced anything like reincarnation. Right? No way, no way. Impossible. Then what was the situation in my previous world? I have read the novel about the world in which Leng Kinkyu lives. Otherwise, how would I know the plot? Guyan touched his neck. No matter what, let's first see what the second memory is. Maybe we can get some other clues from it. Thinking of this, Guyan reached out and clicked on the memory bubble to pop it. Link start. Drip, drip, drip. The sounds of various instruments in the hospital lingered in Guyan's ears. Damn it, why is this happening? Why did Captain Gu and Captain Leng encounter this kind of thing? The monsters in that ruins are of a type we have never seen before. Damn it, damn it. Captain, you must hold on. What's that sound? Speaking of which, I feel dizzy and my body aches. Is this memory flashback so realistic? Can't I experience it from a third-person perspective? Guyan's head was dizzy and he could still hear the panic sobbing of the medical staff. Captain Gu, are you talking about me? What about Captain Leng? Leng Kinkyu? No way. When did we become captains? Guyan's consciousness gradually disappeared. I don't know how much time has passed. Brush brush. A gust of warm breeze passed across Guyan's face. At the same time, a voice that sounded very familiar to Guyan rang out. Guyan, Guyan, wake up! How can anyone sleep under the shade of a tree? If you do this, I will complain to my sister. Guyan listened to the voice and slowly opened his eyes. In his eyes, a familiar figure was standing in front of him angrily. The only difference was that the other person's conspicuous yellow hair had turned black. And there is a hint of maturity on the originally immature face. Leng Linger. Guyan called out the name of the person in front of him, and at the same time found himself leaning against a big tree. Yes, thank you for remembering my name, stinky brother-in-law. Leng Linger shook her little black hair, speechless lie inside. Sister is still training hard in the training ground. Brother-in-law, can you fight for it a little bit? Even if you are a genius, you will be overtaken by others sooner or later if you keep going like this. For example, me. Leng Linger raised her head proudly. I will definitely catch up with you too and become the greatest anti-demon warrior. Against the demon warrior. Guyan was a little confused after hearing this. He subconsciously wanted to ask about the current situation, but what came out of his mouth was, sorry, little brat. Your talent is so low that you can never catch up with me even if you practice for 8 lifetimes. Damn you, you can only call others rubbish. The one who calls others trash is the trash. Leng Linger was furious, but seemed to have thought of something. She stretched out her hand towards Guyan and snorted coldly. Hurry up, sister called you to come over for training. It's your turn to guide me today. Guyan looked at the hand the other party extended to him, and looked at his own uncontrollable body, and he suddenly realized something. I feel like this is really an immersive experience. No time to think. Guyan has already stretched out his hand towards Leng Linger. Yes, then you have to grit your teeth. That's for sure. Just suddenly. Sizzle, sizzle. It's like an old TV suddenly got stuck. The scene in front of me began to distort. A sharp electric sound came to Guyan's ears. At the same time, Leng Linger in front of him seemed to have suddenly stopped there, constantly separating and overlapping with the distorted picture. What's wrong? Guyan was stunned. Next second. Snap. Just like the transition of a slideshow. The sky, in an instant, turned blood red. The surrounding high-rise buildings were reduced to ruins. Guyan's vision became bloody. The nasal cavity was filled with the disgusting, rusty smell of blood. What's wrong? Guyan felt his hands were wet and warm, and bloody liquid dripped between his fingers, splashing tiny blood. That was blood, and Guyan could confirm that it was not his. So whose could it be? Sister, brother-in-law, why did you become like this? Leng Linger's intermittent sad voice reached Guyan's ears. The latter's vision gradually went from blurry to clear, and the scenes around him made it impossible for him to look directly at them. Broken limbs, scattered organs, and those familiar faces in his memory that revealed distortion and pain. What's going on? Guyan's heart began to beat faster and his breathing quickened slightly. When he saw this scene, a hint of disbelief appeared in his eyes. Just see. The palm of your own hand, or. A claw pierced through the chest of the person in front of him. Thump. When the person in front of me fell to the ground without a sound, Gu Yan finally reacted. He looked at Lang Linger's body on the ground with a dazed expression. Wait, what's going on? What kind of a beastly experience is this? I killed Lang Linger. What's going on? Gu Yan's heart was twitching violently and his breathing became heavy and unstable. He tried to recall how he had ended up in this state. But his memory was like torn pieces, shattered. In his fragmented memories, he saw his own eyes. They were no longer human eyes, but pupils full of wildness and hunger. Looking at the pool of blood on the ground like a small river, Gu Yan saw his appearance. It was a humanoid monster. A memory came to mind. Mutation, loss of consciousness, dismemberment and killing. Gu Yan suddenly came to his senses. The air was filled with the smell of death and endless wailing. And the source of all this was actually himself. Gu Yan. At this time, a voice rang out that made Gu Yan's heart tremble. He subconsciously turned his head to look over there. Just see. Lang Qingqiu was wearing a military green warrior combat uniform of the warrior department that he had never seen before. When she looked at him, her eyes were filled with extreme sadness and regret. I'm sorry. I didn't know it would be like this. Lang Qingqiu looked at the corpses all over the ground, especially when she witnessed Gu Yan killing Lang Linger. She just kept repeating this sentence. Next second. Quick, kill Gu Yan, he has fallen into a demonic state. Quick. Don't hesitate, that's not Captain Gu Yan anymore. Countless people in the same uniform rushed over, asked by Lang Qingqiu, and attacked Gu Yan with expressions of either sadness or hatred. Gu Yan's body fled uncontrollably into the distance. A low growl came from his throat, the sound of a monster. Consciousness returns. Gu Yan opened his eyes breathlessly. When I found myself still in my bedroom, I felt relieved. At this time he was sweating again. What the hell is this memory? Gu Yan was lying on the bed, his eyes full of horror. It became a monster, and he killed Lang Linger? No, the most important thing is, where did that memory happen? Could it really be a reincarnation story? Gu Yan closed his eyes and tried to calm himself down. Damn, I can't calm down at all. Gu Yan opened his eyes again and covered his chest. I recalled the last scene in my mind. I saw Qingqiu's eyes filled with sadness and collapse. Why? What happened? Why is Qingqiu so sad? Why should I say sorry to him? Could Qingqiu's eyes see at that time? So why didn't he become the Night King? Irritability, depression, all kinds of emotions piled up in Gu Yan's heart. But soon, he adjusted his breathing and lowered his voice. System, I know you won't answer many of my questions now. But you just need to tell me, are these memories what Qingqiu and I really experienced? Yes. After a moment's silence, the system gave the answer that Gu Yan wanted. So then there will be no problem. Gu Yan took a deep breath. His eyes gradually calmed down and his breathing became steady. It was not because of anything else, but because the system's reply made Gu Yan more certain of one thing. From the very beginning, he was in this world, and then the object of pure love was Lang Qingqiu. Each step seems to be arranged by some existence. So what exactly does this being want to do? And why show him so many memories? Gu Yan thinks. After reading all the memories, maybe he will know the truth of everything. Why is it so troublesome? I just simply want to have love and affection with Qingqiu. Hateful, besides. And the experience of the next memory not be so immersive? It makes me feel so weak when I wake up. What a shitty system. Sorry, but I can't help it, this is set. Also, this system is a pure love system. The pure love system said weakly. I hope you're really a pure love system, not a master abuse system. Host, please don't slander me. This immersive setting is actually because. Because what? I'm listening. No more permissions. Chapter 253 Shaolang Qingqiu. Evening. Family-oriented. Ring ring ring. With the bombardment of cell phone ringtones. A hand stretched out from under the quilt, and Gu Yan picked up the phone with a headache and put it to his ear. Hello? Who is it? Warrior Department. Bi Jun stayed in a corner and asked in a low voice. Gu Yan, what are you doing? I called you several times but you didn't answer. Something happened, do you know? Something happened. No matter how big the incident is it more important than my catching up on sleep? Gu Yan yawned. Why are you here? What's going on? What happened? Gu Yan said how could he not be tired, so he and Shaolang endured until the next day. And I popped the memory ball and experienced the weird plot again. After the plot was over, his entire spirit was depressed. Looking at the sky outside, it seemed that he had slept from morning till evening. Warrior Department. Bi Jun covered his face with his hands in pain. He said, why did Guyan not answer the calls he made so many times? Was he snoring? But you can't do anything about the other party. So Bia Jun had no choice but to say, it's already so late. And you are still sleeping. Something happened at the ancient ruins. All previous plans have been scrapped anyway. Please come to the warrior department as soon as possible. Hey, hello. After saying that, Bia Jun hung up the phone. As for Gu Yan, he rubbed his eyes. What a joke. Going to the warrior department now counts as overtime. But there is no overtime pay in the warrior department. So he threw away his phone and lay down again. Just the next second. Ring ring ring. The cell phone rang again. Gu Yan picked up the phone again helplessly. Lao Gao drove downstairs of Gu's house and waited. He looked up at the outside of Gu Yan's room, where the curtains were closed. Hey, master, did you sleep well? Lao Gao, what's wrong? Master, do you remember that you asked me to send someone to investigate the situation of the Peach Blossom Club? Things are very bad anyway. I'm here to pick you up. Let's go directly to the warrior department. Gu Yan frowned and said unhappily. No. After saying that, he hung up the phone. Just a little while later. Master, I finally contacted you. Something happened at the Peach Blossom Society's base. A large number of monsters suddenly appeared, the formation was destroyed, and was corroded by an evil black mist. Almost all the people in the sector dead. Master, what should we do now? Wang Yellen and I hid in the secret room of the Peach Blossom Club. Hide first and wait for my news. Gu Yan rubbed his eyebrows and only then realized the seriousness of the problem. What's going on? I just made a wish to ask Xiaozi to make the Tao Hua Society's base more like ancient ruins. Why are so many people bombarding him with phone calls? Besides, what would happen if he was missing? Next second. Ing Ling Ling, your wife is calling you. Ding Ling Ling. Your wife is calling you. Think why you called me? Gu Yan suddenly perked up and picked up the phone to answer it. But then I thought, that's not right. Think Yu has learned to use a mobile phone for such a long time. But she has never called him. In addition, Xiaolang had previously made a phone call pretending to be King Qiyu. In addition, it seems that there are serious problems with the ancient ruins. Could it be that? Gu Yan answered the phone calmly and opened his mouth. Xiaolang? But before Gu Yan could finish speaking, a voice that made Gu Yan's heart pound came from the other end of the phone. Gu Yan, are you okay? I called you several times but you didn't answer. Have you gone to the ancient ruins? Ling family. Ling King Qiyu held the phone in his hand. His expression very nervous. This was her first time calling Gu Yan. And in the past, she was always embarrassed. However, she suddenly received a message from Shangwan Miaoyan saying that something had happened at the ancient ruins. It seemed to be wrapped in black fog and became extremely dangerous. The warrior department needs to discuss the plan again. And warriors from other areas will also come. So Lang King Qiyu immediately called Gu Yan. But the other party never answered. At this time, I heard the first words Gu Yan said. Lang King Qiyu was suddenly stunned. Gu Yan, who are you talking about? Xiaolang. Gu Yan suddenly broke out in a sweat hiss. This is real. So she quickly made amends. Well, what I mean is, Xiaolang King Qiyu, you are too worried about your good husband. Aren't you? I just got bombarded with phone calls from that guy from the BA army, asking me to go to the warrior department immediately. So it's okay, just rest assured. Little Lang King Qiyu? Lang King Qiyu was slightly stunned, and then her expression became a little embarrassed and annoyed. She said, Kokathis lie. It's already this time and you are still joking here. Anyway, the ancient ruins have become very dangerous now. If you can avoid going there, don't go, do you hear me? In Lang King Qiyu's opinion, it would be better to let the small warriors in the warrior department to explore the way in that kind of place first. After completing the exploration, she will personally reap the harvest of the battlefield. This is the ideal approach. Those small fish will die if they want to. No matter how many of them die, there will always be people to fill their place. But there is only one Gu Yan. Gu Yan felt warm at heart when he heard Lang King Qiyu's worry. I heard it, Xiao King Qiyu, wait for me to come back. And then we can have a good microphone connection again. I told you not to say such weird things anymore. Lang King Qiyu said somewhat angrily. Does Gu Yan understand what it means to set up flags randomly? Got it, I'll do whatever you say. I won't go if I can avoid it. There are a lot of people coming this time anyway, so one more person won't make a difference. Gu Yan comforted him and said that if Gu Yan wanted to go, he would not go, but the Night King still had to go. That's good to know. Only then did Lang King Qiyu feel relieved. And he gave a few more instructions and hung up the phone. Afterwards, Lang King Qiyu held the cell phone. My originally tense mood relaxed a little, and some strange thoughts came to my mind. It's a strange feeling to talk on the phone. Another me, you are too worried about Lu Ding, he will be fine. Xiaolang, you don't understand, just shut up. Chapter 254. Lin Yin Yin, Minister of the Peace Faction. After Leng Qingqiuyu finished his rebuttal, he thought for a moment. So I made a decision. This time the ancient ruins suddenly changed. She decided to step forward herself. Of course it's not Leng Qingqiuyu, but the Night King. It seemed that he understood Leng Qingqiuyu's intention. Xiaoling said, "Have you finally remembered your identity?" I've always remembered it, okay? I was just delayed by a lot of things." Leng Qingqiuyu defended himself stubbornly. "You'd better. But another me, have you ever thought about what you would do if the fake he also appeared there? What to do?" Leng Qingqiuyu heard this and then a murderous intent surged in his heart. Then kill him. She has not forgotten that the fake Night King had injured Gu Yan before. I advise you not to do this. Why? Because the fake Night King can attract firepower for us now. With such a conspicuous shield there, why don't we use it? Hearing this, Leng Qingqiuyu felt that it made some sense. But when these words came out of Xiaoling's mouth, Leng Qingqiuyu felt uncomfortable. She asked in confusion, "Xiaoling, what's wrong with you? Didn't you say before that if you came here by yourself, you would definitely not let the fakey get away with using our name?" "I've already said that the past is the past." Xiaoling said that he was tired. "Why did the other me show off my intelligence in such a place? It seems that this brain has not completely become a lab brain. Is it possible that the other party can still be saved? No, although we can do this, since that fake's comeback hurt Gu Yan. He must die. Another me, for the plan. No. I've already thought about it. If Gu Yan goes to the ancient ruins, I will follow him in the dark to protect him. What if Gu Yan doesn't go? That's great, Gu Yan is not at the ruins. I have nothing to worry about. All the warriors there. I will annihilate them all." Leng Qingqiuyu clenched his fists in the air. His expression filled with solemnity, as if he finally remembered what he should do. Xiaoling felt helpless when he saw this. "Gu Yan, I have already said too much. If I say more, the truth will be revealed. But for your so-called plan, I definitely can't let the other me do it." So Xiaoling decided to help one last time. "I think there is another way according to my guess. The fake Night King will definitely not miss the opportunity to explore the ancient ruins. So the other party will definitely come at that time. You wait for them to wipe out your old enemy, and then you can rescue them. This way, you can not only achieve revenge, but also infiltrate the enemy with a legitimate identity. It would be best if you can get rid of the fakey during this period. And it doesn't matter if you can't, at least you have gained the trust of the people in the warrior department. What do you think, another me?" Leng Qingqiuyu heard this and thought about it carefully, and it seemed that this was not impossible. So she nodded. "Xiaoling, what you said seems to make sense. So I decided." "Have you decided?" "That's right. I'm going to go to the warrior department right now, to see what their plan is. By the way, see if anyone is bullying Gu Yan. I know that Gu Yan got in through the back door, and there must be a lot of people who regard him as a thorn in their side." Leng Qingqiuyu finished speaking. Buzz. A wisp of black air enveloped her whole body, and in an instant her image became. When the Yama Palace held a banquet, she disguised herself and was mistaken by Gu Yan as her sister Leng Bingning. This fool actually thought I really had a sister named Leng Bingning. This is foolproof. Leng Qingqiuyu's voice also receives special treatment, becoming extremely mature and royal. "Xiaoling. Warrior department. At the door. TSK, it's worthy of being a warrior department. Even the gatekeeper is a warrior." Gu Yan discovered that compared to yesterday, there were obviously many more guards here. The entire first floor of the warrior building was surrounded and protected by guards. Moreover, each of them is a warrior, and their cultivation is no lower than that of a second-rate warrior. Lao Gao nodded slightly when he heard this. Although the strength of those people above probably does not require the protection of these warriors, it seemed that he heard what Gu Yan and the others said. The corners of the mouth of every warrior in white uniform twitched. They looked at Gu Yan, thinking to myself, "It looks like another troublemaker in the warrior department. But the old man's aura is so strong. Is he this person's protector?" The car can only be parked outside, and warriors will come over to carefully inspect it using a glowing crystalline object. Only after confirming that there were no safety hazards were Gu Yan and Lao Cao allowed to proceed to the next inspection stage. After presenting his credentials and undergoing a series of checks, Gu Yan and Lao Gao were led into a special elevator. The inner walls of the elevator were covered with silver metal plates scarred with intricate totems and runes, which, according to the person leading them, could suppress the power of monsters, perhaps because there have been cases of monsters disguising themselves as humans in the past. Buildings filled with silver energy can be seen everywhere in the warrior department. As the elevator slowly rose, Gu Yan felt an inexplicable pressure gradually increasing. This is not ordinary physical pressure, but the aura from the high-level strongmen in the warrior department. These auras intertwined together to form an almost substantial existence. Everyone was probing Gu Yan to confirm that he was not dangerous. Boom! The elevator finally reached the top floor, the door slowly opened, and Gu Yan and Lao Gao stepped into a spacious and bright space. At the door of the conference room stood two young warriors in white clothes, looking very serious. After seeing Gu Yan and Lao Gao, the two used the pistol-shaped detectors in their hands to scan Gu Yan and Lao Gao from a distance. Safety, safety. When the scanner shows safe, the series of inspections finally ended. At this time, Gu Yan, you are finally here. And Gao Lao Hao. Bai Jun walked straight over and felt relieved when he saw Gu Yan finally came. Next to him was a little loli with silver hair that only reached his waist. She was holding a fan in her hand, which seemed to be made of a very special material and was silver in color. What was inconsistent with the other person's image was that when the other person looked at Gu Yan, he showed a look of great interest. Gu Yan saw the little Lolita next to Bai Jun. He shrugged without changing his expression and chuckled at Bai Jun. I can't help it since the BEI team leader is talking. I have to come. Besides, Gu Yan looked curiously at the little silver-haired girl who was also looking at him. Whose child is this? As soon as these words came out, Bai Jun was startled. He looked at the little girl next to him. When he saw that her expression did not change, he swallowed and explained to Gu Yan. Gu Yan, don't talk nonsense. This is my teacher. He is also the minister of the peace faction. Minister Lin. This combat meeting was convened under the leadership of Minister Lin. Gu Yan made a surprised expression. No way. This kid is the leader of the peace faction. You must be kidding, Bai Jun. Bai Jun swallowed and was about to say something. It was blocked by a fan raised at the side, and Gu Yan and others looked over. The little girl looked at Gu Yan with interest, her lips slightly raised. And she said in a pleasant childlike voice, you are indeed the same as what Bai Xiaozi said. It is really interesting. My name is Lin Yin Yin, and just like what Bai Xiaozi said, I am the minister of the peace faction. From now on, you will be my subordinate. You must respect your leaders and be even more respectful to the elderly. As for the fact that you just humiliated me as a little devil, considering that this is your first offense, I will forgive you for calling me Lin Biu. After Lin Yin Yin finished speaking, she raised her head and looked at Gu Yan with interest. Bai Jun also looked at Gu Yan nervously, his eyes full of pleading. Then, Gu Yan shook his head in disdain. No. When Lin Yin Yin heard this, her expression froze for a moment. She seemed to have not reacted and stared at Gu Yan blankly. Why not? Need I say more? I've decided. I'm going to quit the peace faction. Gu Yan grinned and sneered at Lin Yin Yin viciously. Quit? Lin Yin Yin muttered to herself and her body began to tremble. Why and on TV like this, please apologize. Bai Jun looked at Lin Yin Yin standing aside. I looked at the large conference room which was getting more and more crowded. And he felt something was not good. I don't apologize. Children should act like children. Minister, you are the minister and I am the Night King. Gu Yan squatted down, stretched out his hand and pressed it on Lin Yin Yin's head, rubbing it hard. Look, are you still a minister like this? Letting me ravage you like this? As Lin Yin Yin listened, her body began to tremble. Her mouth pouted and her eyes turned red. He opened his mouth wide and burst into tears. Lin Yin Yin's tears began to fall. She struggled out of Gu Yan's hand with tears in her eyes, and lay on Bai Jun's thigh, looking up at him. She cried and wailed. That white brat bullied me. Beat him up for me. Beat him up. I'll give you the position of minister. Beat him up for me. A white army looked at the increasing number of people and immediately covered their faces, knowing that it was over. Gu Yan, on the other hand, looked meaningfully at the crying Lin Yin Yin. Well, one of Shaolin's concubines in the original novel, the legal lowly Lin Yin Yin. It is indeed the same as what is written in the original book. He is an old monster who has lived for a very long time, but his appearance and mind are very immature. I didn't expect to meet her here. Dehayu. Chapter 255, The Horrifying Ancient Ruins. At this time, the conference room was already full of people. Warriors from various regional departments were sitting in dozens of seats. Some of them had sharp gleams between their brows, while others were as calm as water. Gu Yan and Lao Zhao were sitting in the Zhangyeche area, and everyone in the same row was familiar to them. Liu Ji and Xing sat on Gu Yan's right. He looked at the little girl carrying a stool on the stage and couldn't help but ask Gu Yan in a low voice, whose leader's child is that little girl? He had seen the little girl crying and making a fuss before. After hearing this, Gu Yan turned his head and replied, she is the leader. Liu Ji and Xing was stunned. The other side, Chang Guan Miaoyin, Mei Zhu and others also entered the team voice chat. Mu Rongxi, do you feel it? This little girl is very strong. While his strength is at least above the middle stage of Grand Master. Mider? As expected of an old monster who has lived for 100 years. Why do you still look like this after living for so long? Oh, Meizu, do you care about this? I can tell you. Rumor has it that Lin Yin, the head of the peace faction, was an experimental subject of the warrior department when she was very young. She looks like this because of the experiment. Real. Experimental subjects so scary, will we also be captured and used as experimental subjects? Shut up, new guy, don't act so pitiful, and don't interrupt our conversation. You idiot. Oh, I'm sorry. Yu Xingzu lowered her head, tears welling up in her eyes. So scary. B. Alyan. Don't bully the newbies. Shangguan Maiyan looked at B.A. Alyan kindly. The latter snorted. All the most advanced audio and video systems are installed in every corner of the conference room to ensure that every sound in the meeting can be clearly transmitted and every picture can be displayed in high definition. On stage, with red eyes, Lin Yin moved a small stool behind the conference table, then stood on it so that she could reach the microphone. She looked at the people in the audience, cleared her throat, and said, "Now that everyone is here, before the meeting begins, please take a look at the projected image." Speaking of, the white army on the side gently pressed a switch, and then the current scene of the ancient ruins began to be projected onto the void in the conference room. Soon, a scene like purgatory appeared in front of everyone, causing a slight uproar. In the picture, the sky was dyed a crimson red, as if the entire sky was burning. The thick clouds were like rolling flames, with lightning running through them from time to time, tearing the crimson sky into horrible scars. The ground was a doomsday scene with cracks everywhere. The magma gushing out of them was like a river from hell, dyeing the earth a deep blood red. There were broken walls and ruins everywhere. And what was even more frightening was that there were some blurry black shadows floating in the air. Their shapes were irregular, and they made creepy low hums. The sounds seemed to come from another world, and people felt fear in their hearts after hearing it. In this purgatory-like scene, the most eye-catching thing is a huge black tower that rises high into the clouds. The tower is covered with strange runes and totems, exuding a strange and powerful power. The top of the tower was surrounded by a faint halo, which formed a sharp contrast with the surrounding red and darkness. The entire picture of the ancient ruins is filled with the atmosphere of doomsday. There were bursts of gasps in the conference room. Guyan was also stunned. This. How did Peach Blossom become like this? Guyan recalled what the cult book said in his mind. Overachievement. This effect is too excessive. No, it's too much. Right? As Guyan watched, his shoulders began to tremble and he couldn't help but cover his mouth. Oh no, almost laughing out loud. Liu Jianxing's heart trembled and his pupils trembled when he saw it. The scene was so purgatory that he would believe it if someone said it was hell. And this is an ancient site? So how strong is that ancient energy? Liu Jianxing turned his head and was about to hug Guyan for warmth. As a result, he was stunned, because Guyan actually covered his mouth in fear and his body was shaking. Is that so? It turns out that Guyan would also be afraid? Liu Jianxing took a deep breath, suppressing his fear and looking straight at the scene. In that case, I cannot be afraid. It was Guyan who helped us regain our confidence during the last Night King incident. Well, this time, I won't be afraid anymore. Shangguan Maiyan was also very surprised. This ancient site seems to be changing every minute. It was even more chilling than during the day. Even through the screen, Shangguan Maiyan seemed to be able to feel the terrifying aura contained in it. Are you kidding me? This place is an ancient ruins? Yes, judging from the picture alone, the danger level has already reached the standard of forbidden area. We're going to explore this place? No way, buddy, we're obviously going to die there. Right? Are you still warriors? If we don't go, who else can go? This place is obviously not something that the secular organizations can deal with. What did you say? What's wrong? Conservatives are conservatives. They just stay back when things get tough. The meeting room was getting increasingly noisy. After Lin Yin looked around, she said in a low voice, "Quiet." Next second, buzz. A strong aura swept through the entire conference room. Everyone's ears were buzzing as if they had exploded. For a moment, the entire conference room fell silent. TSK, is this the strength of this old monster? He shut up all the innate warriors present in an instant. Guyan put down his hands that were covering his ears and thought inexplicably. I don't know if it's because of the pure love practice. So Guyan could clearly see some small things filled with true energy floating around them. Densely packed, silver powder that is invisible to the naked eye and composed of silver true energy. Guyan looked at the little loli on the stage. These things floating in the air are actually the silver true energy that overflows from the body of the monster on the stage. As long as there is a monster disguised as a person in the conference room, it will be immediately destroyed into a ball of black ash by the silver true energy floating in the air. See after it calms down. Lin Yin nodded in satisfaction. Yeah, it's good to not quarrel. She looked at everyone and said seriously. Next, I will tell you the specific plan. Several minutes passed. Everyone was stunned. Where is the plan? Lin Yin's expression was a little stiff. And then she turned her head with tears in her eyes and looked at Bai Jun. I forgot, you should tell me. Bai Jun covered his face. He was afraid of this kind of problem. Because the microphone was on. The other party's voice was still heard by everyone. Everyone. Chapter 256. Fortunately King Qiyu is not here. Lin Yin had already stepped down from the stage. She sat in front of Gu Yan, swaying from side to side out of boredom. There was no one on either side of her. Gu Yan looked at the other person's little silver hair. He could feel that the other person's hair also contained surging true energy. Just as it was said in the original book, Lin Yin was the most perfect experimental subject in the warrior department back then. The whole body, including the hair, is covered with silver true energy, which can be said to be the most perfect weapon against demons. The side effect of this is that you will always have a small body and an immature mind. However, this is actually a good thing for the warrior department. After all, such anti-demon weapons are the most perfect and controllable weapons. It seemed that he felt Gu Yan's gaze. Lin Yin suddenly turned around and glared at Gu Yan fiercely. Just the next second, Gu Yan seemed to have thought of something. He spread his hands with a smile on his face and said to Lin Yin, Leader, I actually thought about it and realized that what I did just now was wrong. How about this, I perform a magic trick for you. Magic? Lin Yin's eyes lit up. You can also perform magic? Great, I want to see it. And please take a good look at me. Is my hand empty now? Gu Yan placed the palms and backs of his hands in front of Lin Yin for her to examine. The latter stretched out her two small hands, grabbed Gu Yan's hands, and lifted them up to take a look. Then he nodded. Well, it's empty. Good. Gu Yan said, clenching his hands into fists, and then handed them to Lin Yin. Tell me what you like to eat? Lin Yin thought about it and was just about to say that she wanted to eat candy. But no, Bai Jun has always said that I am an adult. How can an adult keep eating what children eat? So after struggling for a moment, Lin Yin finally said with difficulty, coffee. Looking at Lin Yin's tangled expression, Gu Yan smiled gently, then don't blink, leader. Yu Jianxing also looked over curiously. What's going on? Why is Gu Yan coaxing the leader like he's a child? Although the leader does look like a child. Shangguan Maiyin and others also looked over. What's going on? Is that old monster so easy to talk to? Why are you playing little games with Gu Yan? This is Gu Yan. He spread out his left hand, revealing a pack of instant coffee inside. He smiled and said, Look, this is what you wanted. Lin Yin was stunned. She curiously reached out and took the coffee from Gu Yan's hand. Looking at him with shining eyes, amazing. How did you do that? Although coffee tastes bitter, she doesn't like it very much. But in order to behave like an adult, she would try her best to drink it. Gu Yan smiled slightly. Secret, of course, this is not what I want to give you. The leader. As he spoke, he took back the coffee with his left hand and clenched it into a fist. Seeing Lin Yin's curious expression, and placed it on his right hand, and began to rub the two hands until they were joined together. Immediately following, Gu Yan looked at Lin Yin and said, The coffee is bitter. I don't think it tastes good. So, it's like magic. Gu Yan slowly separated his hands. Lin Yin also saw the appearance of the thing in Gu Yan's hand. Her mouth opened slightly, and her eyes gradually brightened up. This is what I want to give to you. The leader. Gu Yan stretched out his hand and handed a large colorful lollipop to Lin Yin. This is not a bribe, leader. Lin Yin took the lollipop and stared blankly at Gu Yan, who was smiling at her. For a moment, her little face turned red. He quickly turned around with the lollipop in his hand. As if he felt that this was not a good idea, so he turned his head away. Avoiding looking at Gu Yan, you are a good person. I forgive you for what you did to me before. But I'm an adult now. What I really like is coffee. Gu Yan heard this and nodded. Okay, got it. He was just about to reach out and rub the other person's head to finish the job. But suddenly, blick. An inexplicable palpitation appeared in his heart. Gu Yan asked several question marks and his hands froze in the air. Gulp. He swallowed, sweat dripping down his back. What's going on? Why does it always feel like someone is staring at him with malicious intent? And why does this sight look so familiar? Under various pressures, Gu Yan withdrew his hand and began to look for the source of that gaze. As for Lin Yin, she looked at Gu Yan's gesture and thought he was going to rub her head again. Considering that the other party had just given her a lollipop, Lin Yin didn't plan to dodge. But she soon discovered that Gu Yan had retracted his hand. Suddenly it felt a little strange. Forget it, but Xiaogugu gave me candy. He is a good person. so she turned her head happily and started tasting the candy. This is Gu Yan. He whispered to Lao Gao, who was sitting on his left. Lao Gao, is anyone staring at me? Lao Chao heard this and felt it for a while, but found nothing unusual, so he shook his head and said, no. He was silent for a while, then asked in a serious tone, is there an enemy? Lao Cao himself knew that the young master's perception was stronger than his. Since the young master suddenly asked this question, it must be because someone was really staring at him. It's okay, maybe it's just my illusion. Lian looked around but didn't see anyone. But the palpitations I felt just now were definitely not deceiving. So there is someone? Lian leaned back in the chair with sweat all over his body. No way, this feeling of palpitations is really like the feeling when King Qiuyu was really angry with me. Tan, is King Qiuyu here? Yan asked the traitor Meizu in his mind. No, Meizu replied calmly. At the same time, close your eyes and feel the breath of the former owner around you. But there was nothing to be found. Oh, Yan breathed a sigh of relief. If King Qiuyu wanted to come, he would definitely explain the situation to Meizu and others in advance. Don't scare yourself. Fortunately, if King Qiuyu was here and saw me easing Lin Yinyan, I would be doomed. After all, I have never performed this kind of magic for King Qiuyu. What everyone doesn't know is, the last row of the conference room. A figure that seemed to be not in this space was staring at Lin Yinyan in front of Gu Yan. She clenched her fists. In her eyes, she could clearly see Lin Yinyan's surging true energy fluctuations. You damn old woman, I have never enjoyed Gu Yan's magic show before. I've lived for so long but I'm still pretending to be a child in front of Gu Yan. And Gu Yan, you bastard, you're playing with someone you've only known for a short time. Damn it. Xiaolang, I'm so angry. Enough of the other me. I was almost discovered by the furnace just now. I found it. I really want to rush over and pull Gu Yan over. Damn it. And why did that person named Liu Ji and Xing keep talking to Gu Yan so closely? In this kind of situation, everyone will get close and talk in a low voice. Don't be jealous of men. Damn it, Xiaolang, whose side are you on? Almost enough. Chapter 257, Meeting Leng Qinqiuayu's sister Leng Bingningning again. The meeting is over. Because the White Army still had some details to communicate with the peace-loving members, Gu Yan stayed behind for the time being. While leaning against the wall, Gu Yan also sorted out some more important information from the combat meeting in his mind. First, the Taohua Club's stronghold did not become what it is today all at once. Its change was gradual, and it started to change after I made a wish to Shaozi last night. Secondly, because of the increased risk factor, the Warrior Department defines the current Peach Blossom Club base as the 5th forbidden area. There were originally only 4 forbidden areas in the world. And now, this so-called ancient ruins has become the 5th forbidden area. Third, the exploration time was changed to the day after tomorrow. And the grouping was also very simple, with a total of 4 factions. They are, Peace Faction, Conservative Faction, Radical Faction, and Coexistence Faction. Ei Jun was also very blunt in what he said during the meeting. This forbidden area No. 5 is a new forbidden area, and this group of warriors are the first explorers. The risk factor is unknown and life is in danger at any time. Therefore, each of them was given a bracelet that could temporarily conceal their breath. When in danger, you can conceal your breath for 10 minutes, which can save lives at the critical moment. Fourth, Gu Yan looked at the little silver-haired boy who was walking in front and was being whispered to by the White Army. He learned from the White Army that the Peace Faction was also very unstable recently. Because of Lin Yinyan's childish thoughts and young appearance, many people want to replace her. And they were divided into 2 factions. One faction supported the White Army to take over Lin Yinyan's position as a peace-minded minister. The other faction supports another candidate. Regardless, both factions want Lin Yinyan to step down. Gu Yan, who had read the original novel, nodded slightly. It is very similar to the original novel. Because of something that happened back then, the White Army had no intention of leading the peace faction. This combat meeting was actually secretly organized by the White Army. The purpose of letting Lin Yinyan come here is also very simple. Simply put, it was to help Lin Yinyan establish her authority. Certainly, I originally thought so. Unfortunately, Gu Yan thought about the scene where Lin Yinyan started crying and making a fuss at the beginning of the show. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, and he laughed in his heart. Wow, now, the plot in the original book will definitely be reproduced soon. The division of the warriors, the disputes among the major factions. Then, let me think, should I take advantage of the situation myself or find a puppet candidate? Just when Gu Yan was thinking this. Oh, you seem very happy? Did you enjoy chatting with that old woman just now? A voice rang out that startled Gu Yan. He glanced sideways. Just see. A cold and aloof woman who looked 70 like King Qiuyu from his own family stood beside him at some point. and leaned against the wall on the other side of him with her arms folded across her chest. The woman had an almost perfect face. Her skin was as white and flawless as the first snow in winter. Her eyes were deep and calm, like the brightest stars in the night. Her lips were light in color without too much embellishment. Her hair is a deep black color, usually simply tied behind her head. Every strand of hair exudes a special coolness, as if it is an extension of her cold temperament. She is tall and graceful, and every movement she makes naturally reveals a calm and relaxed temperament. This person is Ling Bingning. Gu Yan was stunned for a moment, then revealed the other person's name. Why is Ling Qingqiu's sister Ling Bingning here? Has the other party also sneaked in? Could it be possible that Ling Bingning will also be involved in this forbidden area now? 5. Seeing that Gu Yan recognized Ling Bingning, whom he was pretending to be, Ling Qingqiu was actually a little proud of his acting skills. Xiaolang, see, as long as I take action, I can ensure that nothing will go wrong in front of Gu Yan. How did you get your eyes done? Colored contact lenses. Small cold dive. Ling Qingqiu didn't think of letting Gu Yan escape this disaster. So she chuckled and said, yes, it's me. It seems to have been a while since we last saw each other. You have indeed changed a lot from before, for example, in the way you treat relationships. I think I saw you chatting enthusiastically with that old woman. If my sister knew about this, do you know what would happen? She deliberately looked towards Lin Yinyin, who was being taught a lesson by the BA army. Old woman. Gu Yan also followed Ling Bingning's gaze. When I saw Lin Yinyin's lollipop taken away, only then did he react. It turns out that the gaze that made him sweat profusely just now was emitted by Ling Bingning. After recognizing the other party's identity, he thought about the other party's question. So this is another kind of parental scene, where one is caught making a mistake? No, I didn't make any mistakes. I did this for a reason. There was a reason for everything. So Gu Yan laughed and shook his head. My dear sister, you really misunderstood me. The relationship between Qingqiu and I is definitely known to all. Simply put, it is very good. As for this old monster Lin Yinyin, Gu Yan said this, sighed, and looked at Ling Bingning, Qingqiu's elder sister, and his sister-in-law. Sister, you also know that I am a newcomer to the workplace. And I must please my boss. If I don't please my boss, I will be bullied. If I am bullied, won't my career be over? Ling Qingqiu's mouth curled up slightly when he heard this. And then he snorted, forget it. As the eldest son of the Gu family, you still need a position in this warrior department. Why not just go back and inherit the Gu family? When Gu Yan heard this, he felt a little strange. No, what are you humming about? What's going on with this inexplicable sense of déjà vu? If I didn't know that you were Qingqiu's sister, I would have really thought that Qingqiu was standing in front of me. But this strange feeling, Gu Yan explained, it's because I want to prove myself. Prove yourself? Ling Qingqiu was stunned. What else do you want to prove? Yes, I think it is necessary to use the title of the eldest son of the Gu family. Gu Yan's expression was somewhat sad. When people mention me, they only think of me as the eldest son of the Gu family. Besides being rich, I am also powerful. A Qingqiu is a genius. A world-class genius. I must work hard to become worthy of her. At this point, Gu Yan's tone was firm. So, I want to make a name for myself in this world. It is in this warrior department that I want to show my talents. I will never back down from exploring the forbidden area this time. Chapter 258. Ling Qingqiu has been watching Gu Yan. Gu Yan's passionate tone struck Ling Qingqiu's heart deeply. She was deeply moved at that moment. But the reason why Gu Yan works so hard is actually for me. No wonder Gu Yan was so busy before. Is it because of this? Ling Qingqiu's heart was broken. She didn't expect that she would make Gu Yan so embarrassed. She took a deep breath and tried to appear calm. You don't have to be like this. My sister is no longer the same person she used to be. That's right, in many senses. Ling Qingqiu understood that he was no longer the same person he used to be. However, Gu Yan said seriously after hearing this, no, Qingqiu will always be the perfect woman in my heart. And I must become someone worthy of him for this. Sister, I will definitely not give in on this point. The more Ling Qingqiu listened, the more moved he felt. She sighed, in fact, as long as you don't change your mind and only think about my sister, that will be enough. It would be best if she was the only one in my mind and I couldn't live without her. Another med on to do this. Gu Yan was stunned when he heard this. But he still nodded and said, okay. By the way, sister, why are you here? Ling Qingqiu chuckled when he heard this. When the forbidden land is revealed, I will naturally go with it. As for you, just follow me when the time comes. I will protect you. Gu Yan waved his hand after hearing this, no need. I have bodyguards. As he said this, he looked at Lao Gao, who was standing beside him. Strangely enough, the other party seemed to have not noticed him from the beginning and had been standing quietly by the side. Lao Gao? Gu Yan shouted at the other party, but the latter did not respond at all. Oh, look at me, you are the only one who can see me. Ling Qingqiu raised his lips and smiled happily at Gu Yan. When I approached you, your spirit had already left the original space and came to my realm. In other words, you are actually talking to me in spirit now. Gu Yan slowly typed several question marks. First of all, this is a low-level martial arts world. Secondly, this is a low-level martial arts world. Finally, this is a low-level martial arts world, right? How did you get this move? No, come to think of it, does Lang Bingning know this trick? No, that's not written in the original novel either. After all, the description of Lang Bingning is that she was absorbed as nourishment by Ling Qingqiu before she could use her full strength. Just when Gu Yan was about to say something, Qingqiu's sister suddenly frowned and murmured to herself, "TSK disturbing you again." And he looked at Gu Yan and said, "That's it if you want to go to the forbidden area. Then as my sister's lover, I will also protect your safety. Please don't misunderstand me, I'm just worried that my sister will be sad." As he spoke, he turned into a shadow and disappeared in front of Gu Yan. Gu Yan was stunned. "Oh, what kind of operation is this?" Next second, "Gu Yan, do you roughly understand the combat meeting?" A white army's questioning voices came from the side. Gu Yan turned his head and looked. "I saw Ba Jun and Lin Yin coming over." He turned his head and looked at the place where Lang Bingning was just now. And he looked at the white army with a twitch in his eye. Of course, anyway, in one word, it can be summed up as follows. Be prepared to sacrifice your life for your country. After saying this, Gu Yan complained helplessly in his heart. What the hell? Is Lang Bingning so powerful? She can even combine the real and the imaginary? And it connects seamlessly with reality? If you say you can be on par with the Night King, I would believe you. Ba Jun couldn't help but twitch his lips when he heard Gu Yan's simple summary. He said helplessly, "Don't make it sound so serious. This time, the 4 major factions have sent many experts here. If it's the peace faction, my teacher and I will go to explore together. I believe the risk factor is high, but it's not to the point of sacrificing one's life for the country." After hearing this, Lin Yin nodded and smiled at Gu Yan. "That's right, Xiao Gu, as your immediate superior. I will protect you. Little Gu. It's a name that really raises your blood pressure." Gu Yan looked at Lin Yin kindly. "Thank you, boss. By the way, where is your lollipop? Did you finish it so quickly? It would be fine if we didn't talk about this," but Lin Yin gets angry when she mentions this. She said a grieved lie. "The boy wouldn't let me eat it. He said it was insulting to the master." Gu Yan laughed. Then took out another one and handed it to Lin Yin. Then looked at Ba Jun. "Ba Jun, you are a bit too rigid. It's just a lollipop, what's wrong with that? I wonder who dares to say a word against our leader." After Gu Yan finished speaking, he clenched his fist and spoke viciously. Ba Jun sighed helplessly. "Gu Yan, this is very complicated. Forget it." He had actually reminded Gu Yan, but the other party didn't seem to understand. He couldn't tell the teacher directly that the peace faction from top to bottom were not convinced by Lin Yin and wanted to change the leader. Sometimes he couldn't understand why, when it was the time for everyone to unite against the outside world, there were still some factional disputes within the organization. It really made him a little exhausted. "Hey, Xiao Gu. You're so nice. I decided to promote you to be my deputy minister." Lin Yin licked the lollipop with a smile. "It's actually hard to imagine. This little girl has actually lived for nearly 100 years. Oh, so good? I didn't bribe this position with a lollipop, did I?" Gu Yan looked at Lin Yin, then at Ba Jun. The latter took a deep breath and said to Lin Yin in a deep voice, "Teacher, there are many procedures to promote your subordinates to deputy ministers. You can't just promote them as you say. And merit is required. Gu Yan has too few merits, so the higher-ups won't agree." Hearing this, Lin Yin felt that the lollipop in her hand was a little heavy. She looked at Gu Yan a little embarrassed, and her tone was tangled and difficult. "Well, I will help you to ask to make you my deputy minister." Ba Jun was at a loss. He looked at Gu Yan with pleading eyes, as if asking Gu Yan to interrupt the topic immediately. Gu Yan was just joking. He was definitely not the right person to be the deputy minister. He squatted down and reached out to rub Lin Yin's little head. "Forget it. I've known since I was a child that I'm not cut out to be a deputy minister." "Don't really say that." Lin Yin was immediately happy again. Don't worry, Xiao Gu, although you are not the deputy minister in name, but in my heart you are my deputy minister, just like Ba Xiaozi. Really? Thank you for thinking highly of me, boss. You must protect us well during our trip to the Forbidden Land." Gu Yan originally wanted to say the word "I," but suddenly his heart felt like someone was holding it. For some reason he started sweating again. "No," I said. "Sister Lang, are you still here?" "No way, Lang Bingning is planning to keep watching him like this." Chapter 259 Guyan goes to the Forbidden Area, the mysterious existence of the tower. TSK. It's finally over. Leave the warrior building. Guyan pounded his shoulders, but had been tense all the time and finally relaxed. I had always felt a little uncomfortable in the warrior building. He didn't know if it was his illusion, but he always felt that there was a vague gaze staring at him. He was very sure and certain in his heart that it was King Qiuyu's sister Ling Bingning who was monitoring him. No, you sisters have such a good relationship. You even help your younger sister look after her husband? Then why don't the three of us meet up and see each other? Could it be that there is some unspeakable secret? I looked up at the sky and then at the time. Guyan felt helpless. Why was it already 9 o'clock again? Are you usually so positive? Lao Kao smiled slightly and said, being a warrior is a very tiring thing. Do you regret it now, young master? Regret? There is no such thing. Guyan curled his lips. He just felt very uncomfortable being secretly stared at. Well, it's not that I feel uncomfortable, but I just feel like I'm sweating all over. It was as if King Qiuyu was looking at him kindly. You look very tired. Do you need me to treat you? At this time, Yu Xingzu's distinctive timid voice reached Guyan's ears. He turned his head and looked. There was an inexplicable meaning in his eyes. Oh, the Yi team is holding a meeting, right? In addition to Yu Xingzu, there are Meizu, Shangguan Maiyin, Bal Yan, Mu Ron Si. It turned out that half of the members of the night organization had sneaked in. Guyan shook his head. No, but you guys, where are you going? As soon as these words came out, Yu Xingzu's expression was a little tangled. Not knowing whether to say. Meizu's expression remained unchanged as she sent a message to Guyan in her mind. The Ae, Alyan smiled and said, Brother Guyan, we agreed to have a midnight snack together. Do you want to come? Upon hearing this, Yu Xingzu lowered her head. Stammering and unable to speak. The atmosphere became slightly strange. Guyan already knew from Meizu what they were going to do. So he shook his head and said, young people are in good health. Forget it, nightlife is not for me. Just like that? Lao Gao left. Okay, master. Looking at Guyan leaving, Biaoyan's face gradually became angry. She glared at Yu Xingzu. Hey, new guy, why are you looking for trouble? Don't you know we are going to see the master? Yu Xingzu shrank her neck. Sorry. If you do that again, I'll shove your head up your ass, you worthless newbie. Ow. Yu Xingzu wanted to cry. Where are you, sir? How long should I stay undercover? The people here are too difficult to talk to. After leaving the warrior department, Guyan looked out the window with a puzzled look in his eyes. He had already learned from Meizu what the Yi Brigade was going to do so late at night. So he is going to see our King Qiuyu. Choosing this time to meet. Do you have any other plans? Is it related to Ling Bingning? At this time, Lao Chao looked in the rearview mirror and asked, Master, are we going back now? No, that would be a waste of my free time. Guyan came back to his senses, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Argle. A black liquid instantly wrapped around him. Guyan Night King Limited Edition appears again. At the same time, the black liquid gradually spread out and wrapped around the car body. In an instant, the car body seemed to be wrapped in a layer of living liquid and was moving through the darkness. Both the speed and the shape have changed. Go to Forbidden Area No. 5 Lao Gao. Straight ahead. Straight ahead. Lao Gao was driving a car that seemed to have changed a little, and he was looking at the tall buildings ahead. Instead of avoiding, he stepped on the accelerator and rushed forward. The moment the front of the car touched the building, a magical scene happened. Buzz, plop. Just like passing through a wall of water, the car passed through the building unimpeded. This is the characteristic that can be produced when claw cells wrap around non-organic organisms. Of course, it's still not as useful as Meizu and the other space-crossing method. We have to find a time to let Claw learn it, otherwise how can the Night King not travel freely through the night? Although Guyan said that he is indeed not the real Night King. At the same time, Forbidden Area No. 5, scarlet light dyed the earth, and black shadows floated in the sky. Countless monsters on the ground were lying on the ground, bowing their heads towards the black tower. A figure wearing a long dress that seemed to be woven from stars slowly stood on the top of the tower. Her ink-like hair danced gently in the breeze, emitting a faint light. Tens of thousands of years. Although her face was hidden in the shadows and difficult to see clearly, the light flashing in her deep eyes made it easy to feel her extraordinary temperament. It's been tens of thousands of years. Suppressed in the netherworld for tens of thousands of years. Now I have finally broken through the seal. The woman's voice was trembling. Excited, and tears fell from her eyes. Fortunately, she didn't give up. In the battle that year, their Nether clan was defeated by the traitorous for sacred beasts and the human army. 99 of the Nether clan were trapped in the Nether prison for the rest of their lives. The rest of the Netherworld clan who managed to escape are hiding in various parts of the world. She could feel that the demon descendants of the Netherworld clan were not living a good life in this human world tens of thousands of years later. This world is still the territory of human beings. But the number of the Nether clan is extremely small, which is completely incomparable to tens of thousands of years ago. But she also understood why it turned out like this. After all, even she could only be suppressed in the dark Netherworld prison and wail in pain. Not to mention the rest of the Netherworld clan. Only, there was one thing that made her feel extremely strange. That is, the seal of the Netherworld suddenly loosened. This led to her breaking the seal and leaving the Netherworld. What happened? The woman was deep in thought. Boom! Boom! Heavy footsteps were heard from the side. At the same time, a deep and excited voice reached the woman's ears. Lord Lin. It is you. Chapter 260, Your Majesty. The woman called Lin glanced over. And when she saw that figure, a wave of emotion suddenly appeared in her eyes. In you? SC. Standing there was a giant wolf several meters in size. Its eyes as cold and bright as a real silver moon. Yes, Master Lin, for tens of thousands of years, I have been looking forward to seeing you again every day. Yin Yu was lying on the ground, her voice excited. During the battle, we were separated and sealed in the Netherworld prison to endure the pain of purgatory. Most of our clansmen were wiped out because they couldn't bear it. Now we are finally out. Its body was covered with horrific scars, which showed the damage it had suffered in the Netherworld. Lin walked forward, stretched out his hand and gently stroked the other's wound. His eyes gradually changed from anger to sadness. For so many years, you have suffered, my comrade. Yin Yu's eyes also turned red slightly. But she quickly said, Lord Lin, I feel it. In addition to me, Talia, Fire Demon, and Windslash are all out. Hear this. Lin's eyes were slightly excited. The seal is really loose. It seems that this is not my illusion. Tens of thousands of years ago, Yin Yu and others were her most loyal subordinates. They followed her and were several great generals of the Netherworld who swept through thousands of armies. With their help, Lin believes that he will be able to fulfill the king's long-cherished wish and led the Nether clan to stand on top of the world again. But before that, she has to solve the manpower problem. Think of this. Lin stood on the top of the tower, looking at the army of mindless monsters that surrendered to her feet. She took a deep breath, her tone filled with misery. The dignified Nether clan has degenerated into this state. Neither the strength nor the intelligence is even 1/10 of what it was tens of thousands of years ago. Silvermoon agreed deeply. It sniffed the air and said, the key in the air has become very thin, and elemental creatures are also very rare. Lin shook his head. I don't know what happened in these years. At this point, she smiled sarcastically. It seems that the world managed by the holy beasts is not that good. Speaking of sacred beasts, Lin sensed a strange feeling. She frowned and closed her eyes to feel it. After just a moment, she opened her eyes, revealing a hint of shock and surprise. Chuan Wu is dead? You deserve it. This is retribution. Retribution for betraying the Nether clan and joining the arms of humans. Just laughing and laughing. Lin couldn't help sobbing. Your Majesty, it would be great if you were still alive. It's a pity that I didn't kill the traitor for you. Otherwise, the king of the Netherworld is the absolute leader of their Netherworld clan. The original form is a 3-life demon claw, which possesses the absolute power to rule over the Netherworld clan. Moreover, at a critical moment, the Nether clan can even concentrate all their strength on the king, making him an unimaginably powerful being. Unfortunately, back then, the 4 sacred beasts believed someone's slander and chose to betray the Nether clan and join the arms of humans. And then they united to assassinate the king of the Netherworld. This triggered a fight between the two tribes. And now, the king is gone, so it is up to them to let the Nether clan rule the world again. Just at this moment, Yin Yu's ears suddenly moved. And it whispered, Lord Lin, I heard the sound of fighting coming from the east. There are the breaths of our own people and humans. It bared its teeth and growled, its eyes full of hatred for humans. Oh, just in time when I just woke up, I ordered the Netherworld army to massacre all the humans here. Now someone has come to my door again. Go to Silvermoon. Lin jumped lightly onto the giant wolf and said in a murderous tone, I will personally kill these humans who broke into our territory. Okay, Master Lin. Under the bloody night, the moonlight was thin and the earth was covered by a vague blood-red fog, with only the strange low hum coming from the wind. Between the trees, vines twist like living creatures, as if every corner hides unknown secrets. Click, click. Guyan and Lao Gao were walking here, and the latter was walking in front, constantly cutting off vines and branches. TSK TSK. It was a paradise on earth before. Now, it's like a living hell. As Guyan walked, he sensed his surroundings. The breath of monsters surrounded him in all directions, and the thick blood-red dark red fog obscured his vision. If he hadn't reached the master level by covering his entire body with claws, he would have been lost in this thick fog. Master, be careful if there is no Grand Master leading the team. The chance of survival is probably only 10. The monsters we have encountered so far are roughly at the early stage of the innate realm, but the number of monsters in the thick fog have greatly increased the difficulty of exploration. Where are we going next, young master? Lao Jiao cleared the way and spoke vigilantly. His right hand formed into an ice shape, and he kept chopping away the attacking monsters. Clean and neat movements. Tower, no, let's go find Tao Ying and the others first. They are also part of my plan. As Gu Yan was talking, he seemed to sense something and said, Old Gao, stop for a moment. Okay, master. Lao Gao stopped because he also noticed something unusual around him. Gu Yan looked around and found that the thick fog around them had gradually dissipated. Immediately following, roar, 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 one low growl after another, as if some kind of signal, came from all directions. The surrounding trees seemed to come alive in an instant, and countless pairs of eyes flickered in the darkness, like hungry beasts, ready to pounce on their prey at any time. Then, brush. One after another, figures emerged from the darkness. They had different shapes, some looked like deformed wolves, while others looked more like monsters crawling out of nightmares, exuding the smell of corruption and death. Some of their eyes burned with fanatical flames, while others emitted scarlet bloodlight. The only thing in common was that they all stared straight at Lao Gao, as if evaluating this prey. Next second, roar. A deformed demon wolf with half of its body rotten rushed towards Lao Gao. The latter's eyes focused, his right fist clenched, and his true energy entangled. Master, be careful, this is a monster you have never seen before. The next second, he punched out with his right fist. Boom! The shockwave condensed by the true energy hit the monster and directly blasted its body into pieces. Snap, snap. What's creepy is that the monster's body parts are still wriggling on the ground as if they have life. Buff, buff. Lao Gao continued to resist the attacking monsters. Ru Yan, who stayed at the back, felt something was strange. It's so strange, why does it feel like these monsters have no intention of attacking him? Roar. At this moment, a monster attacked them from behind. The strange thing was that although it was obviously closer to Gu Yan, it flew directly past Gu Yan and attacked Lao Gao. Gu Yan didn't think much about it. He gathered his right hand into a sharp claw and stretched it out to grab the neck of the wolf-shaped monster that rushed forward with bloodshot eyes. The latter let out a shrill scream, and his eyes also sent a signal of pleading for mercy to Gu Yan. Only then did Gu Yan realize that something was wrong. Wait, these monsters. No intention to attack him. Their only target is Lao Gao. What's going on? At this time, boom! A strong aura came from a distance. This caused Lao Cao's face to change, and he laughed. After killing another monster that rushed up, Lao Gao said to Gu Yan, Master, here comes a tough opponent, we have to leave. And I just finished saying this. A voice exploded in Lao Gao and Gu Yan's minds. Block. Where can you go, humans? Boom. The sudden voice was filled with a domineering and arrogant attitude that could not be ignored. It seemed to dominate this dark land, and even the air trembled with its existence. A huge monster fell in front of the two people from the sky. He's actually a powerful demon general. As for the guy next to him in weird clothes, Lao Gao and Gu Yan looked up almost at the same time and looked towards the source of the sound. They saw a huge, snow-white silver wolf covered in scars standing in front of them. On the back of the silver wolf stood a tall woman in a black dress. The other person's outline was vaguely visible in the moonlight, and his eyes were so deep that they seemed to be able to see through people's hearts. The monsters around seemed to be full of awe for this humanoid existence. They lowered their heads and their roars became much lower. Gu Yan looked at the other party, feeling a little confused. People? No, that's not a person. In Gu Yan's perception, the existence of the silver wolf was like a monster in human skin. The strength is very strong, to the point of being outrageous. After thinking for a moment, Gu Yan realized that this was not an opponent that he and Lao Gao could handle. Just the next second, the other party didn't seem to have any intention of letting them leave. Boom! Lin jumped off Yinyu and stared at Gu Yan. Moving closer to him, you are. Master, be careful. Lao Cao's eyes changed and he stood in front of Gu Yan. Just quickly, swipe. The sound of wind whistled past his ears. A drop of cold sweat rolled down Lao Cao's cheek. So fast. He glanced out of the corner of his eye at the woman who suddenly appeared behind him. The opponent's speed was so fast that even he, a veteran master, did not notice it. Is the gap in strength so big? No, even if only the young master escapes. Just when Lao Cao was about to take action, a woman's actions left Lao Gao and Gu Yan stunned. Just see. After Lin came in front of Gu Yan, he didn't do anything to him, but his eyes gradually changed into shock and then into surprise. And then he reached out his hand and gently stroked Guyan's face, which was completely covered by his claws. Her voice was mixed with excitement, disbelief, and joy. Your Majesty? Guyan? Lao Gao? Claw chirp? Chapter 261. Guyan naturally gets into the role. King? Guyan looked at the woman in front of him, who was so powerful that she was obviously not a creature from this dimension. I was a little stunned. First, what is a king? And second, what is a king? Papa, do you know what she is saying? Teacher, I don't know. Hearing this, Guyan thought about it again. Could it be that his true identity is actually a very powerful king? So that's why I came to this world? Guyan seemed to have grasped some key factor. Is this the system I think it is? Host, the king the other party is talking about is not you, but Claw. Because the Claw absorbed the dragon energy and became the Claw of Destiny. And the king of the Nether clan is a 3-life magic claw. And the host made a wish to the evil book, so due to various